I am the keeper of the graveyard, and while I thought that just entailed scrubbing the occasional tombstone, it actually means digging through countless corpses to find high-quality intestines, create an obedient zombie army to grow carrots for this communist donkey. Or what about having to deal with drunkard skulls, depressed ghosts, evil vampires, narcissistic bishops, time machines, 115 achievements, 4 DLCs, human meat burgers at a witch burning, and oh god, not another fishing minigame. But it didn't start this way. It started with me in modern day, just walking home from the supermarket. I'm getting a call from my wife when suddenly I've been transported to the Shadow Realm. And based off of this fellow's all-black outfit and glowing red eyes, I'm gonna garner that it's not for a good reason. He explains to me that he's gonna be transporting me to my new life as a graveyard keeper. And if I want to get home, I need to dig up some guy named Jerry. Not quite sure why he would send me there and then immediately tell me how to undo his hard work, but alright guy.
What a strange vision. Is this a nightmare? Okay, let's find Jerry. Wow, he was like insanely accepting. Just like instantly.
I head outside, unsure who or where Jerry is, but thankfully this is a modern video game, so we've got an extremely subtle arrow pointing to it on the screen. I should try following that arrow to find Jerry.
Keeper, you should try following that arrow to find Jerry.
It's a grave. I should start digging.
Keeper, you can dig through that grave with your shovel.
Dig this. Ugh.
Hey, twin, next try digging in your butt.
Holy sword, I'm a skull! Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I don't know what I was expecting to find there.
Yes, this eccentric little skull is to be our guide through our scary new job as a graveyard keeper. Though he's got an unfortunate case of amnesia and doesn't remember a dang thing. But the fun doesn't stop with him, as he informs us that the bell sound means that the donkey has come to drop off a corpse. And this donkey is very surprised to learn that we can actually talk to him for whatever reason. And he's got a lot that he's been meaning to get off his mind.
This card isn't mine, so I have to work for the capitalist bastard who owns it. Oh, and that's me. I only own 5 carrots. I gotta pay him 5 carrots a day? This situation is deeply humiliating. You know where I'm coming from, right, comrade?
Yes, looks like our new donkey friend over here has been watching one too many Hassan streams, so after a quick check to his collar, I send him on his way and take the fresh dead body into the morgue.
Put the body on the autopsy table. I gotta do an autopsy on this? Oh yeah, slice some flesh from that corpse. That'll be good. Oh my god, am I gonna eat it? What? No way! This isn't right. Sure, it's not right. How could I forget? Maybe because I'm a talking skull with amnesia. Is it right that you don't know where you are? Is it right that I'm a skull? Nothing is right here.
I throw the body on the table where I can see the available flesh body part that I can extract. I mean, I guess I could see using it as like bait for bear traps or something, or maybe it causes the body to decay better, and immediately upon removing it, I'm given the recipe for cannibal human burgers. Great! With the body now mined of all of its precious resources, it's time to bring it over to that titular graveyard. I can use this little blueprint table over here to place down a grave site. After digging up the grave, I can plop that fleshless corpse down in there and cover it right back up. This earns me a burial certificate, which Jerry tells me we can sell for money at the local tavern in the nearby village. He also suggests we waste all our money in beer and booze. Alright, finally someone here speaking my language. Though unfortunately, my dreams of getting absolutely annihilated at the tavern will have to wait, as my boss, the bishop, is approaching. He tells me that this town has been missing a graveyard keeper for over 30 years, hence why the place is such a mess. And if we want to improve the quality of the graveyard, we're gonna need to repair the graves and eventually replace them with better ones. And this is more than just an expression, as each of these upgrades will give our graveyard an actual numerical upgrade to its quality score. And once our graveyard quality hits 5, the bishop will promote us to a cleric. Which, dang, if I knew you could become a religious leader by wiping a couple tombstones, I'd be the pope by now. The bishop also tells me that he's gonna come by the church every Sunday for a reason that he's not even sure of. Inside the graveyard's chest, I find some wooden and stone repair kits, as well as some old rusty tools. If I go around to the graves in the yard, I can use the repair kits on them, depending on the material that they're made of, which then restores their former quality. And seeing as I'm sitting at a fat -29 graveyard quality right now, we're going to need to do a lot of repairing. Unfortunately, repairing all of these only brings my rating up to a -18, and I'm all out of kits. Though I can further increase my rating by cleaning up these dead bushes and harvesting them, which gives me wooden rods. By the time I'm done with all that, our quality is sitting at -10. I head back to the morgue, and Jerry just begs me for a beer, and as freaking awesome as that sounds, I'm fresh out of energy and not sitting on a single dime, so it's time for a quick rest. Now, sleeping in this game works differently than most games you're probably used to. You don't sleep through the night or even for a set time frame. Whenever you sleep, you can sleep for as long as you want. It'll speed up time as you do, replenishing your energy at a slow rate. This means you could sleep during the day, at night, for half a day, for a few seconds. The choice is yours. But the world keeps spinning while you sleep, and things keep changing, even in your own home.
Who the heck is that? This is not good at all. Who do you think you are? I'm the new graveyard keeper. I'm Yorick. I'm so lonely. Poor me. It's too bad you're here.
Yorick is the arbiter of the ghosts from bodies buried in the graveyard, I guess? And apparently there's one ghost who's kind of annoying him, even though it seems like the ghosts are free to leave their graves, because, I mean, Yorick's here literally right now. But he still wants us to get rid of that annoying corpse neighbor by literally digging up his body in his grave. That seems insanely insensitive to the deceased, but I mean, our character saw a single piece of decaying human meat and thought up a burger recipe, so I have a feeling that ethics are not really his primary concern. Yorick gives me an exhumation permission that allows me to dig up his annoying friend, but before I dispose of him, I make sure to grab myself some delicious rotting human meat. Then I can take that meatless corpse and dump it straight into the river. Where does the river go? What happens to the body? Is his spirit just going to be eternally drowning? Well, that's not my problem. I'm gonna go get drunk. On my way to the tavern, I see a place called Witch Hill that's apparently closed to the Great Inquisitor until male day. There's just a day of the week in this world dedicated to men. You know, guys, maybe this place ain't so bad. Hey y'all, Shawnee Doo here. Now that was just a joke, but feminism is no laughing matter. In fact, I'm a feminist myself. That's why the next 17 minutes of this video will be testimonials from women in my life talking about how I'm even better feminist than them.
Shawnee Doo,
After traversing through some giant wheat fields, I finally managed to make the long journey to the tavern and strike up a conversation with someone named Miss Chain. Or I guess, Mrs. Chain. She's not really sure herself. She suggests that we talk to her husband Horidig, who's not only the owner of this bar, but also the village's mayor. Kind of feels like a bit of a cheat code that everyone voted for the guy they only see when they're drunk. But you know, the fact that they have an elected leader at all, as opposed to just giving it to the former king's most inbred son, is honestly still progress for the time. Who's this?
I'm not gonna get me, go away. All right, good talk.
Yes, the people of this village definitely weren't as friendly as the drunk skull back at the morgue.
Welcome to the Dead Horse Cavern. I'm Erotic. How can I help you? I came from the graveyard. I woke up here today and things have been crazy since then. Oh, sorry. How can I not recognize you? Good, this is good. Things are looking bright for our small village. What? This village really does depend on a graveyard keeper, I guess. When are you planning on opening the church? Oh, that makes sense. I need to fix the graveyard first.
Horidig gives me a big long explanation about how he'll always buy my burial certificates for 1 silver and 50 copper because of some sort of document called the Ancient Contract, which, you know, that doesn't sound like a ton of money, but you gotta trust me, it is. He also tells me that while the garden next to my house is technically property of the merchant, he's gonna give me permission to use it for now, and I can square away the details with him later when he comes on, I don't know, claw machine day? What are these day naming conventions? Anyway, I decided to try pressing Horidig and find out when and where in time I actually am.
Do you know I can get back home? My darling will be so worried.
Oh, what you talking about? You're the dead horse.
Okay, it looks medieval. Maybe I travel through time. What year is it now?
Yeah, what you mean?
The time it takes for the Earth to make one revolution around the sun. Oh, you've been listening to the astrologers' nonsense. Oh, they don't believe in years? That's awesome.
Everyone knows the Earth is flat.
Well, okay. I thought they didn't know what they were talking about. It seems like they're actually based.
I also asked him about selling my definitely illegal and totally ethically acquired meat to him, and he says that due to a prior incident with someone selling inappropriate meat, I'm gonna need to get a stamp from the Royal Kingdom. Which, yeah, that would be crazy. Who would be selling inappropriate meat? Run, keeper, run. But before fleeing off to my graveyard sanctuary, I sell off the burial contract I received and use the money to buy a beer for Jerry as per requested, finally filling his heart's truest desires. And if you're looking for something to fill your truest desires, you could find anything you could ever want on Whatnot, the sponsor of today's video. Whatnot is the #1 live streaming shopping app where you can score anything you could ever be looking for in real-time live auctions. Pokemon cards, they got it. Retro video games, tons. Electronics, fashion, jewelry, comics, sports, whatever your interest is, Whatnot's got it. So let me show you how it works. So here, today, if we go to the categories, today we're looking ourselves for some retro video games. Let me just type in video games into the search bar. They got a category right there for me. And then we just click into the live stream. I jumped in here and, you know, not exactly what I'm looking for, but this guy is selling like retro video game rugs, I guess. And honestly, like some of these look pretty heat. Oh yeah, this one's on Smash Bros. I gotta get this. So all you gotta do, guys, is you just swipe at the bottom and you put your bid in, right? And then look, the auction's got like 5 seconds left. Oh, okay, I'm gonna bid. Oh, I think I might have secured it. I think we got it. There we go. Look at that. And it's not just live auctions. There's also flash sales, buy it now, and tons of other ways to purchase. See, look, right here, I managed to secure myself a pair of new men's shoes. I just clicked the button right here, and boom, that's mine now. So if you want to hop into the world of live auction purchasing, you can get $15 off your first purchase anywhere in the app. Just use my QR code on the screen or my link down in the description, and you'll be able to secure that deal for yourself. And if you use my links, download the app, and follow me on Whatnot, Whatnot's actually giving away a $500 credit 1 month from today. So make sure to click that link or scan the code, and thank you to Whatnot for sponsoring today's video. Finally, Horidig gives me a letter that he wants me to deliver to the local blacksmith, who has a name I'm not even gonna try to pronounce, so I'll refer to him as Kane. Anyway, Kane's place seems to be closed for now as I head back to my house. Around the edges, I find some berries and mushrooms that I pick up for later, as they can help me restore my energy, which goes real quick in this game. My big goal right now is to, of course, restore the graveyard. I mean, I am the graveyard keeper after all. But like I said previously, I am all out of repair kits, and unfortunately, I've currently got no way to make any more, as the recipe is buried deep within the building technology tree. Yes, in order to unlock recipes in this game, you need to purchase them through the skill tree using red, green, and blue points. For now, let's just worry about the red and green ones, as those are the ones we actually need. Generally, you can get red by crafting and green by gathering materials. The actual breakdowns are much more complicated than that, but for now, that's all you really need to know. So to start accumulating those precious green and red points, we can use that rusty axe I found in the trunk to cut some bushes on my front lawn. I can also use my trusty pickaxe to mine out some rocks, which gives me a few pieces of stone. But unfortunately for me, those rusty tools are not super efficient at cutting this all down, and it quickly drains my energy. So with nothing left to do for the day, I decide to explore around my new home, where I find a ladder to a hidden cellar. And it seems like I'm not alone down here, as I notice a strange bald man named Snake banging on this metal gate. Hordic had mentioned him earlier as an untrustworthy criminal type, which with the way I've been defiling bodies seems like my type of company. Unfortunately for now, there was some rubble blocking my way, so I'll need to clear that before I have my chance to talk with him. But out of energy for now, my brave little keeper takes a nap. Now arisen and filled with energy, I start cutting down some trees, and unlike those bushes, they don't give me sticks that I can place into my inventory, instead dispersing a large log that I have to hold over my head like I did with the corpses. I can then place it over here in the timber stockpile in front of my house. A very important piece of technology that will certainly never, ever, ever cause me to accidentally soft lock my entire save file. Right? No, that would be crazy and a huge error by me and an even bigger oversight by the devs. Using my newly acquired technology points, I can unlock the sawing skill, giving me the recipe for a new workstation, the sawhorse, which I craft and place down next to my house. Here, I'll be able to pull from the logs in the timber stockpile and turn them into two different crafting resources: wood billets and flitches. Though this process is not automatic, instead requiring you to work at the station after queuing up the recipe, which costs 10 energy a pop. With the flitches in hand, I'm now halfway to being able to craft the stone cutter, which is the workstation I'll need to make those repair kits. But the other half are nails, which I'll need to craft a wooden anvil for. However, no matter where I look in all of the various skill trees, I can't find the wooden anvil recipe. Luckily for me though, if I head into the cellar, there are those broken barrels that got tossed around, and I chop them down with my axe, giving me some nails. But I'm still one single nail short of that stone cutter. On the bright side though, destroying all of those barrels gave me enough red and green points to unlock the mining perk, which will let me mine iron ore, which is of course what additional nails will need to be made from. I used those flitches I crafted to build myself an iron ore stockpile, which seems important to the whole processing iron ore thing. After mining out a few more rocks and gaining a few more points, I progress even further and pick up the recipe for the crafting station, the chopping spot. Still though, all the resource gathering quickly drains my energy, so it's time to go back to bed. And upon my wake, we've got a special visitor.
Oh, Jerry, the Inquisitor! I've just seen the Inquisitor right nearby, going up the path to Witch Hill. Oh, sorry, don't kill me, even worse. Calm down, I'll go distract him. Everything is open, monsieur. Good. Were there any problems? No, monsieur. Except there was this strange fella snooping around. Oh, there he is! Halt! Guys, calm down. I live here at the graveyard. You know, the bishop of mine is a good friend. He appointed me the keeper at the local graveyard. Interesting. I believe you're a friend of his, though it's not a terribly impressive feat. Just pay him a compliment and he's your friend. But appointing someone to the graveyard is certainly outside his area of responsibility. I'll have to visit him and remind him again of the limits of his authority. Would you join me at the... Oh, we're gonna burn a witch? Sure. Here I am, the Grand Inquisitor. I protect the one truth faith and humankind itself, having a tough time in the town. The ship of the dead is already overloaded. Oh, that would be good for me, right? We've burned thousands of witches and heretics here for 30 years, Jesus. Burn, light the fire, burn it. Oh my god. Yes, monsieur. Oh my god. Holy crap, this person's actually gonna die? Oh my god. This is messed up. So you work with a lot of dead bodies, huh? Yeah, I think it's part of my job. Oh yeah, so this is gonna be a payout for me. And you live right beside the hill near the graveyard, that's right. Interesting, I need someone here to be my friend here at the village. A friend of mine is a friend of the Holy Inquisition.
And with that, we've become friends with the psychopathic Inquisitor. Not exactly the ideal company to keep around, but better to be his ally than his enemy, I guess. Back in the yard, I can build that chopping spot I unlocked before. This is a way to further refine my resources, as I can turn those wooden billets into firewood or wooden wedges. Now I see at the top of my screen that the donkey has brought another body for us to deal with. But before handling that, I make sure to get enough green and red points to unlock the hard spare perk from the anatomy technology tree. Now, when I pull up the body's autopsy, in addition to the flesh, I can extract bones, skin, and skulls as well. At this point, I'm really just burying a loose pile of blood and feces, so here's hoping that someone's working on some sort of magic air freshener for me to spray around the graveyard. I dig the body in the annoying guy's old spot, but apparently the quality of the body is so bad, combined with the fact that there's no tombstone and fence, it actually brings the score of my graveyard down, leaving me -3 points further away from my illustrious goal. And I guess there must have been some sort of mass murder in town, as after a quick nap, the donkey already brings me another body. I go to fully extract our next body here, but along the way, it seems as though I've made a surgeon's mistake of some kind, which further lowers the quality of the body. In fact, I've done such a poor job that I have 2 of them now. Not really sure what kind of surgeon mistake I can make when just looking at a pile of poop and blood in a bag. Besides maybe liking it too much, let's go scat community ride. Unfortunately, though, this quality does make a significant difference on the grave, as now this body is adding a whopping -5 to my graveyard score. Yes, I desperately need to get my hands on some gravestones to start improving this place. And since I'm unable to figure out how to get nails for now, I decided to talk to Kane the blacksmith to see if he has any ideas. I give him the letter, which actually gives me 10 friendship points with him, despite his annoyance with his dear friend Hordic for his laziness. As a thank you / another obligation, he gives me a rusty sword and tells me to kill some slimes just north of him. Well, as much as I just absolutely adore fetch quests, that's not the reason I came here. And now, with my 10 friendship points, I can question him on where to score some of that precious metal ore. He gives me the recipe for a furnace, iron ingots, and the knowledge that there should be little inlets of iron ore around the swampy areas of our land. But while I'm here, I decide to just pick up that last nail I need so I can finally slap down the stone cutter, which I do immediately upon arriving home. Here, I can cut 2 stone into a single gravestone, which adds 2 graveyard score to a grave. For whatever reason, this recipe is actually significantly cheaper than making these stone repair kits, so instead of making those, I make a ton of these gravestones, and then remove the old broken ones, replacing them with nice new freshly cut ones. The only flaw with this is that it takes a ton of energy on both the removal and install end. However, it's not like there's any real punishment to just spam sleeping other than the short walk back to your house, so I wake up, install as many graves as I can, head back to sleep, and repeat. Even the non-broken graves get replaced, as this stone gravestone is adding way more to the quality store than most other alternatives right now. By the time I've changed over all the gravestones, my quality is now sitting at a net 0, so to make my final push towards hitting that sweet number 5, I set my eye on fences, which are the second way you can increase a grave's quality. I used my newly acquired tech points to grab the carpenter's workbench, and still with no way to acquire those simple iron parts, I head back to Kane and decided to buy them straight off of him. But it was after purchasing my simple iron parts that I noticed something quite strange. You see, I know from looking at my wooden anvil that iron bars can be turned into multiple simple iron parts, but iron bars are selling for 84 copper, while the iron parts are selling for 63. And obviously, from a math perspective, that makes absolutely no sense. So I figure I must have something wrong and decide to buy both, and then check my anvil upon my return.
Yeah, okay.
I got ripped off. Dang it. I got freaking ripped. Kane, you have made an enemy for life. And a graveyard keeper is not someone you want to anger. Well, actually, I guess it wouldn't really matter, because all my revenge options would really just happen after you're dead, and like you wouldn't really care then. But if I somehow gain control over the living, it is over for you. I can use my newly scammed simple iron parts to craft myself that carpenter's workbench. Here, we can turn flitches into wooden planks, and wooden planks into the elusive wooden fence. But first, we got another body to deal with, which I, of course, once again, drain of all its precious resources, which once again causes a surge in his mistake. But I use all the logs I have to turn them into flitches, which then turn into wooden planks, which I then turn into fences, which finally gives me the staggering 6 graveyard score. Sheesh, this graveyard keeper work ain't easy. Additionally, I managed to grab enough nails and wood wedges to repair this bridge right here, opening up the left side of my acre. But there's no time for that now, as it's Sunday once again, and I must show the bishop all the incredible work I've made on my graveyard. I fixed the graveyard. I was definitely right about you. I hereby pronounce you official keeper of this holy place and prior of the church. Let's arrange your first sermon. It'll be a great honor for you to be at your first sermon, so just stand at the pulpit and speak the words. What words? The words! Yeah, actually, you can just say whatever you want. You know, this place isn't so bad. You put up some decorations, some nice candles, music, incense, and get all oiled up for a nice massage. What the hell? Oh, is he a creep? Is that what they were trying to say? Ugh. And to get me started, the bishop hands me a casual prayer. If I throw it into the lectern here, I can start my first ever sermon. God is good. May the force be with you. That's hilarious. Not too bad, but my sermons are much better, so I got some faith. You should really prepare for the next ceremony. I think the last prior gets some books with some wonderful words in the church library. We'll probably find some weird stuff too. One of the keepers was engaged in scientific research. You can throw all that stuff out. The sermon is very important for accumulating that resource you saw in the corner, faith. Unfortunately though, it can only be performed once every Sunday, so it's crucial for us to make each one count. And also, never miss it. The bishop's conversation also unlocks the study table, which is going to be incredibly important later on. Now, outside the church, I also discovered this little mailbox, and talking to it will give you access to the royal services. And for just 10 copper, I can purchase the right to be a citizen of these lands, as well as 30 friendship points with the royal services. But as exciting as it is giving money to the government for absolutely no reason, the real fun thing that this mailbox offers is the ability to buy that meat stamp Radic was talking about earlier. Though unfortunately, it cost 50 silver. And I know you guys don't understand the weight of that just yet, but trust me, that is an ungodly amount of money. With the church now unlocked, I decided to explore it, and just like every other building in this world apparently, it's got a basement. Here is where you do all of your church-based crafting, which I know sounds ridiculous, but there's actually a lot of church crafting to do in this game. Here we find a study table, which will let us study items, whatever that means. I tried to find out, but unfortunately when I place an item in there, well, I've got the faith on lock and key, I'm fresh out on science. And based on what the bishop said earlier, it seems like this science science thing is kind of a scandalous topic in this day and age, so it might be a bit until we can unlock that. I go to sleep for now, and when I wake up, there's some dude in my house. This is Marquis Teodoro Jr. And to make a really, and I mean really long story short, he's this rich guy who the Inquisition ran out of his town along with a bunch of other rich guys. So they've set up a refugee camp on top of my property, which, sure, okay, I never agreed to that. But they desperately need my help to survive, so I need to bring them daily food and water with 5 pieces for each person per day. Dude, I haven't even figured out my own thing yet, okay? I haven't eaten anything in 2 weeks since I've been here, just drank a beer with a talking skull and watched some witches burn to death. Yeah, I'll be putting this off for a very, very long time. As I'm sure you can guess, it does end up leading to a pretty major plot line relating to one of the DLCs. But seriously, the audacity to ask me to help some refugees when I've literally got wooden rods and a Bible to my name is just insane. On my way back down to my house, though, I managed to find a beehive in a tree. I head into town to talk to our blacksmith friend again, but on the way, I decided to stop by the tavern to sell off my burial certificates. But it seems today they have a visitor, Miss Charm, a semi-famous singer and actress who's putting on some sort of performance.
Waddle, 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 wah. What? What?
I try to strike up a conversation with her, but she says I need to come back, quote, when I have more faith in myself, and that she comes here every female day. Wait, on male day, some guy called the Great Inquisitor comes to town? And on female day, an actress comes to town? Well, then I'm excited for non-binary day, where I finally get to meet most of my audience. Without skipping a beat, after our embarrassing shutdown from Miss Charm, we're called over to the corner by Wagner, an aspiring poet. He tells us that one day he plans to marry Miss Charm, but right now he's all out of ink and paper, and if we get some, he'll be able to write her a poem that would forever win her heart. Okay, not sure how that relates to me literally at all. Like, I thought he was just gonna say, and then maybe I'll introduce you to her, or like give you something. Nope, just shouted his life story at us the second he saw us talking to a woman. Damn. Also, what kind of poet can you be without a pen and ink? That's like 90% of being a poem. Imagine I told you I was the graveyard keeper and I just brought you to an empty field and said, yeah, I could bury some bodies here. At the very least, he tells us we could ask the astrologer for some, and he comes around every moon day. I sneak back over to the blacksmith and purchase my iron bars, and then head back down into the church basement, where I've got tons of energy and can finish cleaning out these broken bookcases. This gives me a few new resources, and among them is an item called notes. If I place this into the study table, I'll actually be able to get myself 4 of that science resource I was talking about earlier. Now that I've got faith in science, I can do my first study, which I decided to perform on some blood I found, completely unsure what this will do. After spending a good amount of energy finishing the study, I'm given 20 blue points, and seeing as these are the first blue points I've managed to earn in this entire playthrough so far, I can immediately tell how important studying is going to be. While I'm not quite sure what to spend those precious blue points on, I realize that I've managed to accumulate over 100 red points in my gravestone crafting frenzy, but I decided to spend them all on getting access to a more advanced anvil, complex iron parts, and a new set of iron tools to craft. Now, all of these resources are going to require iron bars from us, but I can't buy them off of Kane forever, so I decided it was time to nip that little tiny iron problem in the bud. I used one of the bars that I got from Kane to build myself the Pickaxe 1, which is actually the Pickaxe 2, because the Rusty Pickaxe is actually Pickaxe 1. So why didn't they just call it Pickaxe 2, or even better, Iron Pickaxe? Irregardless, I walk around for a bit and find some iron nodes up north that I use my fresh new pickaxe to crack into. After gathering about 40 ore, I head back and use the remaining iron parts to build myself a furnace. Now here, I can turn each piece of ore into a single ingot. But in order to power the furnace, we're gonna need some sort of fuel. You can either use sticks, firewood, or coal. And despite the raw power that coal seems to provide, we've yet to encounter any, so for now, it was just firewood for us. I turn flitches into more firewood, which then gives me enough fuel to process all my ore. And you know, I actually really need that iron bar, so I'm just gonna sit here and wait for it to pop out. Okay, you know what? I'll actually come back later. Oh, the donkey's here. It looks like you're doing all right here. Yes, I just opened up the church. So now you own everything here? Yeah, I guess. Congratulations, you're a lucky man. You acquired all this capital. You work for yourself. You're a true capitalist now. Oh, I get it. Wait, is he supposed to be like a donkey? Like Democrat? Even you are benefiting from my sheep later. I fear I cannot call you a comrade any longer. Don't just lie down and take it. Here's a little present for you. Did he just give me the... Oh, he pooped. Oh my god. And I'm skating in the skid. All right, let's clean that up. And I have no energy. Great. Luckily for me, I had some berries in my inventory that I guzzled down to scoop up our donkey's little friend. You know, you gotta give the keeper some credit. I'm not sure I would have been able to enjoy a full meal while inhaling the fumes of a dead body and donkey feces at the same time. So that's some serious self-control. I noticed that it's actually mail day once again, so I head up to Witch Hill to see our new pal, the Inquisitor. All right, who we burning today, y'all? Keeper, I enjoy the air in here. There's something righteous about it. I got a story? Good to know that we'll soon be burning another witch here. We're still torturing her. Oh, awesome. That's good. Good thing I'm not a witch or anything. Apparently, Inquisitor says that people are showing up less to his witch burnings lately, so he'd like for us to make a bunch of flyers, as well as secure more firewood so the sparks really do fly. You know, maybe these witch burnings aren't so bad after all. I mean, they bring the community together, and we do desperately need more third places. I mean, I can even think of a couple witches I'd already like to see burned. Inquisitor goes on to say that if we manage to impress him and get on his good side, he'll even open the left side of our graveyard, something that I didn't even know was currently not an option. On the way back, I had managed to scrounge up some carrot seed while clearing out the cellar, so I decided to plant them in the garden by our house Heradic said we could use. Seeds in this game plant in packs of 4, and thankfully require no water whatsoever, so I can just slap them down and come back for them later. I grab and then try to go give the firewood to the Inquisitor that he asked for, but unfortunately he's already left for the day, and you're completely unable to talk to the good old village folk once they start walking.
Alright, let's go. Me and you, Inquisitor. Where are you headed off to, buddy?
While I'm out and about, I decide to explore the eastern half of the town, where I can find this solemn outpost and look out onto the sea, wondering, will I ever see my beloved again? Is there even a way back home? Am I doomed to eternally suffer in this false reality? Also, there's a sentient basket that you can talk to and buy chickens off of. Further north, there's a small camp, this one holding a baron who demands I bring him some filleted fish. And can someone tell me what the hell this is? Like, it looks like a trough, but they have no animals. So is this like a retreat? What's with the pole? So you don't topple over? As I walk around, I realize that it's in fact Moon Day, which means I can go to see the wise old astrologer everybody's been telling me about on the east side of the village, which will be a huge breath of fresh air, finally meeting someone who isn't disgusted by the very concept of science.
This cannot be him, right? No, this is Dig. This guy must be crazy. You think I'm crazy.
And I know they say not to judge a book by its cover, but this is one of those times that it's actually okay, as this guy has completely lost it. I head further east where I encounter this lighthouse guarded by none other than the astrologer. Unfortunately for us though, the astrologer is tormented by the knowledge he contains in his ever-expanding mind amongst a sea of idiots, which has made him depressed. I try to tell him to just smile more and go for walks, but that doesn't seem to work for some reason. Instead, he would like me to bring him a human skull, even though, as he describes it, it's pretty illegal. Next to him is the lighthouse keeper, who tells me that this game has fishing in it. Guys, I'm begging you, everybody, no more fishing minigames. Every fishing minigame in the world has already been done. I'm sick of fishing.
How about hunting?
How about hunting, like an Oregon Trail? You guys remember that? I try to rush home, pick up the skulls, and then manage to give them over to the astrologer, but unfortunately for me, I'm too slow, and he manages to get away. I finally got the materials to clean out the clutter in the basement there, so I head there and encounter another NPC we've heard tons about, Snake.
Hold still! Who are you?
Mind your business, I got a deck and I'll gladly use it. So now we gotta come back here once we've got more fate. And the NPC Palooza doesn't stop as Kane comes by to tell us that we're having a big town meeting. I figure it's some boring legal stuff, but once I arrive, Heradic informs us that there are actual real vampires attacking the villagers. Heradic says that it's probably all lies, but if he was to personally interview people about it, he would have to give them a tax write-off, which I'm almost certain is not a real thing, but this then forces the role on to me. Thankfully, this whack-job shepherd gives me a hint that his wife saw a vampire and we should talk to her, though he does shove some garlic down my throat to prove I'm not one of them. While wandering around, I finally find those slimes I was supposed to kill for Kane like a week ago, so I send them to their chunky ends and report back to Kane. Not only does he give me 5 simple iron parts, but also a whetstone that I'll be able to use to repair any of my tools if they happen to break. But now it's Sunday, so I gotta scurry back to church or else I miss my sermon, and I do not want to be missing out on all that faith. Though of course, I do, as I get distracted by a body in the morgue, and then I can't find where the heck I put my prayer. It wasn't entirely unjustified though, as this body has something quite strange about it. There's an extra organ inside of it called a sin shard that I can remove as well. Unsure what the heck that is, I decided to just collect it for now and maybe it'll become useful later. Back at the house, I slapped down the new upgraded anvil, though the only new recipe I can make on it for now are the complex iron parts. My carrots had finished growing, and not only am I able to harvest 19 full carrots, but they also give me back some seeds, though not as many as I originally planted, but still another batch of carrots can be placed. The bishop told me on Sunday that he's opening up a fake soup kitchen with hopes that poor people might build a statue of him, and I wish that was all a joke, but he wants me to grab some clay bowls, which I managed to buy off a local clay guy named Adam. I don't think we really met Adam yet, but just from his general vibe, he seems absolutely insufferable. Down in the church basement, I decided to use the last of my faith to study the human organs I had extracted, putting me at 50 blue points for now. I use all my points to go in on church furniture, as my lack of faith is really stopping a lot of possible progress, and the higher the quality of your church is, the more faith your sermons will give. Additionally, I want to unlock the combo prayer, which should give me both a consistent source of faith and money. First though, I need to build out this church furniture, and for that, I'm gonna need lots of nails and iron parts. Even Even though it's been a week in game, my furnace is not even halfway done yet, but that's still enough iron to get started. I turned the ingots into a bunch of nails and parts, but now I need a bunch of logs, and all this furniture requires lots of wooden planks. It's a brutal night of chopping and crafting in the pouring rain, but I know that once I get to the other side, it'll all be worth it, as once I've got all these pieces, I can throw together the most glorious looking church you've ever seen. Beautiful mahogany pews, stunning candelabras, and actually now that I look at this place again, it looks like an ungodly shack where Moses himself comes out of the confessional and stabs you for your offering. It's mail day once again, and I can give the firewood to the Inquisitor for those witch burnings, which makes us close enough friends apparently that he gives us the license to use the left half of our graveyard. And just in time, as the donkey has arrived with a new body for us to bury there.
Donkey deserves more carrots.
What are you doing here? I could have given you carrots if you wanted. I'm on strike. What does that mean? It means I'm tired of being oppressed. I'm not bringing you any more corpses. At least not for free. I have a list of demands. First, I demand better working conditions.
Grace for these wheels for a change. I can't keep listening to the squeak. Second, I need a day off, so no more courses on Sunday. These corpses aren't your property. Like a natural resource, and I want my cut. Each new corpse will cost you 5 carrots in advance. You can place them in the special box here. I'll take the carrots from it. If you think you find another donkey. Oh wait, there isn't another donkey.
Yes, our dear donkey not only grows incompetence, but now we've got to respect his unionization demands. Not only do we need to bring him everything on that giant laundry list, but we need to bring him 10 carrots for each corpse we want. I mean, am I insane? Shouldn't that be the job of the person who is sending the donkey to us? Like, why do I have to pay for these bodies? Where the heck else are you gonna put him? Not to mention, he's not leaving until he gets what he wants. Why don't you get your filthy hooves off my property and head back to the no work subreddit, man? Sure, I inherited literal miles upon miles of land through complete random chance and now own one of the most desirable properties in the entire kingdom. But if I was in your shoes, I'd just choose to not be poor. How do you like them apples, donkey? Now, for the first time at the top of my screen, I got this little blue sleeping circle. This is a debuff that affects you when you haven't slept for a very long time and slowly drains your energy. You can still kind of get around, but basically you're limited to such a small section of your energy. The game's basically forcing you to sleep. This only happens when you've burned through 3 full energy bars, which I 100% have, as I've been relying on berries for my energy for the most part. After my quick nap, I look towards the book writing tab in the technology tree, as my current main goal is to craft that combo prayer, which will require 10 faith and a book. And to get the book's technology, I first have to pick up the recipes for notes and chapters. But before we tackle that, my nap has brought me to Moon Day once again, and I don't want to miss the astrologer. With these NPCs that only come once a week, you really want to try to catch them in the morning. That way, if they ask you to do something else after completing your first task, you've got a chance of completing that one too. I give the astrologer the skull he asked for, which warms him up enough to allow us to finally explain our situation to him. Though hilariously, when you click I need your help, it shows off all the things you currently could ask him for help with. So right next to, hey, do you know how to get out of here and get back to my time period and my home and the love of my life is, hey, you got any ink? Of course, I ask about the all-important ink first, to which the astrologer says yes. Riveting stuff.
Friend told me that you might know how to open the portal on Witch Hill. I've never heard about it. Maybe exactly never, but not at least for many years. In another life, I had a friend. By the way, he was a graveyard keeper like you, and he was mad about this portal. It's amazing how much he knew about this portal. What's his name, Jerry? Actually, I don't know his name. We used to call him by his nickname, Keeper. So what happened to him? Was that the black man I saw in the void? He just disappeared. Hasn't been heard from since or then. I tried to find him, but nobody knew him. I started thinking he might have just been a figment of my imagination. It was a hard time for me. So what about the portal? I think he found a way to activate it. It was something magical, so I don't remember. But it should be in his diary. Just before his disappearance, he gave me this key. It opens up a metal gate in the northern part of the church cellar. Somewhere in there was where he kept his most important notes. Why don't you take those notes? Well, I tried, but there's a secret to this key. I tried for months to figure out how it works. Maybe it's just in my mind and the key opens nothing. Anyway, you can take it. Try to learn how the key works at the study table in the church cellar. When you have his diary, bring it to me and I'll try to find some information about the portal.
On my way back home, I decided to stop by the farmer's shop, as apparently I'm gonna need lots of carrots if I want the bodies to keep rolling in. While I'm here though, the meek farmer's son tells me he's got info on those vampires everybody's been so freaked out about. And long story short, he told a story where his father was drinking a bunch of whiskey and the vampire has trouble hearing people. So if we meet anyone who is just like super lonely and also has bad hearing, they are 100% a vampire and immediately need a stake through the chest. The farmer, for a reason that I don't quite understand, is a complete jerk to me. But irregardless, I'm able to buy 24 carrot seeds off him. I placed down some more crop plots in the garden, as well as a compost bin. You see, every time you harvest crops, you'll get something called crop waste. This is otherwise completely useless, but if you throw it in the compost pile, you can actually get something out of it. I built some more pews and candelabras in the church, and then remember I put my casual prayer in the church chest. You know, literally the only place it would make sense to place. And I can go ahead and give another sermon. Now, each sermon has 2 phases, or rewards, I guess you could call it. First is accumulating the faith, and the second are the donations that your disciples leave at the door. Now, your church rating is what determines how much faith you receive, while your graveyard determines how much money you get. Unfortunately, both of those scores are pretty low, not to mention the casual prayer that the bishop gave us is incredibly weak, which is why my grand sermon only generates 24 copper and 4 faith. Back at home, I was quickly running out of inventory space, so I can build a chest both at the house and a separate one in the garden for all my carrot materials. My compost pile pile has finished up, turning my crop waste into a few peats and maggots, both of which will be really important for later on. My iron producing was still moving mighty slow, so I want to set my eyes on getting the Furnace 2 upgrade, which requires stone, complex iron parts, both of which are super easy to make, and pigskin paper, which I've yet to discover. And to inch towards that goal, I spend all day gathering resources. That way I can make a new crafting station in the church basement, the desk. This is how I make any and all paper-based products, like notes, chapters, and my true goal I've been striving towards, the combo prayer. Unfortunately though, pigskin paper is not included in that paper-based list somehow, meaning that I'll have to craft a different workstation, meaning I'll need even more iron. I had to cross the bridge I built, and over to the west there's tons of loose iron nodes for me to mine up. Also, as I explore around, I find this rock blockage preventing me from reaching the top of the map, and I'll need to bring over some wood wedges and iron parts to clear it. This property is a lot bigger than I initially thought it was, and it seems like I've barely even scratched the surface. I harvest a big yield of carrots, well over 50 of the suckers, and go to sell them back to the farmer for a quick profit, but realize that he's only buying each one for 8 copper. Yeah, like I said, making money is no easy task in this world. With returns that pitiful, I decide to instead use my carrots as an energy source, as even though there's no technical consequence to sleeping, energy drains insanely fast in this game, so having to sleep every time you perform like 2 actions is actually getting a little tiresome. To further refine their energy use, you can use the oven inside of your house to actually cook each carrot into 2 carrot cutlets, which each give you 15 energy apiece. This will be my primary energy source for pretty much the entirety of the early game. I spend the night crafting all those wood chips and the such that I need for the blockage, and then on that morning, clear it all out. And I am glad I did, as there was tons I was missing out on top of here.
Oh, there's a shack. What the heck? Oh, can I rest here? Oh, that's probably not a good idea, just resting in this random shack.
Yes, I discovered the cabin in the woods, a secondary house that I was able to use. It's even got its own craft station making place next to it that I can repair. Over to the left, I see what looks like some sort of giant iron deposit that I'm able to take my pickaxe to.
Oh, whoa, look at that. Give me a huge thing of iron.
Yes, the place I had stumbled upon was actually the quarry, and it served to give you an infinite way to mine out all the stone resources in the game. But similar to logs, these giant iron nodes need to be cut down in a stone cutter before we're able to throw them into the furnace. I placed down a stone cutter and an iron ore stockpile where I can place these giant nodes. Each node can be cut into a whopping 5 iron ore. But this wasn't just a great place to pick up iron, as every time I mined out a node, I'd get 2 red points. Great way to actually get something important done if I'm ever inevitably in need of red points. For now though, it was about to be Sunday, and I did not want to miss another sermon, so I headed straight home and gathered up another 4 faith. Now with 8, I decide to give this faith to our pal Snake. If you remember, we need to convince him to work with us. He agrees and tells us that we need to open up this gate, which conveniently enough for us is exactly what the astrologer told us we need to do. We show Snake the key the astrologer gave us, to which Snake gives us instructions for said key, which we need to use at the study table to understand and use the key. Unfortunately for us though, we're fresh out of science and have absolutely no way of crafting any more paper. While I did find some ruined books in those collapsed bookshelves, we'll also need sand. I walk around the river by my house for a bit, but apparently all this sand is not good. Instead, we need to head all the way down to the infinite sand pit, where we can just dig here over and over and over again, grabbing all the sand we could ever possibly need. Which is kind of insane, as this is the second infinite sand pit I've discovered in my videos. Before returning, I also snagged some complex iron parts, as that'll allow me to make the main crafting station in the church basement, the church workbench. Here, I can turn the human skin I've been extracting into pigskin paper, which then turns into normal paper. So I guess I didn't need the sand after all. I'll never forget your sacrifice and graciousness, infinite sand pit. You were there for me when no one else was. I decompose a piece of paper in the study table, giving me 2 science, enough to study the keeper's key. With my last remaining piece of science and faith, I decide to study a piece of flesh, as it gives me a good 20 of those oh so rare blue points. Now that I had discovered pigskin paper, I could finally upgrade that furnace, giving me a furnace 2. This not only unlocked new recipes, like the next tier of ingot steel, but also produces iron at twice the rate of a normal furnace. With all that out of the way, it was finally time to give Snake our newly studied key, and see what truly hid behind the previous keeper's locked gate.
Last one step closer. Okay, you go first. They'll see who's worthless. I'll wipe those smug looks off their face. Who are you talking about? I'm talking about all of them. Everyone who lives in this cursed town, and everybody who thinks they're better than me, just because they have everything and I have nothing, but soon I'll have everything. Okay, dude. Sounds like you're creating your own struggle, but okay. Whatever. Okay, I think I see what I'm looking for. Do I? I thought it was supposed to be like a notebook. Oh, there it is. Oh, what the hell? What just happened? Did I just die? You have died? What just happened? Seems like I'm alive and back home. Under the circumstances, I'm not sure that's good. I need to go back and get that diary. What the hell happened? I died and come back? I'm cursed to stay here forever? Hey, there are my bones. Wow. How did you do it? I don't know. I just went back to my hut. Great. I should be used to it. Life gives me lemons all the time. You're such a useless idiot, and yet you're immortal. That's totally not fair. I hate you. Pardon me? I hate you. Let me write this down. Graveyard keeper can't die. Actually, I could use your help. Now that your immortal ass is here, I've decided I don't want to die in this dungeon. What dungeon? Right up here. It was even before the church. trench, and nobody even knows how deep it goes. In ancient times, they nailed heretics to the walls and scorched their legs before the ancient contract.
Snake tells us we need to retrieve a bucket of blood and 5 bloody nails from that dungeon behind him, but we need to be prepared, as it's dangerous down there. And prepared I was gonna be, as I proceed to not even touch that dungeon for another 20 hours of gameplay. Well, it was while talking to our wonderful criminal friend here that Keeper heard some sort of weird moaning sound, so he decided to go check it out.
Holy guacamole, there's a zombie in there! Indeed, what a pleasant surprise. I've been so desperate to see someone again.
Are you alive? Do you need help?
Let's just say I'm conscious, and I'm glad to hear you so kindly offer your help. My name is Gunter. Now, would you be so kind to hit me with your sword a couple times?
Alright.
Ask questions later. Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, this guy's a freak. Apparently, the previous keeper kept him chained down here for obvious reasons. But on the bright side, he tells us a way that we can actually get some help around the graveyard. And that's by using zombies. He gives us the blueprint to make a resurrection table, as well as 3 zombie juice. Gunter tells us that if we take a dead body, 10 faith, and a single zombie juice to that resurrection table, we can bring them back as a mindless zombie to do our bidding. And the only thing I love more than free labor is mindless free labor. No chance of an uprising like that damn unionized donkey. So I make zombies my #1 priority right now. Gunter even gave me a nice tip off here that there should be a zombie buried somewhere along the path to the forest. Before that though, I make sure to conquer the reason we came here in the first place, and that's grabbing the keeper's old notebook, making sure to carefully skirt around the death fire pit this time. On my way over to the astrologer, I sell off all my carrot cutlets, which gives me just 5 silver, but you know, better than nothing. But then it was over to the lighthouse to give the astrologer the keeper's diary we found, which should hold the secrets to opening up that portal on Witch Hill and getting home to see our love.
How can I open the portal on the Witch Hill? Let me see. You need to craft a spirit laser. I don't know what a laser is. Should be crafted on the pedestal in front of the portal.
The astrologer goes on to say that we're gonna need an emitter and a barrel to activate this portal. To craft the emitter, there are 3 magic MacGuffins we're gonna need to find, but as for the barrel's ingredients,
I think part of the book's text is covered with something sticky. Ew. What the hell kind of book was this?
In fact, the book is so sticky that to clean it off, we're gonna need something called restoration tools and acid? Dudes really be moving different back then in the Middle Ages. No wonder they all had so many kids. For the acid, apparently there's some woman in the swamp who can teach us alchemy, which will allow us to craft it ourselves. And for the restoration tools, the astrologer says we should look towards the black market, and our best bet there is of course going to be through Snake. On my way home, I go to check out the Witch Hill portal pedestal, but apparently the Inquisition guards have posted up there, so I'll have to convince them to leave to get to it. Upon arriving home, I explore the quarry a bit and find places where we can mine out stone blocks by using wood chips, marble blocks if we get a better pickaxe, and finally coal. Coal can not only be used to fuel our furnace and ovens, but can also be burned into a new resource, graphite. Graphite and iron can be combined in the furnace to make the next tier of ingot steel. This is of course really important. So I spend a few days just mining out as much coal and iron as I can, sleeping in the cabin when I run out of energy, and then just getting right back to mining. Coal actually generates pretty dang fast, and I'm able to gather up over 400 of the stuff in just a few days. Unfortunately, I was still missing the recipe for graphite, and as such steel, and I was gonna need to scrounge up some more blue points if I actually wanted to move forward with that. With all that now smelting away in the furnace, I take Gunter up on his offer and start looking for that buried zombie. I have no idea what the path to the forest is referring to, so I just spend an entire day scanning over my property until I find this giant patch of rubble that not only holds my precious zombie, but also the blueprint to making a zombie logging mill. Well, perfect. Now I just need 10 faith to bring this sucker back to life. For now, I'll just leave him cold and rotting in front of my house. Now, if I was gonna build the zombie army of my dreams, I was gonna need to give that damn donkey the oil he's been demanding to finally move those hooves, start bringing me bodies again. And I know just the guy who can get us oil. Local, grass expert Dig. I grease up the donkey's wheels, and after 2 weeks of standing there, he finally drops the body he'd been holding onto, only to reveal it's still in perfect condition. So I guess the donkey had harnessed the power of flatulence refrigeration, which, you know, he could probably sell as a skill if he wasn't so against the consumerism of it all. Since I'll be dealing with dead bodies once again, I decided it's time to properly invest those technology points all in on anatomy. I unlocked the butcherer perk, which makes me less likely to make mistakes while performing surgeries on the anatomy table, as well as the soft sparses, which now lets me extract fat and blood from bodies. I also learned that I can actually insert things back into bodies, which really confuses me, like why would I ever want to do that? This is not only going to be super important later on though, but has surely already filled the comment section with a sea of people who are just furious I'm only coming upon this now. But it seems our dear donkey friend just couldn't get enough of the keeper, as immediately upon exiting the morgue, he's driven himself all the way back to our place.
Dear comrades, my assignment to inform you that ECO-PDDP is a planetary meeting have made the decision. What? I'm sorry, Eco who? ECO-PD, the executive committee of the Party of the Donkeys Proletariat. You are just like its general secretary, by the way. Oh, that explains everything. So the ECO-PD has decided to give you one last chance to rehabilitate yourselves in the eyes of the enlightened labor. Well, thanks. Our party has reached the phase of our proposition for the revolutionary upheaval, and your role will be key. And if I refuse, then we'll burn down your home graveyard and the garden in the church. Worst of all, you'll be publicly reprimanded by the party's blacklist. Oh no, they're gonna cancel me. As you realize, this is all top secret. We'll communicate via notes. Notes? How are you gonna write notes? Those who know less sleep better. Wait, did he say I wouldn't recommend smelling them? Is he gonna poop in them?
The donkey demands us to send him 5 apples to raise morale of the donkey proletariat, as well as some sort of cookbook to allow his allies to befriend the rat faction, which will be critical to their success. Back in the morgue, I used some flitches and simple iron parts to repair the crafting station, which lets me build that resurrection table that I need for my zombies. I head to town to sell off some firewood, and while I'm there, I decide to pick up something called the teleport stone from her attic, and oh my god, why did I not discover this earlier? This might be the single most game-changing item in all of Graveyard Keeper. Using it allows you to have infinite teleports all around the village. You can go to your house, her attic's bar, the lighthouse, the quarry. The only downside, if you can even call it that, is that it's got a small cooldown after using it. While I'm out, I decide to sell off some of my extra coal to Kane the blacksmith and sell 200 of the stuff for a whopping 10 silver. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but this single stupid sale was the equivalent of the 2008 financial crisis on the economy of this village. And I'm not joking. Me harmlessly selling a couple of extra rocks I managed to scrounge up would forever nuke both mine and Kane's income for the foreseeable future. But we'll get into that later. For now, I gleefully skip away with my 10 shiny silver rattling around in my pocket. I then use my new income to purchase myself 2 pen and inks from the astrologer, which are crucial to making the updated combo prayer to get more faith to make my zombies. Also, I'm having an incredibly hard time coming across blue points right now, so I decided to buy his book for 2 silver, which gives me an instant 25 of them. The biggest thing this lets me solve is actually letting me learn the recipe for graphite, meaning I can finally craft my own steel. Back at home, things were getting pretty crowded out on the porch, not to mention with the amount of things I want to be smelting, one furnace just wasn't cutting it anymore. But thankfully, using some wooden planks, I could unlock the eastern half of my yard, giving me way more space for crafting stations. Before tackling that though, of course, it's sermon time, let's get sermoning, sermon every day, sermon. But back to organizing my front yard, it was here that I made a pretty colossal mistake. In fact, this is easily one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in any video ever, and I called this thing a garlic. So right now, my yard is a complete mess, and I wanted to redo the whole thing, but have it all way more organized, fit with like a whole chest system. Now, in Graveyard Keeper, there's no way to just move craft stations or buildings. So the only way to do that is just to deconstruct them all together. When you deconstruct things, you only get a fraction of the materials it takes to craft them back, which I don't think of that as a huge issue. I mean, I've got tons of backup resources in my chest, but the issue comes when I also take down the log stockpile. See, I'm trucking along, rebuilding all my little chests in this cute little organized way that's way softer on the eye, until I realize I'm all out of flitches. Well, that's okay, I can just go slice down some more. But then I realized something. I can't make any more, as the way that all the crafting stations work at your base is they either pull from your chest, inventory, or stockpile. You can't just walk up to a crafting station and be able to craft something. And with logs, they of course must be stored in the timber stockpile, as they're too big for a chest or your inventory. So if I wanted to be able to craft anything here wood related, I was gonna need to recraft the timber stockpile. Well, unfortunately for me, for whatever reason, the timber stockpile actually uses an advanced crafting resource called the wooden beam. I didn't have access to wooden beams yet, so I hop into the technology menu and make sure to unlock them. They're made with logs, so I can't make any wood products without the timber stockpile. But I couldn't make the timber stockpile without first having wood products. You see the problem here? I had actually soft locked myself out of probably the most important crafting recipes in the entire game. I try using my remaining resources to scrounge up enough to make the stockpile, but to make the wooden beams, you need the circular saw, and I was nowhere even close to being able to build that.
This is like a catastrophic mix-up. Actually, this is actually like so bad. It's not even funny how bad this is. I can't believe they even let you let this happen to you. I was just trying to rearrange my farm a little bit.
Now, thankfully, I had come up with one single way to save myself from the eternal prison I had otherwise trapped myself in. North of town, there's a wood salesman named Tress who actually sells wooden beams, but he doesn't sell them until I rank him up to tier 2, which I can only do by buying or selling items. He only buys wood products, so I have to sell off like literally all my wood. But when I return the next day, it's revealed that he's selling these wooden beams for 1 silver, 24 copper each, and I do not have that much money. So I mine up some more coal and head to the blacksmith to sell it again, only to realize 2 things. 1, he's buying my coal at a dramatically lower rate, and 2, he won't even buy all my coal. You see, NPC shops in Graveyard Keeper work differently than the ones that you or I are probably used to. Not only do they have a set amount of money that you can see here at the bottom, but if you flood the market with stuff, the demand will go down, and you'll have to sell it for less. But this isn't just some sort of easy fix that goes away by waiting, like, say, the Plort Market and Slime Rancher. Instead, the NPC's inventory is permanently screwed. The only way you can save them is by buying all of your items back from them at a higher price. Otherwise, you'll just be unable to ever sell it to them again. So yeah, effectively, we could just never sell any mining related supplies again, so we just have to find complete other ways to make money. But who cares? For now, we're able to scrounge up enough coins to purchase the wood we need and finally release ourselves from our soft block. I know it probably didn't seem all that stressful to you guys, but I cannot express to you how scary it is thinking you might have to abandon like a 10-hour save for no other reason than you wanted your house to look nicer. With our save file rescued, I can rebuild all of our former crafting stations, including a completely new one, the circular saw, which will finally let us craft those wooden beams. Today's Sunday, so I run by Adam's place and buy some more clay bowls that I forgot to and give them to our bishop for his made-up soup kitchen. For that amazing feat, he offers to let us upgrade our church if we get our graveyard quality to 30 and the church quality to 20. And we also need to bring him 4 fish fillets just because. I take the rest of the day and finish out my chest organization system, as 90% of your time spent in a game like this is just combing through your inventory, so the sooner you can sort out that, the sooner you can actually play the game. With my newly expanded inventory, I figure it's about time I start growing some more crops, so I buy as many carrot and wheat seeds as I can. Now, with my new goal in mind of getting my graveyard quality up to 30, I take a look and see that since starting, my quality has only gone down, and I'm currently sitting at 2 quality, despite burying 10 extra bodies. And so I decided to unlock the stone gravestones path, as this new fence provides 2 quality, while the new gravestone provides 3 quality. I've still got a couple more recipes I need to unlock to complete everything I'll need for a combo prayer, so I decided to craft those flyers the Inquisitor needs, which cost me a pen and ink and 1 piece of paper. Something about the pen and ink, though, is that it has durability instead of being automatically consumed like other items. For each batch of flyers, you use half the ink's durability, but for smaller items like notes, you only use like 1/10. Anyway, the real reason I decided to craft them is that it gives me blue points each time I do. If you couldn't tell by now, blue points are by far the biggest blockage in my playthrough. As of right now, the only ways I know how to accumulate them are either stupid expensive, like crafting flyers, or one-time use, like studying different objects. Not to mention the amount of items that give blue points for studying is remarkably small compared to its green and red counterparts. In fact, I just got the achievement for collecting 1,000 red points, but I've barely got like 80 blue ones. Anyway, it's Sunday once again, finally giving me enough faith to revive my first zombie. I go to put that one I dug up at the resurrection table, and am confused because he doesn't look like anybody I've ever seen before. And that's because, and this is very embarrassing, he's already a zombie. I don't know, I guess he just seemed like lifeless, that I felt like I needed to perform the resurrection ritual on his body, but nope, he could have just been working for me this whole time. Oh, wow, I wish I discovered that earlier. Oh, that is really nice. Okay. The whole time I thought I had to reanimate him. Okay. He was already reanimated. Zombies can do a huge variety of different tasks for you, but perhaps the most useful of which is just to do any and all crafting for you at your base. All you have to do is queue up some items on the station, and the zombie will not only pull from your chest and craft it, but also put it away in a chest for you as well. Now, this of course does have the downside that you won't receive any points for any tasks you've done in this way, but having a zombie at your house that you can just throw around to each station, or to just continually make refined resources that you need massive numbers of, like flitches, nails, or simple iron parts, is genuinely game-changing and saves you so much time and also energy. I use my points to gain the ability to craft a zombie sawmill, as I can now use my faith to create a second zombie, and we always need more wood, so having a zombie who's just constantly producing it would be a huge boon. Unfortunately, after spending all those points and resources to build the dang zombie sawmill, I realized, holy crap, he is slow at this. I mean, seriously, look how slow he's moving. So instead, I purchased the zombie porting station, which will allow zombies to transfer resources from wherever they are to your base. I throw the zombies there and then just cut down a bunch of the trees surrounding the sawmill in just like 2 minutes, throw them into the sawmill's timber stockpile, which saves me the trouble of having to lug them all the way back to my base. I want to focus on fixing my graveyard now and getting those juicy stone gravestones I unlocked on every single grave, as their only required ingredient is stone. I find a stone node similar to the iron one by the quarry that's pretty close to my house and gives me infinite stone. Each one of these cuts into 6 stone, which I have a zombie alternating between cutting this into stone and making more gravestones. Whilst doing all this though, it turned into mail day, so it's time to go up on Witch Hill and finally complete the Inquisitor's quest by giving him those flyers. Here are the flyers. Everyone will hear about the inevitability of the true faith. You're welcome. Anyway, I was planning a burning for today. The witch became too weak. Burning a dead one is too boring. Stay, let's watch it together. Oh, great. That's what I wanted to do. Burn a witch. Love burning those witches. Man, I've seen this show a bunch already. Plus, I'm getting hungry. Yeah, they need like firecrackers in there. This is a boring witch burning. How do we make this exciting? Seems like your burning isn't so popular. 5 years ago, this place was packed. Whole families came to watch. Seems like everybody got tired of it. Only my holy anger keeps the Inquisition alive. Even our blessed Inquisition guards haven't been able to find a new witch for a month. Maybe it's because of the water shortage. I think it's just a lack of motivation. Speaking of motivation, do you know how to grow grapes? I'll grant you the rights to use the eastern slope of Witch Hill to grow grapes. That seems good. But I think the land there belongs to the village, not the Inquisition. No, the vineyard has been my family for decades. I used to live there with my wife and son. Where are they now? They're died. Died in the Great Blast? What the hell's a Great Blast? Witches, I hate them! I'm sorry. Oh, this is sad. Witch has killed his family. Grow some grape, make some wine, bring it to me. The guard will then be motivated and we will work with extra zeal. Believe me, when they're drunk, they find a new witch every day. And once we get enough of them, then we'll need to figure out how to make burnings more entertaining. Yeah, well, way to make me feel like the jerk now. I thought this was just some psycho who took joy in killing people. Now it's like a trauma response and Inquisitor only kills because he believes it's the only way to take revenge for killing his family. You know what, Inquisitor, with a backstory like that, you're about 3 sly smirks away from becoming a Tumblr sexy man. The astrologer's in town again, and I return to buy some more blue points, as well as some Bronze Star chapters, which are basically really upgraded versions of paper. Back to fixing up the graveyard, though. It was only here after doing a ton of experimentation that I finally understood how burying bodies in the graveyard worked. And this is incredibly important to getting a good graveyard score, and the main reason all the bodies I have been burying have been having negative effects on my graveyard score. You see, every corpse that you get has a random number of red and white skulls. White skulls benefit the grave's rating, while the red skulls take away from the corpse's rating. Let's just talk about the red skulls first. These will actively subtract from the grave rating. So if you were to bury a body that had 0 red skulls with no fence or graves or anything, it would have a score of 0. However, if you were to bury a body that had 2 red skulls, well, now your starting place would be -2. Now, what determines all this is slightly more in depth, and actually at this point in the playthrough, I didn't really fully understand how white skulls worked myself, so I'll explain that much later on. Just know for now that red skull bad, white skull good. But the main thing you need to know is that removing blood and fat will remove red skulls and add white skulls, while removing anything else will either remove white skulls or add red skulls, except for bone. For some reason, bone doesn't affect the corpse quality at all. All this to say, to be improving our graveyard the most we can be, I shouldn't be gutting every corpse I see as much as I can, throwing into grave and calling it a day. Ideally, each corpse you remove blood and fat, and I guess bone if you want, but bone isn't really used for anything in this game. Then you keep everything else and throw it in the grave. This will usually put us around 5 to 6 white skulls. Now, eventually you'll be able to add like 26 white skulls to a corpse, but that is a long way off. Now that I understand how the graveyard and freaking graveyard keeper works, it still starts at -3, because despite knowing all this knowledge, I still looted the corpse. I can't help myself. The resources, they seem rare. How am I to deny myself such an enticing urge? How many games do you get to skin humans in? But I have hopes that this can all be counteracted by these swanky new gravestones and fences that my zombies have crafted. And you know what? It actually does, and my graveyard quality rises to 31. So take that, reading. Brute force wins again. With all that gravestone crafting, I quickly ran out of stone, so I decided to build out my quarry base a little bit more. I used my technology points to purchase these zombie stone quarry and steal the log zombie that wasn't doing a goddamn thing and bring him over to the stone mines instead. He seems to be slightly better at that, so you know, you can just stay here, enjoy yourself. Even mindless zombies deserve to be happy. After all, that's why Bill Maher is still on the air. Now, while I had gotten my graveyard to the required bishop level, it was actually currently impossible for me to reach the level inside the church, as even using all of the best church ratings, giving furniture in every available spot, I was still 3 points short. And unfortunately for me, all of the upgraded furniture can only be built in the upgraded church. So what was my way out? Well, there is a way to give yourself a temporary church rating buff, and that's using candles. Candles, as you may have guessed, require wax, which we can get from bees. By heading down the technology path of bees, now I should be able to find them out in random trees, so I can just sort of start like wandering around hoping to find them. Very rarely you'll see these little beehives in trees, and if you strike them down, you'll always get a honey with a very low chance to get a wax as well. And after checking countless trees, I managed to scrounge up 2 wax, which is just enough to make 4 candles. Each one gives me 1 point to my church rating, leaving me at 21 points. I quickly zoom out of the church and turn in both quests to the bishop. I thought that would be enough, but apparently no. That fish fillet thing from earlier wasn't just some random side quest. That is required to being able to upgrade your church. So I guess it'll be another week until I'm able to upgrade. With some time to kill, I figure we should probably head into the swamp and investigate that old woman who's supposed to teach us about alchemy. Only problem is that, oh my god, this place is so frustrating to navigate. They got all these little like swamp bridges that just don't quite reach over to the other side, but it's not like it's exactly certain which ones reach over and which ones don't. After a good long while of trial and error, I eventually reach this little cottage where I can speak to the old woman who lives here.
Go away, foul spirit!
I'm not a spirit, I'm the keeper at the local graveyard.
Are you sure you're real?
Not 100%, but pretty sure. I think you might be Clotho, the witch from the swamp.
I look more like a witch or a fairy princess. What do you think?
A witch? I suppose
You're right. It is smart to be a princess. Anyway, I need your help.
need your help too.
Too bad for you. I remember nothing. I just woke up with this note in my hand. In case you lose your memory, boil the cauldron with the incense and the bee. So we have 2 options here. You can either make me this potion, it shouldn't be too hard, or you can bring me a new cauldron and get the ingredients from me.
Yes, due to the witch's unfortunate memory loss, she needs a memory restoration potion, which we can either brew ourselves using the alchemy workstation recipes that she gifted us, or get a cauldron from the blacksmith and let her do it herself. Actually, a lot of the quests in this game give you multiple options on how to tackle them, which is honestly way more fun and lets you lean into whatever playstyle you're more comfortable with. And for my money, I'd rather get into some alchemy, baby. It worked out for this guy. But of course, all these stations require planks and iron parts, so I gotta scrounge up some of those first. While those are brewing, I take care of a body in the morgue and come up with my new patent technique for dealing with bodies. See, like I said before, if you're being optimal for corpse quality, with each body, you really only need to get rid of fat and blood. However, seeing as skin is used in paper, which is an incredibly important resource, I decide to always take out the fat, blood, and skin. This, like I said, is not corpse optimal, but you need to balance that with actually being able to farm some resources. The resulting graveyard quality bonus will vary between 3 and 5, depending on random factors we'll dig into later, but that's still honestly pretty decent. Also, I clear out the last remaining rubble piles in the morgue, meaning now the church basement, the morgue, and my house are all connected through this underground tunnel, which makes getting around so much easier. The other missing piece I had to being able to craft the alchemy workbench was something called advanced conical flasks, which can be unlocked through the technology tree, but are a pretty lengthy process to acquire. And the first step on that process is to melt our sand down into glass. I realized that this well in front of my house is not just for show, and I can actually use it to grab water. I've needed water for a few different things, but the game says it can only be crafted at the alchemy workstation called the hand mixer. Honestly, it's just really unclear wording, as you can actually get an infinite amount from this well here. This has a side usage of being able to turn the wheat I had turned into flour now into dough. Then I can further refine this by turning the dough into bread in my oven. But the main usage right now is that the water is required to turn sand into glass. It's now Sunday again, and I need to get the bishop those fish fillets, but I refuse to learn the fishing mechanic of this game. So instead, I teleport over to the lighthouse, talk to the keeper, where I can just buy them off of him. I give these to the bishop, and it's still not enough. How? How? Just let me upgrade my stinking church, man. Now he says that he also forgot to tell me that I'm also gonna need to buy a building permit from the Royal Services box for a whopping 20 silver. And as expensive as that is, it's not like I've got really any other choice here. So I purchased this slip, and okay, is that finally enough? Damn, oh my god, he actually built that instantly. I thought it was gonna at least send me into some sort of waiting period, but nope, now it's time to finally host an amazing sermon in the big new church, and oh, you gotta be kidding me. Yes, the bishop tells me that in order to perform a sermon in here, I'll now need a rightful citizen's paper, which costs an additional 3 silver. Jesus Christ, what is this, an Uber Eats order? I feel like there's 4,000 extra surcharges just tacked onto the end for no reason. Okay, I go and buy those papers from the box and then show the bishop, can I finally perform my sermon now? I have my rightful citizen's papers. It wasn't actually necessary. Oh my god, I can't stand this guy. Do you know how hard it is to find someone who reaches my high standards? You don't even know. But even my own brother disappointed me. Who's your brother? I need you to build a cathedral here, a really tall one. You and I will perform a great ceremony in the cathedral. We will pray for the Vimmer River to be filled with water. The town's dying without water. Water, and I should save the town. Oh, building a cathedral here. Let me guess. You'll need a lot of skulls and a lot of cross. Let's just say 800 skull. That sounds like way too much. Yeah, you're probably right. Okay, we'll say 200. That's awesome. Yeah, what about the town's cathedral? We don't have a cathedral. An old cathedral. People collapsed during the Great Blast. We haven't been able to rebuild it. No new construction is allowed to be taller than the King's Palace. But once we build a cathedral here with a proper steeple... Yes, we've heard about this Great Blast more than a few times now, and I can't help but wonder what the absolute heck is going on in this town, man. I mean, there was an explosion that changed the lives of everyone in the village forever, which only aided in the Inquisition's rise to power, and now they're kicking out the old guard? Something very strange is clearly happening here behind the scenes. Unfortunately, even with our newly upgraded church, our faith intake is about the same. And if we really wanted to start raking it in, we're gonna have to build a ton of new structures inside, and also finally grab that ever-elusive combo prayer. Yes, with the amount of times I've alluded to it, it was finally time to actually tackle this stupid sucker. And the first step to that is turning all of the papers I've managed to scrounge up into science and studying for more blue points. This gives me enough to unlock that combo prayer recipe, and it looks like it'll only require a Bronze Star book and 7 faith. Okay, what the heck is a book? Well, this is another item we can go ahead and unlock in the book writing tab using our remaining blue points. It seems to craft it, we're gonna need a soft cover in a chapter. Okay, what the heck is a soft cover? Oh, we craft it just using some pigskin paper. Easy. Now for the chapter, we're gonna need 3 notes, which are actually made from 1 pen and ink, a piece of paper, and a story. Stories are actually kind of complicated resources, but to make a really long story short, you get them when you finish really big quests, and they're crucial to do any sort of writing you need. We're also gonna need a pen and ink, and to craft that, we'll need the alchemy table, and to craft the alchemy table, we'll need those advanced flasks that I mentioned before. But it was here that I would learn that none of this crafting was nearly as easy as I thought. See, unlike the items we had previously been crafting, most items you can craft at the desk have qualities: bronze, silver, and gold, and if you click on this little bar, you can see the breakdown of what items you need to create what quality of end product. Now, of course, ideally, if I'm going to go through this long process, the best thing would be to make myself a gold star quality combo prayer and max out my faith gains. So I head on over to the astrologer and see that the highest book cover quality that he offers is a silver star quality hardcover. It's going for a staggering 15 silver, but I spend every last cent I have to buy it. I know it'll be more than worth it once I'm finally able to get that juicy gold star combo prayer. Only there's a slight problem. See, this little bar here shows you the percentage chance you have of making which quality item. You can play around with the qualities of both sides to see what results you could possibly make. Unfortunately though, using our silver star quality hardcover, even with the max quality chapter to accompany it, the best book we could possibly make would be a silver star quality. Now there is actually a way to upgrade this hardcover to a gold star quality one, but it requires something called gold jewelry details, which seems to be way far down the technology pipeline. So the best we can do for now is a silver star book, and the minimum crafting requirement for that is a silver star chapter at a 50% chance. And the cheapest way to get a silver star chapter is to use 3 silver star notes at a 10% chance. And the easiest way to get those is by using a silver star story at a 20% chance. But the unfortunate part about all of this is that even if all this goes well, I look up the combo prayer craft and realize that even a silver star book still only gets you a bronze star quality prayer, which would kind of make all this effort for nothing and would completely waste my silver star quality hardcover. After much, and I mean much experimentation though, I realized there is another way to secure my, at the very least, silver star quality prayer. You see, the quality of items you put in aren't the only thing that determines the quality of the output. There's also certain perks here you can see on the side that further help boost the quality of the item. In this case, there's a few, but the only relevant and obtainable ones right now are Writer and Playwright, which cost 40 and 100 blue points respectively. I looked through all my items and realized that I don't have any left that I can study for blue points, so it was gonna be a bit until we were able to pick up that perk. So unfortunately, our combo prayer dreams would have to wait until we found a consistent blue point source. For now, I grind out some red points by mining out tons, and I mean tons of iron blocks. I also take the zombie I had grinding stone up here, and instead throw him onto the stone cutter to cut down all this iron ore. I can always just check in here every once in a while, throw some more into the stockpile, and keep moving. I'm also doing some periodic corpse work. Every time I've got the available time, tombstone, and fences, I go in and swap out all my old, lesser performing ones with my new glorious stone ones. Also, I had finally smelted the advanced conical flask for my long-awaited alchemy table, but on my way to the church basement.
Yorick, he's back! Oh, nice to meet you here. These days, I'm not often a guest in the material world. Are you ready? Really interested? Well, then I'll tell you. I was elected as superintendent of the graveyard. It's a tough job. Not all the new arrivals are present. It's a lot of pressure.
Poor Yorick.
Thank you for your kind words. Now I need to return to my duties. Am I right? Good talk.
Yeah, not sure what the point of that scene was, but you know, Yorick, I'm happy for you. In the church basement, I can go ahead and craft that alchemy workbench, but when I go up to it, what the hell am I looking at here? Yes, unlike other crafting stations in this game, the alchemy workbench needs you to use custom recipes that you discover yourselves. While I think that the intent was to make it so you have to use trial and error a bunch to discover cool and game-changing new alchemy recipes and just have a joyous time in experimentation, all it really means is that whenever I want to craft some sort of alchemical recipe, I just glance my eyes over to my other monitor and see what the wiki says. Now, the alchemy table also uses special alchemy ingredients. These can be acquired by using certain resources at the other main alchemy workstations: the alchemy mill, the hand mixer, and the distillation cube. All of these things turn things like maggots into life powder that can then be used to make health potions. Those important before you can transform any resource that you have to study at first. I can use this to study graphite to turn it into graphite powder. Then, when combined with water, this makes black paint. Unfortunately, as much as I'd love to say this makes me an alchemical genius who doesn't need the stupid astrologer for his ink anymore, there's unfortunately no way of getting feathers in this game without buying them. So much to the donkey's chagrin, I'm still participating in that dope consumerism loop. On my way home to craft that pen and ink, I of course get distracted and stop by the crop plots. Here I decide to build my first zombie farm, mostly on account of the fact that I always forget to harvest my crops. I also figure with the farm so close to my house, I can have my crafting zombie just be working here in the background when I don't need him doing anything on my base. Then when I need him to bang out some nails for me, just swing back around and put him to work and bring him back. Now the zombie farm can only produce in really big batches, so in order to get him set up, you need 24 carrot seeds. I head down to the farmer to get some more, and while I'm down there, I grab as much of the other seeds as he's willing to sell. Meaning I can even queue cabbage and wheat up after the other carrots. I go to make my pen and ink and realize that in each bottle of ink makes 3 pen and inks. That means that my intent to craft 2 pen and inks had accidentally turned into 15 of the suckers. And honestly, these things are just taking up so much space in my inventory as they don't stack, so I just start crafting flyers to get rid of them. But it's then that I remember that each batch of flyers gives me some blue points. So I just crank a few out and now finally have enough points to grab Writer. And thusly my combo prayer plan can finally be set in motion. Now if you remember from earlier, to actually craft this thing with the minimum minimum resources required, which is all that I have, it would take insane luck. Which is why we're gonna whip out the good old reliable save scumming. Oh, save scumming, how I've missed you so. Basically, all you do is sleep before you craft every single individual component, and then if you don't roll your desired quality, then you just go ahead and exit the game and reload from your last save. There's absolutely no penalty to doing this an infinite number of times, except my own time, of course, but that's just absolutely worthless. Finally, after a good 30 minutes of resetting, I had done it. I had finally crafted the ever-valuable silver combo prayer. Look, now I know I made a pretty big deal about this prayer. I mean, I had talked about making it for literally half of this video, not to mention the insane amount of hoops that I jumped through just to craft it. But let me tell you, it was absolutely worth it. Besides the eventual upgrade to the gold star quality prayer that I'll do much later in the video, this was the only prayer I used for the entire game. It's just that good. The biggest thing I'm looking forward to is finally solving that faith problem of mine and raising my army of zombie workers from the grave. On my way out, I make sure to fix the body chute, as the construction costs were actually incredibly cheap. I just never noticed this was something you could even do. This has Donkey send the bodies he drops off directly into the morgue, as opposed to leaving them outside. And speaking of bodies, I hadn't really been keeping you guys up to date, but our little graveyard had massively expanded in all this time, with the right half nearly completely filled up, and our graveyard rating now sitting at a massive 67. With our combo prayers now crafted, I wanted to make sure we were getting the maximum amount of faith possible, so it was time to give our little old church a bit of a facelift. The biggest of which would be replacing these candelabras in the bigger areas with confessionals, as they would each give 5 church quality, not to mention the opportunity for some poor soul to come in during the week and leave some faith behind. Though with me being the only person who comes through this place and not having to be there when they confess, I guess they just confess to the wall. I also go through the theology tab and grab the candelabra too, which I replace all of the old candelabras with. Not only do each of these guys have inherent values of double the regular candelabras, but they can each hold 2 candles at once, doubling the total amount of candles you can use in the church. Now, to truly maximize my church rating, I make it my main goal to prioritize finally getting beekeeping online, as I need a consistent source of wax for candles. As I'm strolling around looking for hives, something actually quite embarrassing happened. You see, every time you take down a beehive, I guess some of them end up stinging you, which chips away a little of your health. Well, more than a little, actually.
Oh, I died. Oh no. Oh, I have died.
So I guess we won't be making our candles this time around. But thankfully, I can just buy a few from the bishop, and that gives me just enough to get the church rating to the required 50 threshold he set for us, giving us some more friendship points with him, with just that graveyard rating remaining. For now, though, it was finally time to rip that new updated combo prayer.
Look at that. Look at all that faith. It's so much faith. It's so much faith. It's so much. Yes. I've done it. It was all worth it. Great sermon, great sermon, great sermon. That's better than good sermon. How much are you guys gonna give? Oh, that's like half a silver each. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The 22 faith is crazy. It could be even more next time. More money, at least. Oh, my God. 5 money. Oh, wait, no. It was more than that.
And now that we had brightened up our church, it was time to focus on the graveyard. The main thing I wanted to fix was just how absolutely off-center everything was here. I bought a bunch of exhumation permissions and then removed graves. That way everything would line up much cleaner. And wow, this looks 10 times better. Holy crap, the other version was giving me so much anxiety. With my new faith influx, I revived my now 3rd and 4th zombies, which is actually the last of the zombie juice that Gunther gave me. So if I wanted any more workers, I was gonna have to figure out how to craft some more myself. I also make sure to throw some steel ingots into the furnace along with some clay bowls, as that'll allow me to start making steel parts, which is another important mid-game resource. With my new established zombie army, I start rolling the boulder of trying to just have absolutely plentiful amounts of resources. I want piles of stones, chests of iron, that way my zombies can just keep working and working and I never have to worry about it again. Now that we had made some huge progress in the graveyard, I figure it's about time to start tackling some of those quests I have sitting in my backlog. First up, I can buy some wine from the dead horse and bring it over to Jerry.
I don't have any sense of taste, but I can tell it's lacking in alcohol. Yuck. But of course, you have something tougher, don't you? Something like cognac?
You know, this might be an all-time worst pronunciation for me. In fact, I almost didn't put that in the video out of just sheer embarrassment. Jerry tells me that I should be able to find some cognac somewhere between the village and the lighthouse, as I guess the previous keeper would keep barrels of booze out there. Not exactly sure why you would store literal barrels of alcohol miles from your home, but you do you, I guess, previous keeper. I do a little redecorating and slap down a 3rd furnace at my base, as I'm just making so much iron at the quarry that I can't even process it all quick enough. I had completely filled up the right half of my graveyard, so I start making some space on the left, getting rid of the bushes and cutting down all these trees. The unfortunate truth is that these logs from the trees are actually so inconvenient to get back to my base that I would just leave them here for the entire rest of the playthrough, just letting them sit there like an eyesore on what is supposed to be a glorious resting place of respect and worship. And I've just got human-sized logs rolling over corpses just about everywhere. Despite my expansion and getting rid of those bushes, I'm still only sitting at 122 graveyard rating, still a ways off from the bishop's required 200. The main limiting factor with the graveyard was, of course, the bodies. There's no real way way to mass produce them, instead just having to wait for whatever the donkey decides to lend you a visit. But there was another way. See, I found a blueprint for items called lawns. There are other graveyard furniture that you can place that give you 2 to 4 rating depending on the size, and only cost stone and peats. Not to mention that they're actually thinner than graves themselves, so they can be placed in areas that graves won't fit. By spamming these across the new left area, I can get my quality all the way up to 160. Or at least I did.
The heck's happening? Oh, one of my graves got hit with lightning. Oh, a lot of them are getting hit with lightning. What the heck's going on, Ghost? Can't handle this job anymore. This is all your fault. You guys, they are terrible. Hey, I'm really sorry. I'm trying to get the best out of my You're not doing enough. Oh, I'm so sad. So sad. Oh, what have I done? I'm so sorry. Just try to hang in there. I'll fix everything. Are we still friends? I don't think we ever were. Whoa, he's like my eggs. Sorry about that. But now I feel so relieved. All the bear he whistled away. Oh, he broke some of my graves doing this.
And with that little lightning storm disaster, our quality has fallen all the way down to 148. A proper 12-point mess. Some of our graves and fences had actually gotten messed up, and it was our job to fix them. This is, and I'm not joking here, the actually only other time other than the tutorial you could ever possibly use the stone repair kit. Seriously, as gravestones don't degrade or anything like that. It was literally just for the tutorial and this scene right here. I have no clue why these kits even exist at all. Like, why didn't they just destroy the graves? Not to mention the repair kits are way more expensive than just using some stone to make a new one and replacing the broken one. At the alchemy mill, I can turn a piece of bone into white powder, and when combined with oil at the alchemy workbench, this turns into white paint. This can be used along with some beeswax to craft the 2 highest tiers of candles. Even though I can craft the highest tier ones, I instead opt to make 2 sets or 8 of the mid-tier ones. These give 2 church rating per candle for collective plus 16 church rating, which is sure to have the faith come rolling in, as I'm now sitting at a 63 score. And my work was more than worth it, as I snagged 28 faith from this. But seems like this Sunday had more in store for me. As I head outside, the bishop is strolling along, admiring our craftsmanship on our beautiful graves. And you know, that honestly feels really good. I worked really hard on these, and he immediately tells us that we need to use these craftsman skills to make 3 statues of him. And yes, this is a real, actual task we need to complete in order to upgrade our church. Least corrupt church representative. I head back to my base and decide to make some more graves to the ones that York broke. But with my crafting zombie doing something else, I decide to just work on them myself. And it would be here that I would learn something absolutely game-breaking.
Oh my god, that gives you so many blue points. Why have I not been doing this whole time?
Yes. Every single stone fence you craft gives you not just 2 red points, but a staggering 5 blue points. Seeing as I had been literally struggling to collect blue points the entire 20 hours I had been playing this game so far, this broke my brain. And this method truly couldn't be easier. Crafting a stone grave fence costs you 2 stone. However, you can also use a stone cutter to turn a stone grave fence back into 1 stone. So if you're ever in need of blue points, all you have to do is crank out as many fences as possible, throw them all into a chest, and then queue up an infinite number of fence into stone tasks and throw a zombie on it. This, of course, will end up costing you 1 stone for every 5 blue points, but that is a more than worth it exchange, especially with the influx of stone you end up getting from the zombie stone quarry. Now, my next main goal, other than setting up those bee houses that I'll never find, is to get wine production started. You probably don't remember this, but a few lunch breaks ago, the Inquisitor actually gave us access to the side of the hill to start growing grapes. And by now, I've unlocked the technology to have a zombie vineyard done, which only cost me some wooden planks, simple iron parts, and nails. But we were still missing the seeds, and unfortunately for us, grape seeds can't be bought from the farmer like normal. You need to buy them from the merchant, who only comes to town once a week on, Y day, I guess? What is this symbol supposed to be? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the merchant. We actually met him like 15 hours of gameplay ago, but he didn't seem important until now.
Oh, who's this lad? Scribe?
Oh, this is the merchant.
I met the merchant. Oh, I got an achievement. Greetings, villager. If you have any spare silver, I can offer you some amazing, tasty, and rare things. Actually, I'm new here. Everyone thinks I'm the keeper at the local graveyard. But I'm from another world. I need to go back. Wow, I wouldn't just give up that information.
I say you all too well. This world's not mine either.
Oh, thank God.
Mine's the world graduate, the palace's town.
Scare him to cure the hiccups.
Boo!
Are you mad? What are you doing? I was only trying to help you with your hiccups.
Oh, it's a fool thing to do. I just need a little time. The shark finite.
Oh, I actually did get rid of his hiccups. So it seems like you're okay now after my little surprise attack. Yes, it seems so. Right, it gave me permission to use the garden near the church. I need to discuss the terms with you. I totally forgot about that dead weight. It cost me so little. But of course, that was many, many years ago, and due to inflation of the good soil, well, now it's a valuable commodity. Oh my god, this douche. Let me see. How about 10 gold? That's too much. I don't have 10 gold. How about 5 gold? That's too much. Short of money, maybe we can discuss some sort of barter. I see you're a poor man who wants to earn a little money by growing crops. We can discuss the terms of your rent, but let's see how good of a farmer you are first. Let's make a deal. You deliver a batch of carrots, cabbages, and beets, then I'll see you as a serious business partner, and we'll make a long-term deal that'll make profitable for both parties. No way. You know what? I'm gonna use this garden, and I won't pay you a penny. An arrogant one. Now this garden will cost you a fortune. I can't prevent you from using it, but I have a feeling we'll have another talk about this garden in the future. Right now, I'm not interested in doing business with you. So does that mean I can still use the garden? Try to get along. I think I was wrong about all this stuff with the garden, so I want to apologize. So we're business people. Apology accepted. Oh, great. Now you just need to pay me 1 gold for the garden and do a small favor for me. Okay, I feel like that was actually a pretty... I kind of haggled him good. My friend, I like delicious food, but I haven't been having stomach problems. After a good dinner, I get the hiccups. It drives me mad. Oh, I thought I was a drunk. A friend of mine told me that the wine club, the hiccup grass can help. There's plenty of it in the swamp. It would be grateful if you could bring me some. Sure, I'll look around for some.
Anyway, like most other NPCs, the merchant has a limited stock, but him even more so than the others, with us only having access to 8 copper grape seeds and 8 silver grape seeds. Of course, a zombie vineyard is going to take like 24, so it's going to be a few weeks until we can get that going. Back at the graveyard, I realized that there are actually options to dispose of bodies other than burying them or throwing them in the river. You can actually also burn them. There's a little burning site just south of the moor, and for the price of 8 flitches, you can burn the body. This still gives you a burial certificate like normal, but has the added benefit of giving you ashes. Ashes are very useful for a ton of alchemy recipes, as well as some decorations around your graveyard. The quality of the body doesn't affect how much ash you get, so this is a great use for bodies that you've already completely gutted. Speaking of ash, if you combine it with life solution, which you can get by mixing maggots at the hand mixer, you can get growth enhancer, a material that I'm not going to make a single joke about. Growth enhancer can be used in combination with peats to create fertilizer to upgrade crop plots, including the zombie garden and zombie vineyards. Upgrading them not only gives you better returns on the amount of seeds you use, but also lets you grow more advanced crops like pumpkins, or in the case of vineyards, higher quality grapes and hops. I'm gonna need tons of this fertilizer to upgrade all my plots, and as such, I build a ton more decompositors. That way I can bang through the huge amount of crop plots that I'm currently sitting on. I also go dig up an absurd amount of sand, as I realize that we're just gonna need so much more glass going forward for more conical flasks, but also a new resource called lenses. All my work in the graveyard had clearly gone to good use, as after all my improvements, my servants are now earning me 16 silver a week. Of course, that sermon also gave me some faith, which I can finally use on the next female day to be more confident in front of Miss Charm.
Let's see how it works. I think you owe me an apology. I'm not a small man. I'm a respected graveyard keeper, but I'm also a big fan, so you can just call me Keeper. Maybe they're saying to you after all, that contract's between your dirty job and you, Manor. Nice to meet you, Keeper. You must compliment me, not only my talent, but also my beauty. I'd like to hear something nice. I have some questions. About a snake. I met a snake in the church cellar. Maybe he's not very talkative. Maybe you can help me make a deal with him. I can't imagine what normal business you would have with that sneaky bastard. Oh, by the way, if you see him, please throw this fake coin in his face and then come back here and tell me how he reacted, okay?
Speaking of Snake, another side goal of mine is to finally tackle that dungeon he told me about ages ago. And as such, I want to start making a bunch of health potions to fight the inevitable onslaught of monsters hiding down there. Luckily, these can be mass-produced very easily. They are 1 part health powder, which I can make tons of, as by now I'm sitting on mountains of cabbage. The other part is life solution, which can be made using bat wings. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this, but at night, like, a ton of bats fly around, and it's not important. Anyway, that gives me a ton of health potions, so now I just need to secure a good energy source. While I'm down here, if I combine that same health powder with blood, I can make my own zombie juice and revive my 5th zombie. Now, the thing about zombies is that they can only be revived while the body quality is sitting above 90%, and every second that the body is not buried, it slowly degrades. This is a bit of a problem, because even though I'm sitting on tons of zombie juice now, I'm a little low on faith, so I'll need to wait until next Sunday to revive them. But by then, the bodies will have long since been decayed. So by doing some technological research, I can unlock the fridge pallet, a special pallet that completely halts the decay of bodies, meaning you can keep them in there as long as you want, and they'll be the same quality you put them in at. Not only do these pallets preserve the bodies though, they also give you more space to store bodies in general. This means that even though you've got the bodies stored, bodies will continue rolling in as long as you've got enough space in your fridge pallets. Each pallet stores 2 bodies, increasing my total body capacity to 6. With a health potion now crafted, I should be able to heal the old bog witch, and so I make my way back over to her. And thankfully, that'll be the last time I need to navigate the swamp, as there's actually this bridge over here that you can only build from the witch's house side. It connects the beginning of the swamp to her house, basically eliminating the entire need to ever go to the swamp again.
Got your health potion. Looks good. Let's try it. Oh, now I remember I'm Clotho. And I remember where I hid my cauldron. Now I'm back. So what do you need from old Clotho? I got some good stuff, you know. You won't find these potions anywhere these days.
With Clotho's shop now open, I can buy the acid that we said we'd secure for the astrologer oh so long ago. I give them to him and he accepts them, and that's it. Okay, guess I gotta get my hands on those restoration tools before I move this plotline forward. I finally get fed up trying to track down these stupid bees, and instead find on the wiki that apparently this town has a beekeeper, which is absolutely news to me. But from him, I can buy 20 bees for 7 silver. If I then head north of my house, I can find the abandoned apiary and build beehives here for some flitches, nails, and of course 10 bees. Beehives will produce every single day, and as you'll see later, they are some of the most helpful things you can build in the entire game. cocaine. It's Sunday once again, which means I can grab more faith, which means 3 more zombie restorations. The following day, those beehives had produced, and each one gives me 4 honey, a beeswax, and one even gives me another bee. If we take this honey down to our alchemy station, each piece can either be broken down into 3 acceleration powder or 4 acceleration solution per piece. Then if you combine 1 acceleration powder and 1 acceleration solution, you get an energy potion, which restores 50 energy, which is about half of your total. This is, without a doubt, the best energy source in the entire game. Seriously, I use this as my only way of restoring energy, which I would do endlessly until we beat the entire game. The fact that honey can be produced by your hives every single day is completely automated, and each hive gives you so much honey and then turns into even more powder and solution means that you will never have to worry about energy again. Having energy potions on me at all times is an absolute must. I always make sure I have a stack of 20 on me. You get so many, I'd even use them to work through the sleepiness debuff and just not worry about the energy loss. And eventually we can craft even more bee houses, making us produce just copious amounts of these little blue potions. Now it's about time for me to completely redo the quarry mine. Now having an influx of zombies, I want to never have to worry about those resources again. I set up a second stone quarry mine as well as an iron quarry mine. Finally, I put a zombie at the stone cutter nearby. That way when I visit, it's all already cut up into stone and iron for me. I make sure to add buying bees into my daily routine as I want to get a fully decked out apiary done as soon as possible. Unfortunately, you can't assign a zombie here, so I'll have to come and pick this honey up for myself. So the more hives, the less often I gotta do it. And while we're improving all our various sections, I finally have enough grape seeds to get the zombie vineyard ready. Unfortunately, we're gonna need to buy more from the merchant before unlocking the gold quality seeds. So for now, I'll just have our little zombie cranking on the silver ones. Now it's time for some more graveyard prep when I noticed something strange from this batch.
What the heck? Why is that one moving? Wow, it's a nice day for a bonus corpse. Wait, it's still moving. What the heck? Maybe the poor fellow died recently. I've never sliced up a warm one before. Let this body cool off a bit. I'll take care of it later. What? You're alive? Okay, I'll help you, but stay calm. Otherwise, I can't let you up. And I thought I was getting a bonus corpse. Dang. Whew, good job, fella. Where am I? Is this a village? Yes, but how are you? And I assume you're the keeper, right? And we're in the morgue right now? Yes, how do you... There's no time for all that yakety-yak. My name is Yerk, and that must be enough for now. I bought a keeper's book from a creepy man with a scar. According to the book, there's a locked door in the morgue. I suspect you're well aware. And this is the door, yes! No, it's not. Is it? Give me the key, keeper. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you joking or what? I'm not kidding, quite serious. And you have no idea what book I hold in my hands? Nope, no idea. Oh crap, listen carefully. I'll read this bit for you. And I glued the key with chewing gum to the inner side of the skull. I have no idea what skull it might be or where it is. For of course I am no keeper. It falls to you to bring me that key. And what happens when I do? Oh sorry, worry about the key. Meanwhile, I'll look for the keyhole. Alright, just gonna chill here in my morgue? I mean... Alright, sure.
The skull in question is, of course, our boy Jerry. So we need to think up of a good excuse to try and reach around in his jaw. Why we don't just ask him for the key is beyond me, but this is the keeper's plan, I suppose. To get around this, we'll tell the skull that we're going to freshen him up by grinding his bones down with sand and then sprinkle beer on him so he gets to be smelling fresh. Sure. I built myself a new carpenter's workbench to start cranking out those lenses. Unlike most items, these require faith, so I'm limited to the amount I can make for now. But luckily, each craft makes a set of 4. I can then use each lens to craft myself a silver star steel chisel, which we're gonna need for the marble statues for the self-obsessed bishop. I bought an apple tree earlier from Clotho, which I can now plant in my front lawn and grab 15 apples per harvest from. I can then put these in the oven to make baked apples, which I'll need to assist the donkey revolution. By spam placing down some lawns in my graveyard, I'm able to hit a 200 graveyard rating required for the church upgrade. Now all I need left are those marble statues. When reporting this back to the bishop though, he makes another mention of that dang ship of the dead. I mean, what the heck even is that thing? My grapes had started to grow, so it was time to turn these things into wine. First off, we'll need a vine press, which you can use to convert 15 grapes into a grape bucket. Then you get 2 of those buckets and throw them into a barrel in your cellar, and in a few days, you'll get some wine. Wine is going to be one of the most important resources in the entire game very soon, so it's important to get a jump start on it. Now we had collected most of the pieces we're gonna need for those marble statues, but we were still missing perhaps the most important part, the marble itself. This can be collected up by the quarry by using 10 wood chips in this little slit. Each 10 you use will get you a piece of marble ore that you can then slice down in the stone cutter to turn into regular marble. I now had wood being completely automated by my horde of zombies, so gathering the wood chips was no issue at all. I do a bunch of studying as the blueprint for those marble statues cost a whopping 300 points. But thankfully, with paper stories and faith now all being plentiful, studying just random items in my inventory gets me there in no time. At this point, I'm completely inundated with resources, and as such, never have any space in my inventory. So I decided to tear down one of my furnaces and make a whole other space for chests. This organization is definitely not as tidy as the previous, but you know how it gets 30 hours into an inventory management simulator. I buy a beer from the dead horse and get some sand from my chest and give old Jerry a scrub down, which he seems to like a little too much. But irregardless, we managed to snag the key. I give the key to the old freak and...
Oh my god, I can't believe that actually worked. What the hell is all this? Oh my, what a mess. What happened here? All the workbenches, they're totally broken. Just a bunch of broken beer bottles and wine bottles. What should I do now? Seriously, what happened here? Well, we're here now. Maybe you can finally tell me what's going on. Seems I have a little choice. Listen, like I said before, I'm in trouble. In fact, I'm on the run. I committed a bit of a crime. A crime? Oh, don't worry so much about that. I didn't hurt or kill anybody. It's a difficult life in town these days, even more difficult for certain kinds of criminals. I had to steal my own money to buy a keeper's book on the black market. Long story short, in order to escape and cover my tracks, I pretended to be a corpse and waited for a long time. How did you come to live in town? Once on a rainy evening, some judge took me into his home when hungry. They examined I had a roof over my head and food to eat. He had but one condition: I become his assistant. The judge had an old servant woman, quite well and educated. She taught me to read and write. So that's how I got started dealing with monotonous paperwork and all manner of people. I just had to run from the town. In fact, I never wanted to, but it is what it is. I never expected that bishop was... I would expect this bishop to be a smoke crook. He swindled me for a lot of money. I nearly sold all I own for this endowment. The bishop promised me to cleanse my soul of sin during a service at the local church. All I got from him was some crappy prayer. Oh, and that God will forgive me, of course. Cleanse your souls of sins. Yeah, you know, I had enough of my boring life. I even started seeing paperwork and faces in my dreams.
Yurick goes on to explain that in order to escape his boring life of monotony, he attempted to rid his entire body of sin, and stole a sacred book that told him this very room would be the place to do that. And thusly, he needs to fix up all the machines in here so we can properly cleanse them. But that's not all that hides in this room.
Hey, Yurick, do you know what it is?
I have absolutely no idea. Let's see if the book says anything about a box. Well, not much. Just a smidgen of bold text saying you better not touch it. But it only makes me more curious to learn what's inside.
Maybe we really shouldn't touch it. The notes in this book haven't steered us wrong yet.
Oh, come on. What could possibly be dangerous?
I don't know. Maybe it's filled with poison spores?
A pair of dirty old socks, more like. That's the greatest danger this box possesses.
Maybe we should get some tools?
No need. We'll manage it.
Oh my god, is he just kicking it?
Shit, that hurts.
Looks like you fixed it. Oh my god, what the hell are you? That's what I was thinking.
I have the same
Question, what the hell are you?
I'm Graveyard Keeper, and this is Yurick, town resident. I mean, former resident. And you are?
I don't even know. I don't know. Yes, this ghost doesn't seem to remember anything about his life on Earth, his business, or really anything for that matter. For now, we call him Smiler and promise to work with Yurick to find out what his purpose is. The entire room, along with Smiler and Yurick, are all part of the Better Save Soul DLC pack for Graveyard Keeper. Not only do these come equipped with new plot lines, but also an entirely new tab with a technology tree. Though this one's slightly different in the fact that there seems to be a new fourth resource being used here, something that looks like ghost points. By now, all of our marble had been polished into marble stone, so we can use those chisels we crafted to give us a 50% chance to make marble statues, which of course becomes a 100% chance with our patented Save Scum technology. I'm walking around the eastern part of the village where I find a big old patch of dirt. I dig it up with my shovel and Jerry comes sprinting out thinking it's his cognac. But luckily for us, it is something much, much cooler.
Holy sod, it can't be the Keeper's archaeological machine.
Your friends? The one who buried the cognac?
No, before him, a cool inventor and zombie creator. And believe me, this machine is much more useful than a simple keg of cognac.
I'm confused. How many keepers were there?
This is a real treasure, dude. It could even help you return home. Dig it up quickly.
Keepers, stop!
Who the hell is that?
Damn, see you in the cellar.
Oh my god, he teleported.
Only landowners may dig up in the village's land. Moreover, everything in the village's land is public property.
Listen, what about?
Sorry, but you're too poor to bribe me.
Yes, it seems as though our plans to use the ancient machine are going to be tougher than I thought. So we head back to Jerry in the cellar to regroup and come up with a new plan.
About that machine. Yeah, what was up with the machine?
I figured out. Just buy some land and build a tavern.
A tavern? Why not a 10-story palace?
Tavern will be a cover, dummy. We'll take out the cellar and use the machine.
Oh.
Plus, even stand a chance of making some money. Knowledge from the machine and money from the tavern.
What's in it for you? Nothing. I don't believe it.
Well, maybe this machine will tell us something about my past?
Yes, despite the game's title, it seems as though we are going to become the tavern keepers here for the foreseeable future and finally learn what's up with our little skull friend over here. But first, we need to go buy the land from her attic. While we're down here, I check in on Yurick and Smiler, and they both request things from me. Smiler asking for a berry pie, and Yurick for some oil. Hopefully grease up this wooden hatch. But that'll have to wait, as it was finally time to tackle something I had been putting off this entire playthrough, the dungeon. Inside the dungeon is really just a bunch of enemies that you need to kill. And you do need to kill them, as you're not able to progress onto the next floor without killing every single one. I think you're meant to tackle this way earlier in the game, as by now I had crafted myself the best armor in the game in steel armor, and upgraded that dinky rusty sword Kane gave me to a glorious steel one. But honestly, there's not much to say about this place. Really, you just find some enemies, go up to them, swing your sword, and then drink health potions before you're about to die. Though as I get deeper, I do encounter a swarm of bugs. Oh my god, there's so many of them, what the hell? But still, they all go down to some swift swipes from my sword that I just spam the absolute crap out of. Once I clear dungeon level 5, I get that blood bucket that Snake was talking about and decide that that's far enough for now. Back up on the surface, it seems all my vineyard work has finally paid off, as I'd managed to brew 10 Silver Star quality wine, which I can hand over to the Inquisitor. Luckily for him, when the guards drink wine, they just happen to find way more witches, so it seems like burnings can start up again.
So what's in your mind? Think about how you can get more people to come here?
One time we were burning old scrolls full of useless junk like geometry.
But one of them was pretty interesting. It said that everything you need to be happy can be provided by two things: bread and circuses. Of course, that's only true for pagans. I can't imagine anyone living a happy life without the church and prayer. So what could be more entertaining than watching those evil witches burn? Yeah, I can't think of anything. So I realized we need to add bread. Not actual bread, of course, but snacks and drinks. You're a man of business. I can imagine you can stand or something. You can open a stand or something. All the profits will be yours. But what will we sell? Beer, for sure. Beer is good for patriotism and burning stuff. And something with meat. That's a very expensive delicacy in the town. I heard you have a source of cheap meat. But who cares about the details when we're all talking about fighting heretics? Okay, I guess I can make some burgers. Excellent. Build a tent, filled it with beer and burger.
So in order to keep those witch burnings as the most poppin' event of the century, we're actually going to need to bring 5 Gold Star burgers and 10 Gold Star beers. Both of these are actually pretty tall orders, so we're gonna have to really get to work to make this happen for the old Inquisitor. But surely it'll all be worth it when people can drink, laugh, and enjoy delicious human meat burgers under the warm light of a slowly decaying witch. Is there really anything better than that? For the burgers, of course, we'll need meat and bread, which are easily gotten. But for the final ingredient, and also the one that determines the quality, is the most important one: onions. For each burger, you need a Gold Star quality onion. And I'd soon learn that this is no easy feat, as when you visit the farmer, the best that he's got are Silver Star quality. But that'll be a puzzle I'll have to solve later, as for now, it's Sunday again, which means I can give the bishop those Gold Star statues I made of him.
About the cathedral, here are the statues. Your Holiness, I've finished your statues. Let's put this one right here in front of the main entrance. Oh, must we? Oh, God. Oh, my God. It looks magnificent. We can upgrade this church to a cathedral now. Okay, let's upgrade.
With that, we had finished upgrading the church and graveyard. All that was left was to have a ceremony to celebrate and ordain our beautiful cathedral. For that, we're going to need to obtain some aristocrat papers from the royal services box, as well as an accepted invitation from an official that's close to the king, whom he suggests asking the Inquisitor about. The aristocrat papers can be purchased for 12 gold, are you kidding me? So that'll be, without a doubt, one of the last things we ever do in this game. The following day, Miss Charm is in town, and I guess I must have thrown that coin in his face, something that, gun to my head, I could not describe to you a single detail about. But I did, which earns us favor with Miss Charm. Now she asks us to demand that Snake gives her back her money and also returns her mother's necklace.
What necklace is that?
It's the only thing left of my mom. She told me to keep it. She told me that was the necklace that would have me happy and feel loved. And it's also to pay for a chance to sing for the king. Now I'd gladly buy it back, but I can't find it. Snake, everybody knows he can find anything in this town, so I paid him. And he took my money, and I have no money and no necklace either.
You're a strong, intelligent man. I'm sure you can find a way to help a poor woman.
I swing by the dead horse to talk about purchasing that land for Jerry and I's tavern. Unfortunately, though, the price is 9,000 gold for the land. But if we were to purchase the land in a poor old villager's name, we'd get a bunch of tax write-offs, and who better for that than crazy old Dick? Even though I wasn't able to grow any Gold Star onions, I realized that my Silver Star ones I bought from the farmer, I can still craft a Gold Star quality burger at a 20% chance, so I reset until I secure that, with just the beer now standing in my way. I'm able to make that berry pie for Smiler by purchasing some eggs from the magic chicken basket, as well as milk from the shepherd, which I go and hand deliver to him. That's so delicious. It's like I haven't eaten for 100 years.
Ask you a question.
So who are you really? Like I said before, I don't know. All I remember is that I got here by falling out of a device. I remember that the keeper was here hanging about the place. He said I'm half ghost, half man. He didn't like to talk to me much. I don't know why. He was very withdrawn. What do you know about this place? This is where the keeper made his special mechanisms and devices to heal and send them to the land of the dead. To heal souls from what? What do you mean from what? From sins, of course. In ancient times, souls passed to the other side naturally. As they crossed the bridge, their spins were purified of all the sins they gathered through their lives, in preparation for the new cycle. But after the ancient curse, the order was violated and the souls remained locked in the world. The keeper who made this place was determined to release them, for no one knows the consequences of leaving souls trapped here. And you know, he doesn't have much for me after that. You know, thought that was gonna kind of lead into something, maybe about like the next quest, but he was basically like, I'm eternally damned to this box with no hope of escape. Bye! While I'm down here, it is Snake Day after all, so I decide to go deliver the bucket and confront him about Miss Charm.
Bucket of blood. Oh, pagan blood, that'll work.
I don't like you, but your help will be taken into account.
I've been waiting for this moment for so long, and now everything's ready. You'll be the first to witness his summoning. Actually, I have a lot of stuff to do. I better go. Stay or you shall be punished. Okay. Oro chicno aprino. What the frick? A chicken? You summoned the chicken? Is this what's supposed to happen? No, something went wrong. Seems like a lot of things are going wrong. Silence! I need to add a note to my endless notebook. Kill the scroll vendor. He told me he made an exact copy of the page I need from the book. Since I need to get the original book. Do you know anyone from the university? I know this one guy. He's an astrologer. I think he used to work there. What a happy coincidence. Seems like you're my good luck charm. I should cut off your hand and start carrying it around. I'm kidding. Get astrologer to bring you the Necronomicon from the university library, and I'll owe you big. I need a royal stamp. Oh.
Thank you. He just did that because we're friends. That's nice. I got a royal stamp. Good. Then this meat needs a little preparation on your kitchen table. Wrap it in paper, put a stamp on it, I'll gladly buy it. But despite all that work, I would go on to never sell a single piece of meat in the entire game. I'm sorry, I just couldn't stand to bring myself to cannibalism. Or maybe just like, it doesn't sell for that much money and it will never ever be worth it, but definitely the moral thing, that's why. In order to get my beer journey started, I need to go visit the brother of the farmer, the miller. Here I buy as much flour as he stocks. This is not for the flour, of course, but instead to open up his second tier of shop. This should finally let me get started on hops growing, which of course I'll need for that gold star beer. He's only got one, and it's only copper quality, so that's gonna take a few weeks. In the meantime, I start fixing up the soul room. Thankfully, all the machines in here can be repaired just using some wood and iron parts. Now, the soul room is honestly pretty complicated, so let me try and give you the simple version. Do you remember earlier on when I found those sin shards inside of a body? Well, that was actually a decayed version of a soul. Every single body, when it dies, has a soul, but the longer it sits, the more the soul decays. You need to take the body, put it in the soul extractor, then take the corrupt soul and throw it in the soul cleanser. This will give you the purified soul as well as some sin shards. These can be used for a whole bunch of things, but the most significant is changing the amount of skulls on an organ. For example, you could take out a piece of flesh and manipulate it to give you more white skulls. This is necessary if you want to create optimal zombies or perfect white skull grave bodies. This is definitely really cool and a fun way of creating max efficiency zombie armies, but this is explained terribly in-game, and it also took me many wiki articles and Reddit threads to understand what this room is really all about. Also, it was 30 hours in this playthrough that I would have a jaw-dropping realization. I'm seeing now that all of the signs mean who's coming, like the moon is the astrologer, Sunday is like, of course, church day, females when Miss Charm comes, I guess that is like money or merchant, and then snake, and then the inquisitor. In case you didn't catch that, the only significance to these 6 days of the week are that they're the days that each one of these 6 main characters comes to town, and each icon is there to complement them. Like Snake's icon is green. Because there is no other significance to the day of the weeks besides the arrival of those NPCs, the days can be entirely themed around them, so you never forget when they're coming. This is probably like super obvious in hindsight, but it took me a while to realize because there's just so many characters in the game, especially with the DLCs, that it didn't immediately strike me that these 6 are the really only important ones. But someone who's around every single day would be Dig, and we need to talk to him to get the purchasing rights to that land. Dear cake, let me take you, let me bake. Dig, you wouldn't mind if I bought some land to your name. Dear cake, let me take, let me bake cake. I'm planning to build a tavern here. Dear cake, let me bake. No, you obviously don't mind. I tell Heranica the news, and he happily sells me the land for just 30 silver. By the way, who could help me build a tavern? What, you intend to compete with me? I never, don't worry, it's just a hypothetical question. Corey and his brother Tress, they're the best specialists. Thanks a lot, bye. Okay, yeah, I kind of completely forgot about that. Like, why the heck would we open a second tavern in a town with like 10 people in it? Not to mention the owner of this tavern is literally the mayor, so he could pass like whatever laws he wanted to de-incentivize people from coming to our tavern as opposed to his. Like, are we sure we really should be taking our business advice from an alcoholic skull who barely remembers his own name? Anyway, I head to Corey to get that tavern built, and he tells me he can't work on my tavern, as he first needs to build a barn that the royal council contracted him for. But apparently the royal suppliers are being lazy, so it's stopping them from being able to finish it. I mean, if they're not delivering the supplies you need, I don't really know why you can't just build my tavern while you wait, but I digress. Here, you're actually given a choice on how to approach this one. You can either become Corey's supplier and bring him what he needs for the barn, or just pay him enough to stop working for the royal council. And seeing as I just spent all my money getting the land rights, I'll go with the supplier thing. That was definitely the right choice, as he only asked for 12 simple iron parts, 12 nails, and 12 planks, all of which I have coming out of my ears right now. After giving him the stuff, he tells me to come back tomorrow, so in the meantime, I decide to confront Snake. Okay, now, what's going on here? About that necklace. Yes. I spent the money, brought some instructions for the keys, so unless you know how to turn dust into gold, then just find that necklace for her. Can't you handle it? I'm Snake. I can find everything and everyone in this town. And I know where the necklace is, I just can't. It's complicated. I'm the best there is at my job. I can't find anything. I can find anything. Of course, there's a bit of shady talent. All the arrogant townspeople treat me like garbage, but they still bring me their coins when they've got some trouble for me to sort out. Now that necklace has my reputation on the line. Hey, it's not in town. It's purchased under orders from the Lord Commander from the Mount Fort. Necklace has some sort of sentimental meaning. That's all I've been able to get out of so far. Snake goes on to explain that Mountain Fort is a fort to the north of town that used to be huge but exploded in the Great Blast. Now it's a shell of its former self, but the Lord Commander still protects this place as he's some psycho warrior and the king's uncle. I ask if there's any possible way we can get that necklace back from the commander, and Snake does have one idea. You can try and get the necklace with the help of Lord's servant, Hunchback Kokul. Why can't you ask him yourself? We had some kind of misunderstanding a while back. I sold him some ointment that might cure us up, and somehow I missed the word might. Now it's up to you. I'm betting you'll fail.
Either way, it's a win-win for me.
And because our friendship is so high with Snake now, he happily hands over the restoration tools we need to get back home. Back in the Soul Room, I had our glorious landowner Dig give me some oil and can finally grease up this hatch for Yurik. Inside is like a little room that Yurik would like us to set up for. Once again, this is a cakewalk as we've got an army of flitches and Nail at our beck and call. Anyway, it's now the following day and we can head back to Corey, who just needs 50 more silver to get started on the tavern. While I finish that up, I head on over to the astrologer and give him the restoration tools. He uses them on the notebook and tells us about the other 3 MacGuffins, one of which is actually the necklace that Miss Charm was talking to us about, which, even if we manage to find that, it'd be a little tough to convince Miss Charm to give us that to create a witch portal to get back to the future.
With my friend near the lighthouse, I should tell him. Esmeralda's pregnant. His child. I think I'm gonna have a stroke right now. I have a child. I may have a child. Amazing. Just unbelievable.
Wait, this guy's his child?
What about the necklace? And you were talking about a necklace and a golden angle. Yes, it's all connected. How strange. Of course. By now, she must have... Oh, he or she must be around 25, but still. You were talking about a necklace and a golden angle. Young man, you must help me. You must. Yes, I know where you can find a golden angle. I'll tell you everything. Just help me find what happened to Esmeralda and our child.
To get to the bottom of this, the astrologer tells us to go check in with Esmeralda's brother, the Baron. But this scene has given us enough friendship with the astrologer that we can finally ask him about all the other questions on our mind. Firstly, the Necronomicon we promised Snake, as word on the street is that he used to work at the university. The astrologer proceeds to go on that when he worked there, his life had purpose, meaning, and he truly felt alive. But then, like, the Inquisition had some rules that were, like, kind of annoying, so he quit. Am I crazy, or does this guy kind of sound insufferable? He abandoned his child, he gave up on work, and now he's just some weird old freak who looks at the stars all day. The line between this man and Dig is like a shoestring. Anyway, the bum gave the book to the lighthouse keeper. Finally, remember those vampires that were wreaking havoc on the town for some months that I never followed up on because I had to make some marble statues of some priests? Well, I can finally touch base with the astrologer on them. He tells us that one time he was drinking with the previous graveyard keeper, and all these vampires rolled up on him, and then they turned into vampire jaws and died for some reason. All of this, combined with the hints from before, makes Keeper realize who the vampire was. Some guy we met 15 hours ago and didn't seem important enough to mention until now, named Master Ulrich. Anyway, the lighthouse keeper does in fact have the Necronomicon, which will trade us for just 5 maggots. I hope to never understand the people of this village. Now, back at the Soul Room, to make a long story short, Yurik has got something we need, and in order for us to get it back from him, we need to purge him of all sin. Basically, what this means is finding someone who has a lot of sin, catch them in a moment where they exude that, and then collect a shard to heal our bar Yurik with. Also, Smiler finally shows us how that little technology menu works for the DLC. Every time you transfer a purified soul onto the Great Beyond, you can get some ghost points. This is the currency we've been missing this whole time, and can now start to unlock those precious technologies from the end of that skill tree. The most important of these are the Marble Grave Fences. The Marble Grave Fence 7 gives a whopping 10 graveyard rating when added to a grave, and it's super easy to craft as well. I make it my goal to craft hundreds of these guys and quintuple my graveyard score. Of course, I accidentally clicked the wrong option and craft like 80 stone grave fence 7s instead, but dog, look at these 2 fences. That's the same thing. That's the same dang fence. After a quick rest, I wake up and our tavern is completed. Jerry, of course, immediately starts dogging us about how terrible it looks, and the first step towards it not being that way is for us to craft a wooden doll of a barman. While I'm here, I decide to ask the Baron about his sister Esmeralda for the astrologer.
Your Inquisitor's friend. You know, I'll tell you about my sister, but on one condition. The Inquisitor's guards grab one of our friends. She's waiting for a trial, so she might still be released. Ask your friend Lord Inquisitor to release her, and I'll tell you everything I know.
And the fun doesn't stop on this side of the town, as right next to the Baron is none other than Kokol, the hunchback who's supposed to help us find Miss Charm's necklace. He reveals to me that the one with the necklace is actually not the Lord Commander, but instead the Lord Commander's son, and he abandoned the village years ago and hasn't been since. And he just, like, stops talking. There's no, like, here's how to get him to come back, or let's look for the necklace ourselves. He's just like, well, that's all the info I have. Bye. On my way back home, I drop in with Heratic, as Yurik has asked that we heal the sin of pride first, so I'm hoping that Heratic has some info on who is the most prideful person in town, whom he, of course, answers the guy who built a statue of himself in front of an actual church. By the time I get home, another day had progressed, and Snake's in town again, so I can give him the Necronomicon. According to the book, in order to perform his ancient ritual, we need to make this place inspire dark thoughts and make it look like really scary. Luckily for us, Graveyard Keeper reveals that he used to work at Spirit Halloween, so that should be no issue. Sure. I'd finally managed to scrounge up enough Gold Star hop seeds to get some hop plants in rotation and brew our first ever set of Gold Star beer, meaning we can now host our first ever witch burning.
Good, the people are going to love this, and you'll probably earn a lot of money. You know, at first I thought you were kind of shady, like you might be a problem. I had this feeling you didn't belong here. But no, it seems like you blended in just fine. You do what you've been asked to do. And profit means everything to you. I believe there's a place for a person like you in our world. In the world we're going to build in the town. The world of pure faith. One day. The audience is gathering. Do your part well, and I will do mine. Nice, let's get burning. Yeah, burn, damn witches. Down.
Burn them down. We're burning them down.
Beer, fresh beer. Beer washes away all sins. Juicy burgers. Holy as essence. Ecstasy or something. I'll take 2. This is the best burning I've ever been to. That's tasty. Smoky meat. This is actually awesome. This is really funny. We're feeding people and they don't even realize it. The town will be taking a month. We'll be talking for a month about today's burning.
Oh my god, that was actually hard for me to watch back. I'm genuinely starting to believe all those comments that think I never learned how to read. How can one man make so many reading mistakes before it becomes a medical issue? Anyway, the Inquisitor says that our witch burning wasn't nearly enough. In fact, he wants us to host 3 more before he can actually trust us. And I'm not complaining at all, as we made 33 silver doing that. And even though we need to come back and do it a few more times, it gave us enough friendship points to ask a few pressing questions we've had for the Inquisitor. First, I ask him about attending a ceremony at my cathedral for the bishop, an offer he immediately turns down and tells us to find someone else. Well, alright then, thanks for the help. The second thing I run by him is releasing the Baron's friend, which he does because we're boys, freaking let's go, me and the Inquisitor, baby, burning witches and freeing rebels, nothing can stop us. With the Baron's friend now free, I ask him where the heck his sister Esmeralda went, who is also the woman that the astrologer had a kid with that he also wants to locate. Okay, that is really important, just want to get you guys caught up.
Probably she's far, far away. They put her on the ship of the dead many years ago, but she had a child, didn't she? Yes, the daughter. Once she was a blessing to me, but now she's my shame. So she's alive? Yes, she's alive, but she betrayed her own people. She even betrayed the memory of her own mother. What'd she do? She sold her mother's last gift, disowned our legacy, and for what? For lust! For impudence in the town. She's known as Miss Charm. Okay, wait, the Miss Charm is the daughter of the astrologer? We haven't spoken her real name in many years. My god, that was kind of a lore drop.
Yes, so in case you missed any of that, the astrologer had a girlfriend, or whatever their relationship was, that's not important. He abandoned her, but she was pregnant and gave birth to Miss Charm. Esmeralda gave Miss Charm this necklace that she then sold to be successful, and now she regrets it, as her family, the Baron, will never forgive her. I go over and explain this all to the astrologer.
Unbelievable! She's very talented. I saw her perform once. Oh, he cried. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, I'm afraid she'll never accept me. I left her mother before she was even born, but I didn't know. I knew that it would break Esmeralda's heart, but it was all in the name of science. What a fool am I. Young man, you must test the waters for me. Speak with her, find out what my chances are.
And I'll definitely need to check in on that later, but for now, it was time to deal with the vampire problem. This is the man we suspect was behind the vampire attacks, Master Ulrich, who was like the village elder of the refugee camp. As we notice, he's got a serious hearing problem.
Mr. Ulrich, the village nearby is greatly alarmed by the thought of vampires. What did you say? Master Ulrich, I said the closest village. Village? Where? When? No, not pillage. Village. They're concerned. Burned. But who did it and why? Okay, the villagers are enraged about vampires. Age of vampires. Vampires. Ah, yes, vampires. Don't talk rubbish. I'd rather believe in the fluffy yellow rabbit that calls down the lightning. Vampires. So you doubt vampires exist? But the villagers saw them. The witnesses, victims. I don't merely doubt they exist. I'm absolutely sure of it. The joke is on you, my poor boy. Isn't it obvious? Please don't bother me anymore over such nonsense. He's so confident it's easy to believe him, but he forgot to cover the greens. What? That's a sign of a vampire in a bread diet. Oh, I'll stake out the tank and keep an eye on Ulrich.
Is that like an established trait of vampires that's like known? I've seriously never heard of such an insane thing. Green sore on the wrist? When you have like giant sharp teeth? That definitely sounds made up. I mean, he was acting a little suspicious though, so I decided to post up outside his tent to see what his real secret is.
Oh my god, he actually was a vampire! Holy crap! Uh-oh. It's incredible! It's like a classic horror movie! I should hurry to the village and stop him somehow. By the way, I wonder where he's hid his sleeping coffin. You shall not pass, foul creature! Defend yourself! Hey, I'm talking to you, have some respect! You have to speak louder, he's deaf. The world has gone crazy, deaf vampires, garlic munching vampires, what's next? Stop, you monster, and fight me! Seems like he's just chilling, man. There's no point, young man. Your wife's blood doesn't suit me. As for you, you don't seem tasty enough. You will die a long and torturous death for this insult, you bastard. Defend yourself. I admire your logic, not to mention your fervor, but if you don't leave me alone. Guys, there's no need to kill each other. Let's talk first. Keeper, this is not your business. I asked you not to bother me. Now face the consequences. What the hell? Oh my god, what the hell? He threw a flashbang. There's like a giant crater. Hey, I can't see, that's fair, even if you escape. I know where to find you, and sleep well. Where am I? Did I die? Is this heaven? Heaven, no more like the opposite. This is my tent, and you're alive. I remember, you're a vile vampire. Wait a second, why didn't you kill me? And hey, you can hear me. What the hell's going on? While you're unconscious, I borrowed a part of your hearing. What? Don't worry, as you can tell, your own hearing is already regenerated. Why did I suggest that I might have killed you? Because of everything. You're a monster. I know your secret, and I'm no monster. And I'm not foolish enough to kill Graveyard the Keeper. That would ruin everything. I had planned to do something naughty with you, I admit, but I had since changed my mind. You managed to track me, and you're more capable than I ever imagined. You might even be useful. I won't help a vampire. I'll leave you alone for a while. Calm your emotions. Shed your ridiculous delusions of heroism. Oh,
Time's up. Now listen to my words and make your choice. Ancient curse, it has returned, and I must stop it before it's too late. And it is my duty as written in the ancient contract. Should I fail, 1,000 bloodthirsty zombies will flood the town. Defeat it. Oh, that would be pretty good. I would get a lot of marble that way. But the problem is too advanced. I can't keep it with all my own. I need your help, keeper. It's all rather unexpected. I need to think. I say you're welcome to ask any questions, but remember, we're running short on time. What did you do to the shepherd? Absolutely nothing. A little bump in his head. It was completely harmless. I suppose that you might even do him some good. Anyway, he's at home with, and his wife is looking after him. You're a vampire? No, I was contaminated over 30 years ago. Some vampires kidnapped me and put me in a cage and torture me. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I hate my curse more than anything, but there's no cure for it. I drink blood only in the most desperate situation to avoid a terrible death. Why'd you attack the villagers? I didn't want to, but I'm nearly dying of hunger. If I attack anyone at the camp, Theodoro would easily find me out. I remember a movie, there was a guy who drank rat blood, or I do not fear death, but I cannot live this world without fulfilling my duty.
Ulrich would go on to explain just a bunch of stuff about the world's universe, the ancient contract, and a whole bunch of lore. So here's the skinny, and this is actually pretty important, so listen up. Up until about 200 years ago, when people would die, they would cross over the ancient bridge to pass on to the land of the dead, and it was that way for hundreds of years. But then a new religion started to pop up in the land, the New Faith. In order to assert their authority and deny the old ways, they destroyed the ancient bridge. The dead, now unable to pass on, instead returned to their bodies and ravaged the streets as zombies, causing mass hysteria and near destruction of the world. To try and save the world, representatives from both the Old Faith and New Faith came together and signed the ancient contract with the ancient god to stop these souls from no longer being able to go to the land of the dead. Master Ulrich, along with his brothers, did not sign the ancient contract. Master Ulrich was given immortality by the ancient god to ensure the signees would abide by it, and part of that contract makes whoever is the graveyard keeper the guarantor of the contract. But because the previous graveyard keeper died 30 years ago with no replacement, along with multiple faith groups going against the peace the contract guarantees, like the Inquisition, cult groups, those who run the Ship of the Dead, all this led to the ancient curse returning. This previous keeper was apparently killed in that Great Blast, which is the inciting incident behind all this happening. If we can solve who caused the Great Blast and who killed the previous keeper, we should be able to undo the ancient curse. We agree to help Master Ulrich, which is good because apparently we're literally the only person who can save us. Master Ulrich, who refuses to hurt humans, is also dying because he hadn't had any blood lately, so he requests that we bring him some. Okay, well, you'll have to wait, little bro, because my boy Uric gotta do some sin maxing. We need to come up with a way to make the bishop as prideful as possible to expel his shard. Uric suggests that we ask Wagner to come up with a poem for the bishop that just delightfully strikes the bishop's ego, which when I ask, he just like does for me. He doesn't ask for anything in return, just does it out of the kindness of his own heart. Is this real? Am I even playing Graveyard Keeper? Well, I'm not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth, so I go over and immediately read this to our self-obsessed friend. This poem's actually like really long, but the bishop dispels his shard after like just 2 lines. Wow, I did not think it'd be that easy. On the way out, I see the donkeys have received my rat cooking book and responded. Basically, the rats can't read, but like the photos in our book, and the donkeys ate the apples. So now we're a trusted member of the donkey rat regime. As a reward, we're given jewelry and bank checks. Jewelry is generally one of the hardest to create items in the game, so that's super cool, and the bank checks are generally worthless, and you use them as fuel in the oven. Now he asks us for 5 faith and something called aphorisms about the evils of money, which we can craft down in the church basement. Over in the souls room, I can give Uric the pride shard from the bishop. We can then slap it into the soul cleansing machine to cure Uric of all his pride. But now it was time for something a little less fun. It was time to tell Miss Charm that her family necklace had been forever lost to time. News that she basically just shrugs off and asks me to steal Miss Chain's perfume. Well, alright then, that went a lot better than expected. Miss Chain said she'll give us some of her perfume, but to make it, she asked us to catch 12 frogs and give this basket of food to her sister in the swamp? Clotho's her sister? That is truly an insane lore dump to just drop on us on a completely unrelated quest with no follow-up. I mean, does everybody in this town have a secret relative? I make a few more zombies and set them up in my alchemy lab to make a permanent stockpile of my precious energy potions. That way, I don't need to spend so much time doing it myself. I just have them both on infinite craft, so that way when I just drop the honey in the chest, they all do the rest. Now, another questline that I want to start working on is the refugee camp. Like I said 3 lunch breaks ago, each refugee in the camp consumes a few pieces of food and water each day, and in return, they produce something called refugee happiness, which is the resource that you can use to construct new buildings for them. The water is stupid easy to get, so you can just grab it from the well, and for food, I've got tons of leftover cabbage from my dive into burger making, so I just go ahead and use those. It takes them a while to produce this happiness, but once they do, I make myself my first building for the refugees, another tent. This allows Marquis to recruit another one of his on-the-run allies, but that, of course, also costs refugee happiness. I send the asked items to the Donkey Revolution, and in return, he asks for the donkey combat equipment and a magic pumpkin carriage. And wow, that was a bit of step step up and ask, don't you think? Went from asking me for like freaking cookbooks to donkey RPG missile launchers. I'm not even sure who I know who could produce donkey armor and weapons, so I'll have to do some investigating around the village. I do some dawdling for a bit until I remember, holy crap, that old vampire geezer was dying like a week ago. I should probably go help him and give him a drop of blood off a dying corpse.
There, that's a bit better, but the taste is amazingly foul. What was it? Corpse blood? Or were you kind of ask me to some villager to volunteer's blood? Oh, no, not again. Hello, diarrhea. But you're right, thank you in spite of it all.
As a reward, he gives me his vampire sun cream, which I should be able to show to Heretic as proof that we've slayed the roaming vampire. As for reversing the ancient curse, Ulrich tells us that we need to find the vampires who tortured him 30 years ago, as he suspects the reason that he was attacked was related to the ancient curse and contract. We tell Ulrich about the astrologer's run-in with the vampires turning into vampire jaws. He informs us that Marquis actually has something called a Witcher's Eye, which will allow us to see visions of past events. Unfortunately, we can't ask for it until we've built up the camp a bit, so I'll have to come back for that later. For now, I hand the sun cream over to Heretic.
You did it! You have helped us enormously! Oh, thank you, thank you! Our village is grateful to our hero. What we have done today will not be forgotten. That's cool to hear, so, my reward! Oh, sorry, I entirely forgot. I must warn you that our economic situation... You have a gold! Heretic, my reward! The town duties have increased and the harvest hasn't been good to us. Heretic! Here it is. It's a sad... That 50 silver, yeah, I guess that's not bad.
You know, I'm starting to believe this town deserved that great blast. Not me, though. I'm hosting another glorious witch burning, winning the wallets of the townsfolk and the heart of the Inquisitor. Now it was time to work on something that I almost certainly forgot about, decorating the sacrifice room for Snake. Thankfully, all you need are some pumpkins, skulls, and wooden beams, which lets me turn this into this. Speaking of crafting overdue items that I forgot about, it was time to craft that barman doll that Jerry asked me to make, which I can slap at my tavern, which Jerry has aptly named the Talking Skull.
Clumsy work, but it's good enough. Yorick, it's your turn. Oh my god, Yorick's part of this. Are you sure it's a good idea? More complaints. Just think he can work around the clock. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, he's gonna possess them. Oh, that's kind of cool. He knows all the rumors and gossip. And he has 30 years of bartending experience before he poisons himself with an expired cocktail. This dude's awesome, actually. And most of all, he doesn't claim a salary. Who's the genius here? That actually makes sense.
Yorick proceeds to tell me how the Talking Skull works. Around the clock, Yorick will be working here and can sell any of the alcohol products that we brew. That is why it is so important for us to start making wine early, as now if we just throw it in the racks in the cellar, Yorick can infinitely sell it for us. And unlike all the other shops in the game, the Talking Skull doesn't have a limited amount you can sell or punish you for selling that same item over and over again. This is easily the best way to make money in the whole game, and later on we can automate this process even further. Down in the basement, we can get to the bottom of the real reason we built the tavern in the first place, the ancient machine thing. If you place an artifact into it, the machine will show you a scene from the ancient past. Kinda sounds exactly like the Witcher's Eye, making this entire process of building a tavern pretty unnecessary, but anything to help our boy Jerry. Included inside the machine is a list of artifacts from the previous keeper that we need to place here in order. First up is a statuette of the ancient god, which supposedly belongs to Heretic. I ask him about it. He says that he was glad he got rid of it because it was making him sad. Unsure what that means, but he tells me to talk to his wife, as she does all the cleaning and will know where it is. Shane takes a huge right turn to this quest and says that she won't give it to me because she thinks Heretic is cheating on her, as he went into the tavern last week with Kane and came back smelling like woman's perfume. My biggest question is honestly, what tavern? How many freaking taverns are in this town? And if you own your own tavern, why the hell would you go to somewhere else to drink? Anyway, Shane says that if we find her evidence, she'll give us the statuette. Back in the Talking Skull, and you can actually build some furniture in here to increase the capacity of the bar, giving you a higher tavern quality score. I max out all I can for now, and then head over to our other giant DLC quest, the Refugee Camp. Here I talk to one of the new recruits who wants to build a kitchen to cook with. If I got this up and running, it would hopefully make them more self-sufficient, not needing me to drop off food every day. And since that's getting pretty annoying, I decided to prioritize this. And speaking of food supply, it's about time I got mine on track as well, as I've now got a goal of creating all fully upgraded zombie gardens. To do this, I first need to study a bunch of natural resources like seeds and crops to get enough green points, and then study tier 2 quality fertilizer. Then to make the materials for this, I need to craft a new alchemy station, the distillation cube, which takes resources and turns them into extracts. Instead of taking energy though, this takes time, so it'll take a second until I have enough to make the fertilizers to upgrade our farms. While we wait, why don't I go in and check up on our friend Snake in his newly decked out sacrifice room. In typical Snake fashion, he is barely appreciative of this and instead asks us to make a damask sword with a gem. This is the best sword in the game, and as such is just incredibly expensive to make. While I wait for all those extracts, I decide to check in on the Talking Skull and— oh my god, I've made a gold! I didn't even do anything and I actually made a gold, what the heck? Back in the refugee camp, I managed to craft a garden, but we'll need even more refugee happiness to grow crops in there. I head over to the swamp as I've now got a couple things that I need to run past Clotho. First up, I deliver her food and buy the frogs I need for the chain quest, instead of subjecting myself to another pointless fishing minigame. Then she tells me that in order to make a pumpkin carriage, I'm actually gonna need a gold star pumpkin, which I still haven't been able to grow. Finally, for my fertilizer, I actually need these red mushrooms that only grow in the swamp, as that's the easiest way to gather toxic solution. With that sorted, I head back to the dead horse and get the perfume from Chain. But cooler than that, back in my alchemy lab, I can combine ash, toxic solution from the mushrooms, and life extract from distilling maggots to make flavor enhancer. Then I can use ash plus life solution, which is also made of maggots, to make growth enhancer. Growth enhancer plus 10 peats can be turned into 10 quality fertilizer, and the same for the flavor enhancer and quality fertilizer too. With these, I can upgrade my vineyard as well as my farms to the max level to not only grow more crops with the same amount of seeds, but also gain the ability to grow the most high quality version of crops, like pumpkins, onions, and grapes. The fertilizer definitely takes a bit to cultivate, as the real limiter is the amount of ash you have from burning bodies. So soon enough we'll have them all, but for now I've only upgraded 2 of our zombie farms. Some of this fertilizer needs to be saved, of course, because without the ability to purchase gold quality seeds for pumpkins and onions, planting silver star quality with fertilizer 2 is the only way. Once we get enough to queue them up in the zombie farm, they'll be forever sustainable, but it'll take a while to get there, as you get less seeds than what you put in when you mainly plant crops yourself. I built another tent at the refugee camp, but that's still not enough to get Marquise Witcher Eye. Bro, really keeping a tight grip on that thing. And speaking of tight grip, Miss Charm's in town and we can finally give her that perfume we managed to secure. She also asked me for a great story for the beginning of a concert. I've only got 6 of these gold star quality ones, so hopefully this is worth my while. Upon my return, she asked me to get permission of local farmer to permit his daughter Alicia to join Miss Charm in town for a concert, because she's mute and the king will enjoy a mute concert, I guess. Agreeing to do this, it gives us enough friendship points to finally ask about her mysterious family background.
About your father, Miss Charm, you seem lonely. Do you have a family? My dear friend, you are so kind to me. It seems like you're the only one who talks to me like I'm a person. I feel so lonely, alone in a crowd of admirers. My curse, my mother died. I messed up my relationship with my relatives. All my life I've been looking for a charming prince, but I'm cursed. It's not a joke. My mother told me that her necklace would help me find love, and I sold it. You may know who your father is. My father's a dishonorable, deceitful man. He left my mom, and she never got over it. He did nothing for me. I don't care who he is. All right. Sorry. Ooh, that's gonna be rough for my boy. Ooh, astrologer. I don't think he's gonna take that news very well. All right, farmer. I gotta get your permission. Farmer. About Elisa. Uh-oh. I'm here to ask your permission to let your daughter go to the town with Miss Charm. It's a great opportunity for her. I need her here. We have a lot of work to do on the farm. Besides, I don't trust that actress. She already spent too much time helping out the tavern. I don't like it. Hey, you want to help Elisa? Yes. I like it when she plays. I want to help her too. If you help my uncle fix the mill, then father will be so happy. I'll ask Lisa and I bet I'll let her go. Thank you. I'll talk to your uncle.
I head over to the mill, and while the miller has a list of instructions, they're in Latin, so we need the astrologer to translate them for us. I just really want to focus on the level of depth quests we've entrenched ourselves in here. We need to get some woman's necklace to open up a portal to go back to the future. So she asks us to get some guy's mute daughter to sing on stage with her, which he says he'll only do if we fix his brother's mill, which he says he needs the assistance of one of the smartest men in the village to translate instructions. Like we are 5 layers of fetch quest deep, man. York tells me we'd get more business if we had some sort of sign flipping technology, so I graciously donate a zombie to the cause, who becomes a mindless sign flipping servant for the rest of eternity. Dope! While I'm here, it's about time I touch base with Kane about his night on the town with Heratic. He tells me that the perfume is something that Heratic bought for his wife for their wedding anniversary. Nearly destroyed your own marriage, brother, to surprise your wife with perhaps the most overdone and normal gift for a woman you could possibly get, but hey, you do you. I recruit another survivor to the refugee camp, bringing the total to 7. As a thank you, Marquis gives us a reward in some money, jewelry, and most importantly, finally coughing up that Witcher's Eye. With a more established base and group, they plan to send a representative on the day of the prince's wedding to the king to ask for asylum and protection, hoping the day of the wedding would put him in a good mood. To me, it just sounds like you'd be pestering him on an extremely important day, but hey man, I just built tents here. Marquis asks us to also build them an automatic well, which would mean we wouldn't have to bring the camp water up at all. They would just do it themselves, which sounds like an excellent idea. On Inquisitor Day, I head up to the hill to hear that I've hosted enough epic witch burnings for the king to notice. Unfortunately, the way the king noticed was not in a good way, and he's got bad news for us.
The bad news, I'm sorry to say, there's a chance our king is possessed. He's been talking too much recently about humanity and human rights. I had an audience with him, and he told me that it's not okay to just grab people without any evidence and burn them alive. What? God, you can't do anything these days. This is the woke the town that we've been trying to fight against. We need to put our burning on pause.
But it's not all bad news, as the Inquisitor has a plan to show the king the truth. By digging in some corpses at the morgue, there's a chance we'll be able to uncover some dark organs, which will prove without a shadow of a doubt that there's witchcraft in the air. Not only does this unlock the ability to find dark organs inside of bodies, but also one of the most important perks in the entire game, cultists. But I kind of forgot about that for a pretty long time, so it'll be a second until we see its true power. For now, it was finally time to use that Witcher's Eye in the area where the astrologer and the previous keeper were attacked by the vampires. Basically, you take the eye over to these pink dream cloud things, and keeper describes to you what happened there. Basically, astrologer and old keeper just like got insanely drunk, like beyond wasted. The two almost kissed, and then the astrologer threw up a bit, and they got jumped by vampires, and I guess they just like died on the spot, so now I've got one of their jaws. Keeper realizes that he should actually probably bring this over to Clotho to hopefully turn this vampire back into one whom he can actually question. Clotho tells me the only way to do that would be to use memory tincture, an alchemical recipe that you can make using her homemade memory powder as the base ingredient. She also warns us that this potion has a very high failure rate, so make sure to make lots. I ask her about enchanting my pumpkin and making it bigger, to which she completely misinterprets and thinks I'm talking about some other thing, which we narrowly avoid her casting that spell on us. Once we straighten this out, the old bag says she's gonna charge us 50 silver for this. And you know, for hating money, supporting the socialist donkey regime is getting expensive. And we don't waste a second, as right after that, I head to the lighthouse to chat with the astrologer.
Let me tell you about Miss Charm. Well, I told her who her father is. How did she take it? Let's say she wasn't excited. She told me that you never tried to find her. Well, he didn't even know she existed. You left her mother. It's all true. Maybe still I can earn her forgiveness. If I find out anything, you'll be the first person to know.
Well, this is awkward because I know I just dropped that pretty devastating news on you, but I really can't afford to wait a week, so could you decode this IKEA manual to make a windmill, please? I head to bed for the day, and when I arise, there's some hooded woman standing in my house, which would normally be a surprise to me, but these insane villagers just treat my door as a suggestion, so can I really be shocked at this point? She says her name is Lady Beatrice, and she's here with the Inquisition. She also complains that my house smells like dead bodies, and yeah, it's a graveyard, what'd you expect? And sprays perfume all around my house and on top of me. And dear God, there are a lot of perfume-based plot lines in this game. She asked me for the location of the refugees. I deny her like a boss, and then she does some magic and leaves. I am very scared, and so should Marquis in the refugee camp, so I decide to ask him about who the hell that was.
Keeper, you're just in time. I was about to visit you. We've had terrible news. The king was in a terrible rage and refused to even speak to my cousin about our bid for clemency. His son's wedding was disrupted. The bride is dead. What the hell happened? Inquisitors, a group of inquisitors led by some Lady Beatrice accused her of witchery. They produced some evidence, so the court's judgment was swift. That's bad. By the way, Lady Beatrice just mentioned she paid me a visit. She's looking for you. We've nowhere else to go. I hope she stops looking for us before we find her here. We'll have to stay here for a long time, maybe forever. How can I help? First, we need an improved warehouse and an improved campfire. One more tent would make just right, so we can take in more refugees. What's the smell? Is that clothes? Where's that coming from? That's weird.
You know, he honestly seems surprisingly chill about the magic inquisitor lady trying to kill him, so I guess it's not really anything to worry about at all. Back in the basement, and I craft some memory tincture to spray on the vampire jaws. It takes a good 3 sprays before...
Nothing again. Wait, what the hell is happening? The hell? This is sick. You're late. Do you require another lesson in respect, you miserable worms? And our full mistress, the town is much less friendly to vampires this day. The Order of the Undead Hunters patrols the night streets with nets to catch the bat. Yeah, it's a blessing we managed to make here at all. You useless nobodies, your endless excuses. That's all I ever get from you. Have you wrung anything more from that priest? We've tried everything, mistress, but Ulrich is incredibly resistant. Pain, cold, hunger, nothing works. Then use bloodthirst, you mindless fools. You mean we should turn him? I mean, that's an awful sin, but it will be done, mistress. Oh no, my eyes, it's like I've been staring into the sun for all ever. I've learned something new. Must learn more about that woman. They mentioned the Order of Undead Hunters, so maybe the shepherd knows about her. Of course, Ulrich might know something as well.
I head over to the miller's windmill and repair it using the astrologer's calculations. Farmer is so overjoyed that his brother's windmill works again that he gladly agrees to let his daughter go talk with Miss Charm. Not sure if I should really feel like he's a good guy for being so happy for his brother, or a terrible guy for literally not caring about his daughter's safety if the second one good thing happened to him. I head over to Miss Chain and tell him that Heranek was only going to the town to get her new perfume. She says, and I quote, "That means he doesn't like my normal perfume. I would have rather he had some saggy mistress." And you know, this is honestly a pretty good way to pay off the influx of perfume plot lines this game is juggling. Oh yeah, while I'm out, why not ask Kane about that donkey battle armor I need made?
Could you help me, Cresvold? I need some battle horseshoes and iron unicorn horns. Did Heranek put you up to this? No, why do you ask? Because he's the one always giving my deeply monthly pressure to this idiotic pranks. No, it's completely my idea. Wait, I meant the other thing. It's not a prank. I actually need the horseshoes and the horns. It'll be 25 silver. And the same amount again because you spoiled my mood. Okay, I agree.
You know, I gotta have some respect to Kane for actually wondering what the absolute hell we're on about. Miss Charm is overjoyed at the fact that we got the farmer's daughter, who for some reason hasn't been shown at all, to join her, but she needs someone with aristocrat papers to sign them. Remember those things for 12 gold we could buy back at the church? And despite how lucrative our wine adventures at the Talking Skull have been, I'm still only sitting on 3 gold, so it'll be a minute until we advance that plot line. Now that we have the statuette, we can give it to Jerry and use the artifact to glimpse into the past. However, I'm gonna hold off talking about this. If you hadn't picked it up yet, this entire tavern plot line is the main part of this Stranger Sins DLC, and using the machine is what gives us the vast majority of the story they've included here. Because they all flow together so well, and it can honestly be a little confusing at times, I've opted to just go through all these scenes once we've gone through them all. And believe me, it is very confusing, but very insane. Like, what the hell do you mean Heranek and Miss Chain have been alive for 210 years? We progress to the final stage of the Donkey Revolution, and the donkeys ask us for a banner, while their rat allies want 4 jellies of incredible power. I use the patented grave fence crafting crafting method to gather up a crap ton of blue points to finally get the cultist perk, along with all the other perks related to body parts. Now here I need to go into a pretty in-depth explanation on how corpses work in Graveyard Keeper. Inside of each corpse is of course a bunch of organs. The ones that we've known so far are meant to be used as crafting resources in blood, bone, fat, flesh, skin, and skull. Now like I explained before, these also do have an effect on the corpse of the body, but their effect is always the same. Blood always adds one red skull and removes one white skull. Flesh always adds white skulls. What gives this variance are the three final organs we've discovered: brains, hearts, and intestines. Each of these organs serve no other purpose than to give bodies variance. That way, each corpse has a completely different set of red and white skulls from each other, being able to have anywhere from 3 red skulls and also 3 white skulls. Now this is insanely confusing to keep track of, and our so-called new cultist perk allows us to see what each organ is contributing to the body. This is especially useful for what I want to do, and that's create super hyper optimized zombies. While most of our corpses have had 5, maybe 6 white skulls in them, the max is actually 26. First, you've got the random trance organs, which could have 3 white skulls, giving you 9. And then you could use the soul room to manipulate the blood, fat, skull, and flesh to each have 3 white skulls. This will get you to 21 white skulls. The last 5 are a bit more involved, and I'll explain later, but for now, I save every single high white skull corpse I find, along with as many sin shards as I can hold. Also, to complete the Inquisitor's quest, there will be some dark versions of the 3 variable organs, which add a bunch of red skulls, which can actually sometimes be useful, believe it or not. I figure with the fat stacks I finally got pouring in, it's about time I should pay off the merchant for letting me use his garden. He is overjoyed at that money, but says my vegetables are awful and I'm a terrible farmer. Well, gee, thanks. He has a goal of one day serving on the royal court by becoming the keeper of the king's kitchen and an official taste tester. And you know, if I get him there, I can make some money or something. I don't know, he didn't really focus on that part or much. To accomplish this, we'll need to first corner the market of the vegetables in town, and then bribe the royal court members. To start this process up though, I'll need to purchase a trade license. Now back to our perfect zombies though. To get these final 5 white skulls, you need to craft the embalming sprays and embalming tables. These embalming sprays can change the skull count of a corpse, of which you of course need to add more white to, though there are plenty that add more red skulls. There are 4 injections you can add to a corpse to get it across the 26 skull finish line: lye, glue, silver, and gold. And let me tell you what, these things are no joke to cultivate. Even with the massive amount of plentiful resources that I'm sitting on, it is tough to find the materials to craft these things, often requiring resources where your source is quite limited, like red mushrooms, gold powder, or moths. But it'll all be worth it. Worth it when I see that glorious 26 white skull corpse on my screen. The real reason I want such a monster zombie is to man the zombie winery, as now we're producing so many grapes that I can't even come close to processing it all myself. I mean, we're sitting on chests full. I build my juicy embalming tables and get to work on my zombies. Now the way sprays work is that they actually change the corpse in some way that must be abided by. Some just add a white skull, but others actually use a red skull to give the corpse a white skull, and some add a red skull and a white skull. And if you don't have enough red skulls, you'll actually be unable to perform the injection. A good solution to this is just always keep the blood, fat, and skull in there. However, since random organs can actually have subtracting red skull effects, that still sometimes is not even enough. So it's important to balance your rando organs in smart ways across your prospective zombies. Now, I'm still pretty low on sin shards, so I can't take out all the old organs to upgrade them to +3 white skulls, and my choice is for some of the rando organs to only have 2 white skulls, but still, I'm able to make 4 16 or so white skull corpses, giving them 40% efficiency, which is a huge drop in productivity compared to the 15% zombies I had been using before. It's Inquisitor Day, whom I can deliver the 3 dark organs that we found to, which he says he'll put in front of the king as definitive proof. But that's not all. We can also ask him about the suspicious Lady Beatrice we encountered, since he is of course a man of the Inquisition himself. Apparently, she manipulated the entire Inquisition to believing her to be the future of the movement, using her good looks and charming personality. But it doesn't work on the Inquisitor, because any woman who looks in his direction, he demands to be burned alive. Inquisitor actually believes that her faith isn't quite as firm as she pretends it, and she's simply using the Inquisition to achieve her true goal, whatever that might be. He comes back the following week, and I check in with him to see if he was able to convince the king.
Monsieur, how was your audience? Terrible. These dark organs mean nothing to him. He didn't say it in anything, but fools they are. Well, we do nothing. The curse continues to grow in power. Soon enough, it'll be too late to do anything about it. I know you and I have had some hard times, but you know, for the first time, I'm humbly asking you asked me to do so much.
Now, this is actually our first missable achievement in the game. You see, Inquisitor asks us if we have any proof we can give him that witchcraft exists. You're given the option to either give up Jerry, talk about Snake Shrine, or saying you just wouldn't know anything about that. Now, in order to get the achievement, you must sell out Jerry. Now, this doesn't actually work, as the Inquisitor points out that if Jerry chooses not to talk, he would just be a normal skull. But it gives the achievement he trusted you. If you choose any of these other options here, you don't get this achievement. And this is pretty far into the game, so even if you rushed it on a new save file, it would probably take like 10 hours or so. Back at the refugee camp, I've managed to build some farms for them. Now, if I just supply them with seeds, they'll actually grow things here themselves and use it in their storeroom. With these built, you never need to worry about feeding the refugees again, and combined with the automatic automatic well, always giving them water, the only thing you'll ever need to do to collect refugee happiness is wait. I've been neglecting my church for a really long time, so I decided to get in there and completely redo all of my furniture to higher quality ones that I can craft now. These are all simple to craft and bring my church rating from 47 up to 71. And since we're improving the church, it was time to do the same to the graveyard. It was here though that I'd learn of a rather unfortunate feature that existed within the buried body mechanic. Remember how I said red skulls actively count against the buried body's graveyard score? Well, I never quite explained what white skulls do, and trust me, they do a lot. I first noticed this when I tried adding one of those beautiful marble fences onto our corpses. These were supposed to give me 10 graveyard rating, but in reality it only gives you like 1 or 2. What? Why? And that's because of these white skulls. You see, the amount of buried body contributes to your graveyard rating cannot exceed the number of white skulls on the body minus the red skulls. So if you have a body with 4 white skulls and 2 red skulls, even if you put the best fences and gravestones on that grave, it can't improve your graveyard rating by more than 2. This is not very good for me, as it basically means my entire graveyard is screwed, because no matter what graves and fences I add to these things, they'll still have stupid bad ratings. And you know, in general, improving bodies is hard enough as it is. I mean, just to make a couple medium rank zombies, it took me hours upon hours. Imagine trying to do that for an entire graveyard. So do I cut my losses? Just realize the benefits that having a good graveyard adds is really not that high and none of this is a big deal? Realize that my money from the graveyard is such an insignificant part of my income compared to the talking skull and just leave the whole thing alone?
You fool! Of course that's not what I do. Is this game called Tavern Keeper? Is this called Fetch Quest Keeper?
No, it's Graveyard Keeper.
So I'm determined to have the most peak, the most optimal, the most perfect graveyard out there.
And while I could probably just plant a bunch of 14 skull corpses and call it a day,
these unoptimal corpses sit like a disgusting sore on what should be my beautiful graveyard.
but I won't let that go on any longer.
As I go around and dig up every single body in my graveyard.
And now that you've been disturbed from your eternal slumber,
You must be punished. Punished for not being optimal. Even in death, you are a burden upon us.
I go through and burn every last body I had buried in there.
Yes, he has burned in the fires of eternal damnation. You are inefficient beings, and your only use to me is as ash.
One by one, I dig them up from their graves and watch them burn, their fire warming me, their very existence disintegrated in a second to further line my pockets. This, if you couldn't guess, takes a really long time, like actual real-world hours of my life.
Bishop, don't look at this. Don't look at this. Yeah, let's not focus on this right now. I can surely explain. Look. Watch this. Look at this beautiful spot for urns. Look at it. Isn't that pretty?
And that urn spot is the reason we're doing all of this. These can be crafted with some marble statues, clay, and ash, and I mean a lot of ash. Each one basically being the ash of 12 people. This is obviously super expensive, but the benefit is that you burn all the bodies, so you don't need to worry about their quality. This is also way more convenient, as you can just gut every single body that flops onto your door. In fact, before the DLC was introduced, this was actually the most efficient way to increase your graveyard score. Honestly, the biggest time sink is just how freaking long it takes to destroy all these damn grave sites. But after hours of just exhumation, digging, burning, and removing grave sites, I had finally gotten my graveyard to a cleaner place. Now, truth be told, we were sitting around the same score as we started at, but first of all, this one doesn't actively activate my anxiety levels, and secondly, I've got extra of everything else. We're just waiting on more ash. And while I was doing all that, York managed to earn us 10 gold! Oh my god, how long was I in the graveyard mines? Now, during all that, I had actually ended up building a ton of stuff for the refugee camp, to the point where I've gotten 11 people to move in there now. And as a reward, Marquis gives me one of the most valuable items in the game, the universal bag. This expands my inventory by 9. I know that doesn't sound like much, but dear lord, this game involves so much inventory management that this is a godsend. With all our shiny new coins from the tavern, I can actually afford the aristocrat papers and show them over to Miss Charm to sign off on her little adventure. The final piece of what she needs for this big show, though, is a brand new song. And unfortunately for me, I'm just abhorrent at songwriting. So instead, we go over and talk to Wagner about writing one for us. If you didn't remember from the beginning of the video, Wagner is actually in love with Miss Charm, so he is very nervous about this. And as such, he needs to be in the right headspace, which is why he asked us to make a half psychedelic mushroom, half booze concoction, which I'm not entirely convinced is the best headspace to try and confess your feelings to the love of your life, man. I head back to Uruk, and he wants to find representatives for Wrath and Gluttony. Wrath is obviously the Inquisitor, since he's always like setting people on fire, and for Gluttony, we decide on the Merchant. You know, I gotta speak on this. In freaking all media, Gluttony is always portrayed as just like guy who likes eating a lot, or honestly, more often, just this guy's fat. And that's just like not entirely what gluttony is. Gluttony, of course, in our language is about eating. But in terms of the 7 deadly sins, I think it's more about overconsumption or consumerism, lacking self-control, indulging in urges beyond the point of what's healthy. I feel like it's a lot more connected to addiction than just like, wow, that guy really likes food. Anyway, that aside, for the Inquisitor, we're gonna have to bring him the ashes of some witchy burn, and for the merchant, we're gonna have to make him some super delicious meal. For both of these, I can head to the local swamp witch Clotho, who asked for just a couple jars of honey in return, which I, of course, have coming out of my ears. I finished making that abhorrent concoction for our boy Wagner as he drains that and then gets to write, and then tells us to come back later. In the meanwhile, Clotho gave us the recipe to craft a special sauce to give to the merchant for his gluttony shard, which just takes chicken eggs, and the keeper remarks that it looks suspiciously similar to mayonnaise, so I think it's literally just mayonnaise. And speaking of the merchant, while randomly strolling around, I happened upon that hiccup grass he asked me for ages ago. Hiccup grass. I'll eat it right now. What a strange taste. Now I taste nothing. Wait a second. Let me take a bite of the spicy cookie I have in my pocket. Why, it's tasteless. I sense nothing at all. What'd you give me? Just what you asked for, hiccup grass. Oh my god, it happened. It's the curse. When I was young, I was told I'd lose the most important thing in my life. Who told you that? An old fortune teller was traveling with a caravan in the desert across the northern mountains. We stopped at an oasis and there was this old woman, and everything she said came true, and now this. I'm sorry to hear that. Wait a minute. Do you know any witches? No. I do. The Inquisitor probably burned them all. Well, Clotho was still alive. She was pretty old when I was young. She's still alive. She must be Ruit. You must find her in the western swamp. Oh my god, I was supposed to do this for a long time ago. On my way back to Clotho, I stopped by the church, as I'm also supposed to grab the trade license for the merchant and I's joint business venture. And while here, I placed down another thing of porcelain urns, bringing my graveyard rating up to 231. I hit up Clotho and tell her the merchant's story. Now, due to the fortune teller's interference, his curse is coming true. Sounds like a curse was laid on him by another witch, so it'd be unprofessional of me to help. That's true. Witch against witch combat. The old times we used to help out in situations, but now that whole market collapsed. Now it's forbidden. Only the witch who placed the curse on it can craft a potion to remove it. So there's no cure for him. Let me see. I've told you the basics, and you're no witcher. There's a fancy word for what you are. Chemist, alchemist. Oh my god, alchemy, alchemist. I just got that. So you craft a potion for him, and I'll tell you a recipe. Put salt and health solution together. Easy. Now that is absolutely no problem at all, as you get salt every time you burn a body, and it actually has no use in the game at all. So I've got literally hundreds of the stuff. Have your cure. Let me try it. I'll spring it on these fried grasshoppers. What the hell are you doing, bro? You're such a freak. Delicious, even tastier than before. Thank you so much. Where did you get this precious ingredient? I made it myself. All it took was some alchemy and a bit of common sense. Interesting. I see many possibilities here. This flavor could open many gates, even perhaps the palace gates. I need to arrange a dinner with some royal council members, and that's where I need your help. I need you to cook a great dinner for 5 people. Just make some snacks and a main course and some dessert. But they all should be of the highest quality. Why me? I'm not good at cooking this stuff. I can just know there's soul in the town. The stakes are too high. Why don't you cook it yourself? Nonsense. I'm a foodie, not a cookie. Don't worry. You can do this, and that spice you made, I'll make this dinner unforgettable. Also, while I'm here, I give him the mayonnaise sauce and scoop up his gluttony shard. Finally, I also managed to secure a trade license, so we can finally go into business together. From now on, we can package up crates of vegetables here, and the merchant will come by every merchant day to pick them up. Other than the tavern, this is easily the best way to make money in the game, though it does come with the small caveat that the vegetables must be gold star quality. Luckily for me, this hallway connects to the church basement, meaning I can easily have a bunch of porter zombies just automate this for me. And speaking of sin shards, I managed to scoop one up from the Inquisitor the following day by watching him just roid out about these witches' ashes. We use all these to clear Yurik of 2 more sins, to which he remarks that he now feels empty. Well, guess someone didn't watch Full Metal Alchemist. In order to expand our crate shipping space with the merchant, we just need to craft an absurd amount of flowers to get the word out, which can be done at a new crafting station, the paper press. This lets us use white paint to make paper and flyers, which is obviously much cheaper than having to use skin for all of it. Back at the refugee camp, I head into Ulrich's tent to question him about Lady Beatrice. Master Ulrich, you must know something about the Inquisitor Beatrice. She paid me a visit. Beatrice, the council entrusted our affair to Beatrice. Seems like they're even crazier than I imagine. I forgot he was a vampire. Ever since she appeared several years ago, strange things starts happening. I have some new information, Master Ulrich, about the vampires you killed. There was a woman who ordered them to do it and turned you into vampire. A woman in black and gold cloak. Have you ever heard of her? I would have remembered if the kidnappers mentioned her, but they didn't. They mentioned ghouls a lot. Ghouls? There's ghouls in this game! How foolish. Every adult knows that ghouls are real. I think that woman might be the key to our mystery. Sorry I can't help you, but you listen, why do you smell strange? When she visits me, it doesn't matter. Back to the dead horse to retrieve our song from Wagner, but instead he's left a note for us that we're screwed. I started growing hair in strange places. Meet me at Mountain Fort at night. Probably one of the weirdest notes I've ever received in my life. But while we wait for that, I had managed to craft myself a damask sword with gem, the best sword in the game, so it's time to finish up the dungeon. Once again, not really too much to say here, just more of the same, swing sword, kill enemy. I make it down to floor 10 where there's a locked gate, so I'll need to talk to Snake to get the key. At the refugee camp, I didn't really mention these individually because overall they're pretty boring, but there are several side NPCs you can help to further improve your camp. We had the cooking lady before, but there's also a rancher, a banker, and some woman called the Undertaker who all have special workstations you can build for them. But it was while I was here that I would make one of the worst mistakes I've ever made in any video ever, and that's saying something. So the farms and ranch at the refugee camp are working well. In fact, they're working a little too well. The refugees are using the cooking table I got them and turning the wheat into flour and then the flour into dough. Unfortunately though, they cannot eat dough, and as such, it's taking up massive amounts of slots in the refugee storehouse and preventing them from making more food. Now, this isn't really an issue. I mean, the refugees have more food than they can ever eat in several lifetimes, but the wasted space still bothers me. So instead of just like ignoring it or maybe even throwing it all away, you know, like a normal person might do, I instead take several hundred pieces of dough and break it all into my oven. Now you may ask, why is this such a mistake? Well, dear viewer, it's because once you start a job in the oven, there is no way to cancel it. And there's only one single place that you can cook most recipes, and that's this single oven, with no way to make any more. That means by queuing up 700 pieces of bread in my oven, I've just made it so I'm completely unable to use my oven for 6 hours straight, just for a whole bunch of bread that I, spoiler alert, never end up using. This was so incredibly annoying because as we see going forward, there are just tons of things I need to use the oven for, and I'm just completely locked out of them until these stupid freaking bread bakes. But for now, it was nighttime once again, so it was time to see what the heck was up with Wagner's insane note.
Wagner, where are you? Oh, crud, stay where you are, I have a sword.
What the hell? He turned into like a bull?
What happened to you? Fly agaric confusion. It seems the legends have only reported half its effects. I wrote the greatest song in the world, but the deeper I looked into my soul, the more I look like this. And when I finished the song, this is what I became. Miss Charm will never love me now. Oh my god, you're hideous. Oh, Wagner, I'm so sorry. It's still worth it. Here's a song. Oh, alright. Well, at least we got the song. Alright. See ya, creep. It's a monster. He's trying to kill this poor guy. No, we're just talking. Grab him. Let me go. I'm the son of the Lord Commander. Drag him to the mountain fort. Oh my god, he's Ugo. Oh, not my problem. La 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 la.
I give Damas the sword, to which he tells us he can finally start the ritual.
These are my followers. They have gathered here to behold my power. Oh my god, he actually got... Is he gonna sacrifice them? Is that real blood? This place looks scary. So I need to kill you with this sword, and then you shall return to life once more. How'd Snake do it? He must be so powerful. We should worship him. Blah, 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 blah. I disagree. Boo. Behold my power over life and death. Are he actually gonna kill these guys? Follow me and be immortal. Oh, he killed me. Oh, I guess I am immortal. Fair enough. You have died. Honestly, you know what? Smart. That's honestly hilarious. There he is. He's alive. He's immortal. Behold, my first disciple. Now go back home and wait for my... Okay, he's not gonna kill him. Oh my god. My life will never be the same. Hell, Snake. Really like the way you did that whole death scene. It was so traumatic. Are we done here? Sure, I just need a little time for final preparations. But I'm your man.
I head over to the communist box and give Donkey the last pieces he needs to finish his donkey uprising. Down in the basement with Yurik, we talk about grabbing the last 3 sin shards. The astrologer is sloth, farm is lust, which of course leaves Snake to be envy. Well, that's a problem for tomorrow as I go to take myself a little nap.
Oh my god, Snake, what the hell? We got a big problem. A well-known vampire hunter is headed for your graveyard. He's gonna kill me and probably burn down your church too. Are you a vampire? Why is a vampire hunter after you? Seems I got carried away showing off all my powers over life and death. One of the cultists turned out to be chatty and dumb. It's so hard to find good help these days. What are we gonna do? We need to set a trap near Witch Hill on the road to the graveyard and make it look like an accident. Oh my god, are we actually gonna kill this guy? I've set up the distraction for him at the town brothel. So we have little time, but not much. We'll be waiting on Witch Hill, right up from the road. Finally did it. Did you bring a wood plank? Why should I have brought that? Because I asked you. You absolutely did not. Okay, now I gotta go get you a wood plank. Jeez. What are you gonna do? Just bash him over the head? That'd actually be kind of hilarious. Here's the freaking wooden plank, man. Are we actually gonna kill some guy? You're lucky he's not here yet. Let's just wait. What? No, dude, I'm gonna miss my sermon. Holy crap. How long do we need to wait? Just a little while longer. Dude, now I'm gonna miss Charm's day. You're sure that he's coming? Yes, we just need to be patient. No human can spend this much time in a brothel. Well, maybe he's not. I'm really tired. I need to eat something. Everything's at stake. Just keep... Oh, it's gonna be a full week. That makes sense. He's coming. Get ready. Oh my god, there actually was. I love side quests. Just in and out. Push. Oh. Oh my god. We actually killed him. Holy crap. Oh my god, we murdered that man. We straight up murdered him. Oh my god. Oh, it's a corpse that leaves. Hunter's medallion.
And fortunately for my conscience, when I check out this guy's body, it's filled with dark organs, which probably means he was a really bad person. And you know, he deserved to get flattened by that boulder.
Here's Charm, I got your song. Somebody died, but here's your song. specifically written out for you. Oh, how sweet. It gives me little butterflies in my stomach.
Who wrote this? His love is so pure. It's a real declaration of love. He understood me.
It was written by a poet who used to write here at the tavern. He was in love with you.
Oh, I remember him. He was so shy. Where is he now?
I don't know how to explain it. He was captured by the guards. He's at the mountain for it. And his present state, I don't know if he'll be alive for much longer.
Hold me. I'm gonna fade. We need to save him.
Okay, how do we do that?
Promise me that you'll help.
This looks like the perfect opportunity for astrologer to show how much he cares. I'll try to help. You can just stay for a while.
But it's not all good news here, as even though we finish up the donkey storyline, he's here to tell us how his revolution went.
We failed, my dear comrade. Oh my god. I've never seen him so depressed. He's oppressed. That's hilarious. Irat seized power in our post office and declared a military dictatorship, and now the donkey situation is even worse than it was before the revolution. Oh god. What are you gonna do? Anything that I'm any good at? Bringing you corpses and eating carrots. Maybe it's not as bad as you think. My carrots are quite tasty and... Aww. Sorry, donkey.
And yes, that's actually how the donkey storyline concludes. They really went for like an Animal Farm style ending here at the end. Brutal. But at the very least, the donkey gives our reward the ice pickaxe, the strongest pickaxe in the game. This also has no durability, making it infinite use. So, at least someone benefited from this revolution. I talked to the shepherd about the vampire with the cloak from a memory vision, and he says that it's probably the vampire queen, as she used to chill here around 30 years ago. If we want to know more about that, we gotta talk to Jerry. Using the hunter's medallion that we stole off the cold corpse of that definitely evil vampire hunter, we're able to progress through the gate of the final 5 floors of the dungeon. For some reason, while I'm doing this though, this electrical powder just follows me for a really long time, and I mean a really long time. Like, I cannot shake this thing. Can you just go away? I tried clearing my inventory, but seriously, I have no way of picking this thing up. It just keeps following me. At the bottom of the dungeon, floor 15, you can pick up the whole reason we came down here in the first place, the golden apple for Snake. I tell the astrologer about his daughter and her desire to save Wagner, who's locked up in Mountain Fort. The astrologer tells me some story about him and the Keeper were storming the capital during the Great Blast or something like that, and that messed up their plans, and the Lord Commander threatened to kill them, making it barely out alive. But apparently, as long as he shows that he's making progress on his studies, they'll let him back in to arrange an educational expedition for his students, which we could use as a guise to get in. In order to complete this, we need to give him a silver star and then a gold star quality book. This is another important moment, as it's our second case of a missable achievement. You see, with the DLCs, there's actually a separate item you can give him called the Reading Obsidian, which replaces the need to give him a book. Unfortunately, giving the book earns you an achievement, while giving the obsidian does not. This would be even worse than missing the Inquisitor quest, because dear lord, we are so deep into the game at this point. In the church basement, I had now gutted so many bodies and souls, I was overflowing with both sin shards and perfect organs. And as such, I can finally create the perfect zombie. 26 skulls there right in front of me. 65% efficiency. I decided to throw him on the Gold Star Pumpkin Farm, as Yor can't even sell all the wine as fast as I'm making it, so I'll use him to make some side income with crates. Plus, we're gonna need a lot of these guys for some upcoming quests. Snake's back in town, so it's time to hand him over the precious gold apple, which was the last thing we needed for his final ritual.
Today's the day! Today I get what I wanted to have for my entire life. I cursed them all of my anger, I sacrifice it to you!
Appear among us? Father!
What? He's summoning his own daddy?
What the heck? The bishop's his dad?
Or the Inquisitor?
Father?
Black magic! Now I see it's you. I remember your face. My son is dead. You're a creature of darkness. He was burned with his mother. The house on Witch Hill. Mother threw me out of the window just before the beams collapsed. You wove a small house out of vines. I call it Flame. Son, is that you, Seth? I am your father. Aw, that's sad. Or nice, or something. I don't know. What are the guards here? Monsieur, we're here. You disappeared. How did they know he was here? No, stop! Let them go! Return to headquarters, but do it! Son, it's like a dream. So we can go too? But it seems that my ritual is a success after all. Here, my endless notebook is yours. I hope it'll help you to get back to your loved one. Thanks. And take my eternal burning coal. I don't think I want to burn anyone anymore. What are we going to do about the guardsmen? They saw us. We need to get back to the town first. What a twist. But old Jerry knew. Ah, Yorick lost the bet. And I'm one step closer to my love.
Nice. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, the 2 items they gave us are 2 of the 6 parts we need to construct the portal to get back home to our love. And if you couldn't guess, that was the end to both Snake and the Inquisitor's plotline. And speaking of wrapping up plotlines, I managed to snag the remaining 3 sin shards from our boy Eric. Upon using them to clear him of his final sins, he says he feels lightweight and needs time to rest. Now, if we take all those sin shards, we can actually place them in the stained glass window inside the cathedral, and it gives us little images that encapsulates each of the characters that we got the shards from.
Sloth illustration. Oh, the astrologer. Sad. Wrath. Oh my god. Inquisitor is crazy. Envy. Oh, poor Snake. Gluttony. Just him eating his brother's food, okay. Lust. Mischarm.
Wait, was that the, merchant? Am I crazy? It really looked like him. To complete one of these Stranger Sins quests, we're gonna have to get the farmer a log-sized carrot. To which, of course, we ask Clotho. She comes out of freaking left field and asks in return for us to secure her a date with Corey, the stone guy who literally has not had one significant interaction with anyone in this game so far. He denies my request when I ask because Clotho is a crazy old lady, which, you know, that's pretty fair. Determined to not give up, I decide to check in with his brother Tress to see if there's anything I could do to make him agree. He asked me for 10 silver for advice, and even though I'm literally walking around with 13 gold, I deny. I mean, you're not gonna scam me, man. I don't care that much. Hilariously though, this doesn't give you like an alternate path or just like leave the prompt there for later when you want to spend the money. It just like changes the quest to tell Clotho she got rejected. Well, now I kind of feel bad. When we go back to Clotho, we make up some insane lie about Corey having cursed runes all over his body, and the old witch quickly loses interest and gives me my carrot.
That's freaking hilarious. Look at this giant carrot.
Despite the absolute massive size of our carrot, the farmer is not impressed. It still allows us entry into his home. After grabbing the artifact I need, I head down for a little nap.
Well, Keeper, here we are. Stop messing around with him. Grab him and let's show him how we do things in the village. What the heck?
What's going on?
He's trying to play dumb. Look at him.
Griswold, wait, Keeper, you must come with us at once. Something has happened in the village.
Not just something.
The hell happened?
No, this is absolute madness. Such an act of vandalism in the village. Look at the mayhem in my garden. Is it like this everywhere?
My pottery wheel was destroyed. What do I do now?
Villagers, please calm down.
First, we should sort things out.
You should see what happened in my place. You wouldn't have even thought it impossible.
Griswold, please hold on. What happened?
Here, take a look. That's Bernard next to you, our village watchman. He and Yurik have completely destroyed the village. You can't even imagine what I'm going through at my place. What the hell? Me and Yurik had a nice talk yesterday. Maybe we had a few too many. But after our little feast, I went home, asked my wife. Yeah, stop shouting like that. My head is killing me. Could Yurik have done all of this? I have no idea what happened. I told you all I know. But he seems such like a cultured and civilized person. Blast! I could have never imagined it would turn out like this. What a nightmare. How convenient that Yurik has just disappeared. Will someone tell me who was going to fix all this? According to our laws governing the transfer of criminal responsibilities, one of Yurik's relatives should be responsible for the misdeeds of his kids. If you didn't have any relatives, then if there aren't any relatives, then his closest friends. Meaning I take it. Great. They found someone to take the fall. We just found the guy who will sort everything out, right, Keeper? Yes? Dear villagers, once more I must ask you to calm yourselves. I have taken control of the situation. Together with Keeper, we will repair everything. You can all go now. And Mr. Keeper, you must come with me. We must discuss our upcoming work. Oh, great. Now I have work to do.
Yes, this is the actual end to the Yurik plotline. We will never see him again. We spent all that time fixing up a bedroom for him, repairing the soul room, gathering those freaking soul shards, all for him to just get drunk, wreck the village, and bounce. I'm not gonna really go too in depth on this quest though, because it's just going around the town, giving people nails to fix their homes, and then moving on to the next person. But just know it was long and arduous, and I will never forgive you for your sins, Yurik. You got yourself on my crap list. Back to the Talking Skull, though, and all the quests I've completed there have allowed me to upgrade it, adding another room, giving me more space for tables. Most notably, this will allow me to increase the tavern rating, which is very important as hitting a rating of 80 is a required achievement. In an attempt to get another Wayback Machine artifact from Adam, the dork tells us that these two hooligans have been standing by his window every single night whispering insults to at him, and he wants us to get rid of them. When I check back in at night,
It's Yorick! Adam, shut up now. You're such a gifted potter. In your dreams, in real life, you're a hopeless failure. Look, Adam, your collection of antiques is amazing. Someone's probably gonna steal it any day now.
what's this guy's problem?
Things will work out, Adam. I know one day you'll be known throughout the land. Of course, the famous fool and whiner.
Unfamiliar voices. Yorick, what a surprise. What the hell are you doing?
We're discovered. How shameful. No worries, Keeper. It's just a fun game. Adam doesn't look like he's having fun. Besides, my workers behave this way, that would spoil my tavern's prestige. Should I fire you? Okay, we were just trying to increase our self-esteem by humiliating Adam. But if you want us to stop, no problem. We'll move to another loser. Bye.
I finally remember to question our boy Jerry on the Vampire Queen, and he tells me to check in with a ghost in the dungeon about it. Speaking of ghosts, it's been a while since we checked in on Smiley. Dude's just kind of been floating over there in the corner. I tell him about Yurik's crash out, and he tells me that one night after the treatment, he saw Yurik staring at the wall and screaming at the top of his lungs and saying, "I have lost myself." You know what? I'm starting to believe that treatment actually didn't go so well. And speaking of ghosts, it's a totally sick and dope transition that I didn't just use in the script. If we head back down into the dungeon, we can see that ghost that Jerry told us about. He says he'll help us if we find his leg, which I don't really think is gonna help you much in the afterlife, man. Instead of doing any of that, we bring the shepherd to him, as he only has one leg too, so hopefully he'll trust him. That's probably the most insane logic I've ever heard in the entire game, but it somehow works. He reveals to us that the Vampire Queen was the one to steal his leg in a place called the Misty Quagmire. I don't know where this Misty Quagmire is, but I've heard about it. About 25 years ago, a famous university scientist, Marquis de Redoro Sr. found a book there. Could it be the father? It was an evil book full of dark magic. They called it the Necronomicon. The Marquis studied it in secret, and eventually the book drove him and his wife crazy. It was in the execution square that day, and the Inquisitors brought him to the fire. They roared like wild animals, tried to bite their captors and shout things about the ancient curse. Jesus. But before I have a chance to ask Marquis about where the heck this Misty Quagmire is, I'm confronted at my front door.
Oh God! Graveyard Keeper, in the name of King Joe the Seventh, you're under arrest.
What the hell did I do? Listen, guys, maybe we can slow things down here and figure out a good solution that's good for everybody.
The Lord Commander of the King, holy Jesus,
The Northernlands waits for your trial. Oh, crap, but I have a right to a lawyer, and I'm allowed to remain silent?
dude, sounds like he's asking for a beating. Wait, I agree. Oh, how uncivilized.
What did I do?
You excited, Keeper? You should be. You've got a problem, a big problem.
Hold on, Heretic, what's going on here?
I don't know yet, but it's definitely nothing good.
You're goddamn right, Innkeeper.
It'll be boring at first, interrogations, court trial, sentencing,
But the ending will be spectacular. Double boarding. Woohoo!
Oh, that nasty woman is with him.
It is so splendid, milady, that you agreed to dine with me today. Ah, Lord Commander, how could I resist your charms? I'm sure it'll be delightful. No doubt, my dear. Let's finish here quickly. Graveyard Keeper and Heretic, is it? Your sentences. Sentence? Begin the trial with the sentence? Why not? Isn't the case clear enough? Heretic and Graveyard Keeper concealed and aided the fugitive heretics. It says, and sentence is obvious. Death by burning, with the right to appeal the sentence afterwards. You know, it's not so easy to burn me. They already tried once. We didn't have no fugitives. Pure naive Keeper. Do you think my spell just changed the way you smell? Alas, at any time day I could look upon the world within your eyes and ears and even smell within your nose. By the way, try to remember dried cloves and lilies don't go well with the scent of rotting corpses. As the sentence regulation, you will be burned. Any questions? I have one. According to paragraph M18, that only applies to defendants have hair on their feet, their crimes involving cattle, and during odd years.
Heretic is right.
My dear, this is nonsense. Just do it. I promise you the most magnificent date of your life. My lord, could you certainly do it despite the laws? And what would our king say? Silence, you fool. The king will never learn of it. Are you sure? One of the stinky, tongue-tied, creepy hunchbacks you mentioned might tell him, for instance. My lord, your jester is unbearable. And that smell, even my unique freshener couldn't cope with this smell. Banish him. Enough, silence all of you. Keeper and Heretic, you're free to go. But warn your fellow fugitive friends. They and their whole camp will be eliminated. You have the solemn word of the Lord Commander.
Uh-oh, well, that ain't good.
Guys, me thinks this might be a little bad.
Well, now we've got much to talk to Marquis about. First and foremost, the Misty Quagmire.
Marquis, are you ready to talk to me about Misty Quagmire? The Quagmire. Do you even know anything about that place, Graveyard Keeper?
A little. It's the place where your father found the Necronomicon. He studied it and the consequences were often. Can't even imagine what you've been through. I went there once and I swear I'd never return again. All hope dies in that place. The Quagmire fills you with pain, horror, and despair. If you even leave the Quagmire forever, you'll find your new nightmares. Sounds sinister. Well, then you can just show me the road and you can stay here. You have been scared.
I can't afford to be scared or weak. I'm the leader of these people.
Of course, how can you help them overcome their fears if you can't deal with the ones on your own? Indeed, after all, our family has courage and liver problems.
Then let it be decided. Follow me.
Wait, I should take the Witcher's Eye with me. I'll be back soon enough. I make sure to grab the Witcher's Eye and head over to the Quagmire. And god dang, this place is creepy. Using the eye, I can find where the dungeon's ghost leg is, as well as a memory showing me the vampire queen used the Necronomicon here. Additionally, 6 vampires stood in a circle here performing some sort of ritual. Seeing these 3 memories opens up a way to the next one.
There was a woman hiding here. I can't quite make her out. A spy? The vampire's attacked her. She's lying there motionless. Is she dead? The vampire queen approaches. She sees the woman. She drops the Necronomicon. 6 spots of burned grass. The vampires. The queen burned them alive. I don't understand. It's meaningless. It's madness. It really is. The charred shoe of a vampire. Perhaps some memory tincture would make sense of this. I'm ready to go back, Marquis. There is no return. You might face this and accept your destiny. Marquis, what are you talking about? I've been waiting for you. Retribution, mankind's greatest obsession and the greatest weapon against it. I don't know who you are, but leave this body. We didn't do anything bad to you. I was pure and innocent until the humans came. You killed each other again and again, bathing me in your blood, filling me with your vices, your intolerance, your hatred. And I struggled, I resisted until that woman came to me, and her dark rituals mutilated and defiled me. And now I will share my pain with you. Wait, I have an offer for you, Quagmire. A very handsome offer. What's the use of punishing us two if you could punish hundreds or even thousands? Just solve a simple riddle and I'll bring them to you. Otherwise, you'll let us go free. I will listen to your simple riddle, human. Here you go. What's the principle of the large hadron collider? What? 3, 2, 1. You lost. Owned. Well, what happened? I'm so weak. My body, it's like it's full of lead. We're out of here, Marquise. Nothing bad happened. I can still hear her in my head. She's whispering that I don't deserve to live. I'm a bad person. A bad commander. I'm useless and helpless. My parents died because of me. You just need a rest, Marquis. A little sleep and you'll feel... Oh, crap. Just when I thought the worst was behind us. Marquis, run! And you leave you alone against them. You're in no condition to help. Run, I said. I bet the vampire queen set them. She's afraid, and that means I'm getting close at last.
Now, believe it or not, this is actually our 3rd missable achievement. There are now 4 golems spread around the map that we need to kill, earning us an achievement. Now, if you build the watchtower, which is an upcoming structure that we've now unlocked at the refugee camp, the golems will despawn and you're completely locked out. Now, this one is very easy to miss, as the game doesn't even tell you that there are a bunch of golems around the map. I was only able to learn this in a Steam thread I found talking about the various missable achievements. After slaying those guys, I head back to the refugee camp, as we still got lots more to talk about with him, mainly the fact that we were almost was buried alive for helping the refugee movement, which like kind of confused me. Like if Lady Beatrice can see and hear everything I do, why not just like come here and kill all these guys? Despite us advising Marquis to like definitely leave this place and make a new camp literally everywhere else where psycho magic ladies won't try and kill him, he doubles down and says they're gonna fortify their defenses and hunker down, of which of course he means I will fortify their defenses. Back at the church, me and Jerry uncover an old book that finally gives us a hint on who the heck Smiler was.
Why are you so excited?
I managed to find the last part of the book. It had some information about you.
That's great. One less uncertainty in my life.
Basically, you are an 18-year-old young man who suffered from a serious illness. They tried to heal you at the workbenches here, but something went wrong. They ended up with a soulless body, something else, all that was left of his soul. Apparently, you're all that's left of the young man. As I see, I'm a residual entity, but I'm not that person. I understand why the former keeper treated me like that, but you're still... Don't worry, I don't care. What should I do? Sit down and cry because my life let me down? There's no connection between me and that dead guy, not anymore. Now that Smiler knows who he actually was, he's no longer got any unfinished business. As such, he asks us to complete one last task for him. Send him through the portal so that he can finally rest. We do this, and it's actually like incredibly sad for some reason. Like I barely spoke to the floating sheet, and now I'm crying in the club as he passes on. The astrologer's back in town today, and it seems that the books we wrote for him were incredibly successful. They want him to come visit Mountain Fort, meaning we can arrange the student exposition and finally save Wagner.
We have papers from the Royal University. We need to go to the old archaeological site. You may pass, but I'll have to let the Lord Commander know you're here. Oh, there's no need, brave soldier. Let him sleep. We'll talk with him in the morning.
Thank you both for helping me.
Where can we find Wagner? You should be in a camp near the road.
Wagner.
Oh, Miss Charm, you shouldn't see me like this.
It's alright, I only see your inner beauty.
Here, be quiet.
How can we get this cage open?
I have some lockpicks. I had a pretty both rough youth. We need to hide him at the old archaeological camp. Then we can get him out in one of the crates.
Wagner, what a beautiful name.
Miss Charm, I have so many. There you are! You ruined everything. My son should have been a glorious knight, and now we don't need them anymore. So I decided to become a writer. What a shame. You're the one who blew up my passage. It's all your fault. It's my fault. We need a new calculation after the Great Blast. I think our golden angle wasn't so accurate, so... excuses. I know that saying's going on. First this creature, then your explosion. You're all traitors, and you're probably a witch. I'm with the Inquisition. I'm undercover. You can kill me if you want, but release my daughter. Father, I can... leave without...
Father, I cannot leave without my father and this young man. I have connections at court. Aw.
You called me your father. Can I just leave? The court. I'm the king's uncle. And I'm his son, Wagner. Oh, shut up. I'll admit Wagner is, of course, a great disappointment. This is too much even for him. I can prove it. I have a birthmark on the left of my tail. Should be somewhere here or under all my fur. You know, I'm just gonna kill you all. No bodies, no problem. I can help with the bodies, Lord Commander. It seems this is the end. Forgive me, daughter. I cannot change what I did, but right now you are everything to me.
Father, this is the best day of my life. I found my father and my love. Wagner, let me kiss you.
Aw, that's so cute. What the heck?
Yes, Father, it's me. You nearly killed your own child, but I forgive you.
I have a deal to offer you. I'll become a knight, but you have to let everyone else go. That sounds fair. As for you, old man, we're not done. But as of right now, you can all go.
Wagner,
don't be sad. We'll be together soon. Here, take this necklace. I think it belongs to you. I bought it using my father's name. I wanted it to be a surprise. All right, well, we did it. It would have been cool if he stayed a Minotaur, though. Everything seems to have ended up well. I don't know, my young friend. I think we still have a lot of problems. Wagner's alive and safe. Come along, Father. I want to show you where we live.
And thank you. Thank you for anything. Is there anything I can do for you?
That necklace. I needed to get back home to get to my love.
Seems like it's already helped me. I hope it helps you now, too. Here, take it.
Oh, young man. I managed to get a golden angle from all my old stuff after all. It's yours as we agreed.
And with that, we had secured the next two remaining pieces of the portal go back machine thing, meaning we've just got two more to go before we're finally able to go home. It was time to investigate that charred vampire shoe using some of Clotho's special memory tincture. The scene revolves around these 6 vampires that serve the vampire queen and then one other Carl. Carl is apparently sick and tired of the vampire queen's constant demands and wants to blow her off, while the other 6 are also annoyed with her and know that they can't refuse her demands. Carl chills in the hot tub and dreams of one day opening up a donkey-themed post office. And you know, when you say it like that, it seems like a lot more insane than it did before. Anyway, this reveals that, of course, Donkey's owner is a vampire, and will have some information on us on the Vampire Queen and Ularic's fate. Also, for whatever reason, the Keeper calls him Vampire Carl. Like, first name Vampire, last name Carl. That's just so funny to me for some reason. I talk to the donkey, and he confirms that Vampire Carl is his owner. And after lying and telling him that I'm prepping a killer speech on the sins of private property, he agrees to bring Vampire Carl here to me. As I'm sure you've guessed by now, we're getting pretty close to the end of the game. And with zombies automating just about everything I could ask for, really all I'm eyeing here is to finish out the main quest and the DLC ones. And something incredibly helpful for that is the stone garden I built. Inside of the stone garden, you can meditate. Now, this restores your energy at a significantly slower rate than you would achieve by sleeping. But that's not the point. The point is that you can pass time here even when your energy is full. That way, going to just the next time you need to talk to an NPC is 4 million times easier than actually just waiting it out. In other good news, my oven has finally stopped producing bread. Dear Lord, that felt like centuries. And this was much needed, as one of the things holding back my progress progress is advancing the merchant's quest to make 5 gold star dinners. This one's actually a pretty interesting one, as it involves combining 3 other food items: 1 snack, 1 meal, and 1 dessert. Obviously, there are hundreds of combinations to make with this, and you need lots of high quality dishes to actually earn the gold star. The combination I decided to go with, though, is gold star hamburger for my meal, gold star cake for the dessert, and silver star pancakes for the snack. These all really just use bread, which, believe me, I have enough of, meat, eggs, and other things that I have bundles of growing on my farm. I also take this time to bang out the chef achievement, which just involves cooking 30 separate recipes. This again is pretty easy by this point because I've just got everything in excess. I've got my 5 dinners and hand them over to the merchant now. The only thing standing in our way now is to receive an official endorsement from the head of the royal council, who wants a private concert from Miss Charm. I decide to not ask any more questions about that and talk to the Charmster next week. In the meantime, I finally finish all the defense preparations for the refugee camp by constructing a watchtower. Marquis in just absolute awe at not just the camp, but all the generous amounts of supplies that we've given him as well. He gives us our rewards and a bunch of money and an even bigger universal bag. But it's just as we're celebrating that disaster strikes.
Holy Inquisition. Marquis. Terrible news. You drew his soldiers from town. The whole army just entered Mountain Fort. Uh-oh. No way we can hold off such an attack. Master Ulrich was right. We have to run before it's too late. I hear you, but keep silent for a moment now. Please, I don't want to panic everyone. I need a little time to think this through. There must be a solution. It can't end. All this can't be for nothing. Keeper, do you have any ideas? I'm afraid. Both of you, leave me here. Please, I must think. There must be a solution. Daddy needs my compassion. It's better to leave him alone for now.
Miss Charm requests some jewelry for me to get the endorsement from the council, which thankfully those refugees just gave me. But when I return home, the surprise of a lifetime is waiting for me.
At last, I'll sign anything. I'll confess. Whatever you want. Just don't hurt me. This will be even easier than I thought. It's good to hear. So tell me everything you know about the woman in the black and gold cloak. I'll say nothing. What? You can torture me and kill me, but that's my final word. But you just said...
After that, we can't get anything out of Vampire Carl, so we decide to come back later with the Shepherd. For now, I check back in on the merchant. We have finally gained support of the Royal Council, and thus, the merchant was inducted into the Royal Food Guard thing. And after that, we can all finally ask him to attend a super dope epic ceremony at our cathedral.
Could you attend the big ceremony at my new cathedral? Together with the bishop, we'll pray for the water to return to town. Bishop, the cheeky one? I guess so, the cheeky one. This ceremony will be a great way to show everyone my new position, so you agree? I don't know, the bishop is my brother! What the hell? Yeah, wait, no, I called that, remember that? Remember that? I said that. I definitely called that, yo. He thinks I've been wasting my time traveling instead of making a career here in the town. Maybe it's time for you to make peace. You're right. Okay, I come. I have the accepted invitation. So let's begin the ceremony. The keeper of the king's kitchen accept the invitation. Great. Let's begin the ceremony. First, let us await our important guest. Bro doesn't know it's his brother. Hello, brother. Hello. I'm here for the ceremony as the keeper of the king's kitchen. I'm happy for you. Aw, he's actually happy. I thought they were gonna have some rivalry. We should start, your holiness. Oh, I'm so nervous. No, just be a regular ceremony. No, I'm talking about my brother. Only now do I see how much I've missed him. Dude, he was like half a mile away. Dear flock, we're here to pray for the water for the town. Yes, and also pray for our families. Our family can help us survive this cruel world, even the most deadly drought. So let's forget your old fights and forgive each other. And pray for water. Oh yeah, sure, whatever. Water. What a good speech. I need to go to apologize to my man. He's gonna be coming down in buckets. Brother, yes, brother. Aww. That was a really sweet scene. I'm so happy for you. No, I'm the one who's happy. I'm so happy. Look what we've achieved. Our parents would be so proud. Hey guys, I should probably leave you alone. Thank you. Thank you so much. You were a great help. Do you still need my mirror? Yes. Very well. Take it. You can take my fork as well. Come on, we have so much to discuss.
And with that, we had collected the final 2 pieces to activate the Witch Hill portal and go home. But of course, we've still got lots of unfinished business we need to take care of before zapping back to the future. And first on that list is Vampire Carl. I recruited the Shepherd, who has got some interesting torture methods.
Let's try something easy for starters. I think I should have some garlic somewhere, and here it is. Watch and learn, my apprentice. Your last chance, Vampire Spawn. Will you speak? Never. Good, then let's begin. Apprentice, take a head of garlic and eat it.
The hell again? You must be joking.
Eat it right now. That's an order. Ah! Good, now lean over the vampire and exhale. Good, will you speak now? Nope. Perfect, we just need to increase the concentration. Apprentice, eat 2 more. Listen, for God's sakes, I can't anymore. Let's try something else. Okay, time for my favorite, E flat. My love, your eyes are similar to beats. Oh my God, it's intolerable. Would you stop singing? I'll talk. Already? What a lightweight. The woman in the black and gold cloak, is she? Oh, that was me. Sure, and I am the Ghoul Sultan. No, man, vampires are all anarchists. That's sick. Who was that woman? No, she didn't tell us anything about herself, so she was obviously a very powerful magician. She wasn't from the town. She spoke like she was accustomed to ruling, and she used old-fashioned words. So she definitely had serious mental problems. Why did you work for her? We had an arrangement. We do what she wants, and then she cures us of our bloodthirst. But instead, she destroyed our whole clan, all my brothers. 4 of us were turned into jawbones during our first... Oh, God, I have your brother. I told my brothers it was a bad sign, so we should stop working for her. But they didn't listen. listen.
Tell me about the ritual in the Misty Cragmire.
Powerful black magic, and its purpose was to kill the fourth keeper. It succeeded as far as I know. The ritual was completed. Then there was a great blast and the keeper died. Amazing, that's the answer. She killed the keeper to trigger the ancient curse. Bozo did the dub. That day I was a little late getting the ritual, but that saved my life. What do you mean? I saw everything while I was hiding in a bush. There's a spy, a woman with red hair. Our mistress sent my brother to kill her. And they did. But when she approached the spy's body, something incredible happened. She yelled. What strange yelling? And then she all burned them all alive. She killed all my brothers who were only doing as she commanded. I couldn't help them. I was just so scared. I remember I ran and I ran. The spy. The one with the red hair. I know a local woman with red hair. Maybe she survived? That's all I wanted to know. You go. Seriously, I can go. Are you sure? Go.
Wow, that was really nice. All right, Shane. Shane, have you ever been to a Misty Quagmire maybe like 30 years ago?
What a strange question, Keeper.
It's not that strange. Just answer yes or no. I can't help you.
But why? Because I don't want to see my sister killed. Clotho, but who want to hurt her? They all would. The citizens, the villagers, even Radek, if they found out what she did. What she did? Jane. What the hell? She started telling her story. I have to make her continue. Oh, I found you, Jane.
Shane, what was it that your sister did? All those things she mentioned. She killed the fourth keeper and started the curse.
What? You mean the woman in the black and cloak was Clotho?
That's impossible. Clotho's just a harmless old witch. She couldn't have ordered them to kill you. Oh gosh, poor Shane. I don't really fully remember this plot line if I'm being honest.
My fault, Keeper. Everything that happened was my fault. I abandoned my sister when she needed me most, and I betrayed her like the others. I enjoyed a happy life with Reddick while Clotho grew mad in loneliness and despair among the swamps.
Why didn't you just roll through the town? It's like 2 miles away.
And when we met again after many years, I discovered my sister had become a monster. Darkness possessed her. She became obsessed with dreams of bloody vengeance, with the destruction of the whole world. She kicked me out of her home, but I wouldn't go away. I just couldn't get over it. And when she went to Quagmire, I followed her in secret. Yes, she ordered vampires to kill me, but that's only because she didn't recognize me. Part of her still loved me, I'm sure of it. That explains one thing. When she saw that the vampires had killed her sister, Clotho flew into a fury and vaporized them. How did you survive? My magic. And she has red hair. Quagmire enhances my magic. That's why Clotho chooses this place for her rituals. I returned to Clotho's home and I saw her miserable and insane, crawling among empty bottles of potions. She attempted to kill herself. She didn't succeed, but it badly damaged her mind and memory. Irreversible. Couldn't abandon her again, so I decided to take care of her and keep her secret. Who knows about this besides you and me? Nobody. They'd kill her if we find out that she'd brought the ancient curse upon us. I need to talk to Clotho. In the name of the ancient god, keep her. Tell her everything that happened. Tell nobody. Tell her everything. It's my fault. It's not hers.
I found the woman responsible for the return of the ancient curse.
That's marvelous news. We must act immediately. The situation in the town worsens every day. Well, who is she? Where is she?
She's not far. It's Clotho, the ancient swamp witch.
I've heard about her. Are you sure? Why'd she do such a thing?
Your sister told me she was driven mad by loneliness and decided to destroy the world.
That sounds quite ridiculous. It can't be the whole truth. Let's go directly find out from her.
It won't be that simple, I'm afraid. Her memory's been irreversibly damaged. I wouldn't count on her remembering something that happened 30 years ago.
I have to see and hear for myself.
Oh, Keeper, you frightened me. I thought it was howling ghouls. Ghouls don't exist, Clotho. Allow me to...
They don't?
Why, how is that so preposterous? There's witches and vampires and werewolves.
Madam Clotho, we apologize for disturbing you at such an hour, but our question is really important and very personal. Important and personal? Oh, Master Ulrich, it's so sudden. And a decent woman, I must refuse you, but I'm afraid, Madam Clotho, and no need for ceremonies. Call me Claudia, darling.
I should have seen this coming. Clotho's always full of surprises.
Clotho, actually, we came to ask you. No, it's me who asked. Should I play the delicate doe, my precious Ulrich? Already, you can't resist the urge to grab me and take... Okay, I gotta skip past this.
We tried to ask Clotho about the ancient curse and killing the fourth keeper, but it seems her memory loss is really just that intense. She doesn't seem to remember anything at all. And seeing as the ancient curse can only be undone by the one who caused it, we have to make her remember. Ulrich and I go through all the possibilities for fixing this to little avail until he comes up with
black magic. I've been playing too much of this game. I don't know why that's so funny. Black magic. There are special circumstances. Yes, I'm ready. What do you suggest?
Ulrich suggests basically putting me inside the deepest layers of Clotho's mind to see if we can make her have a revelation. We head inside of Clotho's mind and begin getting into her memories to try and make her remember. But in order to make this really make any sense to you guys, I think it's finally time to dig into the plot from the other DLC, Stranger Sins, and the story revelations we make using the time-traveling artifact machine. It all starts a long time ago when the ancient god created everything, including 3 priestess sisters to serve him who had like magic and stuff. The ancient god was honestly kind of super dope and gave everyone everything they ever needed, which is good because every person was a fool, dumb idiot who knew nothing and could make nothing. Makes you wonder why the guy didn't just make some smarter humans, but I digress. After death, like I explained earlier, he made an ancient bridge that would allow the dead to have their souls to float over to the land of the dead. The story that the machine focuses on is 210 years ago, which makes it such a shock when we see Heratic and Miss Chain. This really confused me when I first saw it, to the point that I thought I was missing something, but just ride with me, it'll all make sense in due time. Miss Chain is one of the 3 priestess sisters of the ancient god, meaning she's of course course, high royalty. Not only that, but she's got the power to see into the future and like a whole other magic psychic stuff that she can perform. Heratic is but a lowly soldier who falls in love with Miss Chain. Chain loves him too, but knows that due to her status as a priestess, they could never be together. Additionally, the people the ancient god makes are so stupid that the god is still choosing who they get to marry and what they do. Despite Chain's apathy about the situation, Heratic vows to find a way for them to be together. Chain continues her duties with her other two priestess sisters, Clotho, whom we of course know, and another sister, Bella. Now, we never see the ancient god, but our main point of contact with him is through a priestess named Diggus. And yes, this is Dig. Diggus is also the adopted father of Heratic. Heratic, along with his three other soldiers, Jove, Lucius, and our very own blacksmith Cain, conspire to steal Diggus's keys to the ancient portal. They've grown tired of the rule of the ancient god. They want to be able to live and choose for themselves, choose their own wives, grow their own crops. Heratic isn't so sure about it. I mean, the ancient god has given them everything in this life. But Jove appeals to Heratic's sensibilities by emphasizing that this is the only way that Chain could ever be with him. While hesitant, this wins Heratic over, and he vows to steal Diggus's keys to make use of the portal. Heratic feels awful about it, but he ties up his father and steals his keys, where the crew and some other soldiers stake out the portal and put it to use.
Let's begin. Listen to our words, Portal. We want to get rid of the ancient gods, his laws and prayers, and all the other stuff. Besides, we want to learn how to build houses, sew clothes, and grow food. Also gives us the power to make others do it for us. Or what? Lucius, why? What the hell? I agree. Is that the dude? Who the hell are you? I'm the one who possesses the knowledge to awaken and transform your minds. I'll grant you the skills to make your hand... What the hell is going on? I'm the master. Well, that's an epic fail. Epic fail.
After the appearance of the Master, we flash forward to 3 years later, and we see that the control of Diggus, and thusly the ancient god, is slipping. While the ancient god's religion relies on full belief in doing whatever he says, the Master is more focused on self-sufficiency, having no religion at all, and letting people do whatever they want. The debate is the final nail in the coffin, as people seem much more in favor of the Master. Because of this, the ancient god abandons his people, meaning that they've got no source of food, no water, nothing. But the Master's followers have hope that soon enough they'll be able to do all that themselves. 2 years later, the Master's philosophy has taken control of everyone. Unfortunately, the Master, suddenly and unexpectedly to the public, dies. We learn much later on that the one to kill him was in fact Jove, who, if you can tell by his appearance, is the villain here. It's also revealed even later on that Jove is in fact Jerry. They spin the story that the Master has ascended to heaven and now watches over them like a god. But before he died, he crowned Jove king and Lucius as like vice king or something. I didn't really catch that. Jove then declares a holy war because, well, I'm actually not sure on that either. The people of the town, as well as the soldiers, are ordered to burn every building and kill every person who opposes them. Included in this group are our boys Heratic and Cain. And while Heratic feels immense guilt for, and I quote, slitting the throats of 200 people, Cain is kind of really chill with it because they all promise to obey the Master's will. You have to remember that most people in this world are really dumb, so they're just following whoever, which, you know, is actually not that different to real life. Heratic tells Cain that Chain will never accept him like this, to which Cain says, that's okay, we'll just get you a new chick. That kind of pisses Heratic off, and he completely turns his back on the movement and Cain. Walking around the battlefield, he noticed that someone fatally injured his father. He then drags the old fart back to the refugee camp where the remaining supporters of the ancient god lie, including, of course, the priestess sisters. Except for Chain, as she's been captured by the Master's army. Heratic doesn't say anything and just like aura walks out of there while the priestesses heal Diggus. Heratic walks straight into Joe's castle and actually goes full John Wick mode, killing every single person in sight, until Cain is the last person standing in his way. Cain tries to appeal to him, saying that if he rescues Chain, Jove and the kingdom will declare him a terrorist. Heratic says nothing, and once again, Aura walks past him. Heratic finds Chain and says, I did it all for love. And she's like, why are you focusing on love at a time like this? The world's on fire. There's no love in this world. I can't marry you, psychopath. Which, you know, like, honestly kind of fair. At the same time, Jove, Lucius, and their followers approach the ancient bridge, where he commands them to destroy it. Despite them all following him up until now, all the followers are kind of hesitant on this because if there's no bridge, there's no afterlife. Lucius then just decides to do it himself. Cut over to the dungeon, and Jove's goons have been torturing Heratic for weeks now, as they need to know where the swamp cap holding the remaining of the ancient god supporters are posted up. Heratic refuses and says that he'd rather die. Cain comes in later that night and tries to tell Heratic, but he's not having it. Heratic is disgusted at the world that they helped build. There's trials, executions, and like we heard earlier, the dead walk and patrol the streets. We cut to Heratic's burning, where they ask him to repent for being a traitor. He does, but instead of repenting to them, the repenting he does is to the ancient god. He helped summon in the Master in this despicable movement and feels he deserves to be punished. Then they go to burn him for talking all that ish, but out of nowhere, Cain supports Heratic and points out how it makes no sense that the master would become a god when he didn't even believe in gods in the first place. Then he throws a freaking flashbang and escapes with Heretic. Now for the next part, we need to go back to the real world for a second, as to get our next artifact, we need to find out about the farmer's wife, and Clotho has a rare moment of clarity, revealing that it was actually Bella, her priestess sister. While the sisters are immortal, every time they use their magic, it drains their life force, and Bella used too much and thusly died. Anyway, back to the past, and we've got Bella and Clotho up on Misty Quagmire. Clotho says that we all must be punished for betraying the ancient god, and intends to use the Necronomicon to kill thousands upon thousands of people to beg the ancient god for forgiveness. However, when she does it, it doesn't kill anyone. In fact, it summons the Black Man from the beginning of the game, the one who got us into this situation in the first place. And even crazier than that, Diggus admits that he switched the pages of the Necronomicon, and the page she read was actually one to summon the ancient god? Wait, this guy's the ancient god? Well, yeah, actually, that kind of makes sense now that I think about it. Diggus appeals to the ancient god, saying that we need his help, and even though God doesn't want to get involved, Diggus is like, well, if everyone dies, there's going to be no one left to pray to you. And that honestly is pretty convincing, and he seems to go along with it. From here, the ancient god forms the ancient contract that I described earlier. It was signed between 3 supporters of the ancient god, Dig, Heretic, and Cain, as well as 3 members of Jove's cult, including Master Ulrich, I think, or maybe he was like a side supporter. That part wasn't super clear to me. As long as no one violates the contract, the ancient curse will stay at bay, and all the signers will be immortal. Additionally, Jove and Lucius will forever be bound to a torturous existence, bound to their own flesh. Hence why Jerry is a walking, talking skull. Finally, the Graveyard Keeper is a guarantor of this contract for a reason I still don't understand. Now immortal, our 3 boys strive to start slowly but surely rebuilding the world. In Clotho's time with the Necronomicon, she went insane, which kind of killed the vibe for Chain low-key. Heretic appeals to her one final time, saying that now that they have eternity waiting for them, so they might as well try and make their love work. Okay, now that we have all that backstory, we can get back to Clotho's Mind Palace. Here, each version of her tells a bit about a Clotho's story using a pronoun that we then have to answer correctly to who it's referring. Clotho's story, of course, starts out with the followers of the Masters betraying her in the ancient god, filling her with massive amounts of rage. She desires to take this rage out on humanity even after the ancient contract is signed. So she spends 170 years writing the Necronomicon to try and wipe out all of humanity. She believes humanity actually deserves the ancient curse, and thusly wants to find a way to bring it back by destroying the ancient contract. To achieve this, she hires a bunch of vampires to do her bidding, with the promise that she will heal them when they're finished, even though she has no intention of doing so. The vampire eventually discovers that Master Ulrich signed the contract, and so Clotho sends the vampires to torture Ulrich until he reveals how to invalidate it. The way to invalidate it is, of course, by killing the guarantor, who is the Graveyard Keeper, and seeing as this was 30 years ago, that would be our predecessor. She sends the vampires to attack the Keeper, but due to his immortality, they just turn to Jaws. Clotho learns that the Keeper is going to try to use the portal for a reason she doesn't understand, and as such, she enchanted it with a spell that would instead make the portal kill him. Now, despite all of our excellent memory work inside Clotho's mind, none of it works, and as such, she cannot reverse the ancient curse. And that's actually the end of this plot line. Master Ulrich and the world are doomed. Guess that's to be resolved in Graveyard Keeper 2. But even though it's the end of the vampire plotline, there's still more to do in the Game of Crone plotline, as Lady Beatrice captures us and takes us to the coast. She basically admits to all the bad stuff that happened in this DLC, like Clotho's medicine not working, and gives us an ultimatum. We can either craft her emulsions of death, which she will use on 5 soldiers at the mountain fort to kill them and bring them back to life as ultra-powerful ghosts. If we don't use our alchemy skills for this, she'll just kill off all our refugee friends and bring them back as less powerful zombies. And this is a pretty easy choice, honestly, because I don't give a single crap about some random soldiers in mountain fort. And I spent like 10 hours building the refugee camp, so yeah, I'm gonna go with the emulsions real quick. It was kind of like a red button, blue button style situation. I give Beatrice those, and she bounces and says she's gonna go kill a bunch of people. Okay, didn't ask, don't care. Back at the refugee camp, I can tell everybody that they're safe and the Inquisition won't chase them any longer, which gives me the final missable achievement in the game. And for my sacrifice, Master Ulrich gives me a new perk, Persistence. Unfortunate that this one is coming so late in the game, because this is just absolutely broken, as it allows you to just constantly restore your energy with no downside. With all that, we had completed all the story-related quests that Graveyard Keeper has to offer, with the exception, of course, of the ending. But there were still a few outstanding achievements in our way. First and foremost, there's an achievement for dying 10 times, and me being the goat and all, I had only died one single time outside of the cutscenes. And this is actually harder than you might think, as since I've cleared out the dungeon, as well as the watchtower, most enemies in this game no longer respawn. The exception is, of course, these bats right here by the zombie log farm, so I can just run into them and stall till death. I learned that dying actually doesn't have any consequences at all. In fact, you actually even get teleported back home when you die, so that honestly might have been super helpful to discover during my playthrough. Whoops! But now it was time for the moment you've all been waiting for! Fishing. There are 3 main fishing achievements to snag here. Catch 15 different types of fish, catch a goldfish, and catch 200 fish. And I'm not gonna mince words here. This fishing is identical to Stardew's fishing, with the only difference being that once you hook up a fish, you literally cannot lose it, so it's actually easier. Most of the fish are just about going to the right place at the right time and waiting, with the only exception to that being the goldfish. This one's got a 5% chance of showing up in its respective area, and despite that information literally being displayed in the game, I caught 60 other fish before catching the goldfish, so either I had the worst rolls of all time, or this is just completely completely inaccurate information. With all that out of the way, it was finally time for us to activate the portal and go home.
How do you turn the portal on? Jerry! So you're going to leave?
Yeah, I caught a bunch of fish now, so I'm pretty good. I need to go back to my love.
I'm really sad now. I'll miss you.
Me too.
This portal isn't just for traveling. It can make your heart's desires come true. But be careful what you say. We definitely don't need another great blast. Anyway, it's not working. The merchant and the bishop! Hi, friend. We've come to say goodbye. How'd you know? Oh, that's what I said. Well, we've been banned from the town. 2 brothers, one in the court, the other is a high cleric. That sort of thing looks suspicious to the royal council. We went to the tavern, and then Lawrence had a feeling in his stomach that you were here. But he did manage to excommunicate half the town before we left. Now the only official church is the church besides the graveyard. You can take the church in the garden if you want. The symbols are starting to shine. Oh, I need all the people here. Oh! Mommy and Daddy, Dita, Arvard. We barely managed to escape the town. The Lord Commander used all his influence to slander us.
To be honest, it wasn't hard to find something to pin on this. The town is quite a mess these days.
The dead rise. Lord Inquisitor is accused of being the leader of a dark cult. It is a terrible time.
Bishop has excommunicated the town.
They were asking for it.
We're gonna hide in the lighthouse for a while. Maybe we'll be able to get in touch with Wagner somehow.
I told you he'd be here.
I see you're planning on leaving us, friend. Yes, monsieur.
This is bad, very bad. The curse is only gaining momentum. We can't stop it. It may be too late. I should feel great about it, but I'm not. We're gonna settle here and rebuild our old house. This place is sacred and protected from the curse.
But still, we're facing an amazing time. Everything will change.
I'll pray for our safety.
All right.
See y'all. Peace. At last, my wish came true. I'll be with my love.
And she's gonna get teleported here. Oh, no. Okay. Switch on the portal. Are you sure you want to leave? Yep.
Oh, she came here. I thought so. Sweetheart, my love.
She's just like a normal looking woman.
We'll use your handkerchief. It's the only thing we have from our world. Maybe the machine will show us what really happened.
I still don't understand, my love.
I hope so much that you'd be able to tell me everything. Is this another world? Is it an illusion? Or is it life after death? But since you remember nothing, we must take this final chance to learn the truth.
Oh, okay. This must have been added in the Stranger Sins DLC. 23/6 is hilarious. The new scene here shows us a flashback to when we were transported here by the ancient god. Before he actually sent us back in time, he split our soul, with one half being the keeper we played as, and the other being sent to the town. This isn't fully explained in-game quite yet, though there is some dialogue throughout the game to suggest that this version of us was like the evil version, as there were reports of us heading to town and causing a ruckus, even though we obviously never went to the town. The ancient god then makes us forget this entirely, and the scene plays out the way I remember it from the beginning. And that was 100% of Graveyard Keeper. And with a sequel on the horizon, I feel like the story is in a great place to continue. In fact, at the end, our characters brought up tons of ways that the village is falling apart, so clearly our work here is far from over. So let me know if you want to see a video on that when it comes out. Let me know what games you want me to 100% next, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye! And thanks again to Whatnot for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to use my QR code on screen now or the link in the description, and you'll get $15 off your first purchase on Whatnot. And if you use my links, download the app and follow me on Whatnot. Whatnot's giving away a $500 credit 1 month from today. So be sure to click that link, scan that code, and thank you again to Whatnot for sponsoring today's video. And if you're looking for more Shawnee, make sure to check out my second channel where I upload more frequently and cover some shorter 100%s that I just don't have time for on my main channel. Okay, bye again!